Well, that was a massive fail, I guess, because we're doing the dual stream. But the button where normally my trailer is was something different because I guess we're going off your StreamYard.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that was interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Well, anyway,
there goes that
here.
part.
Damn,
Anyway,
here we are.
Here we are. So
Yeah.
let's
All right,
just
really quickly, I just want to say something real quick because I see like a lot of people being like, "You guys are debating Rollo Tomassi." No, we're not. If we were debating Rollo Tomassi, first of all, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Second, I would say we're debating Rollo Tomassi, not the rational male, because Rollo Tomassi is not a rational male. So I'm never going to call him that. We're debating his book.
It's not even clear that he's a male.
Well, all right, well, that's another thing. But yeah, I mean, no, I think the rational male book is absolute trash. And we have a few guys on the panel that think it's not absolute trash. And we're just going to go into the reasons why. Like, I literally think it's so bad that nobody should read it because it's equivalent to mental poison. That's how awful of a book I think it is. And no, it's not clickbait. If I said, hey, we're debating Rollo Tomassi and then he's not here, yes, that's clickbait. We're debating the rational male book. So
yeah, I mean, I think just also on that, because some people are going to be like, well, why don't you just actually debate Rollo? So the obstacle is not with us. I think we've all made multiple attempts to debate Rollo, at least me and Kevin has. The obstacle is with him. So we're totally down to debate him. But yeah, if we were debating him, he would be in the thumbnail. We would have promoted it completely differently. So this is going to be like, we're just going to go through the concepts of the book and, what he talks about. I think it's still going to be interesting. And maybe if Rollo grows some balls, maybe he'll one day come on. Also, if there's any like Rollo fanboys who are here and want to actually like engage and like want to defend Rollo, we can open it up later if you guys are open to that and do that. So, if there's anyone watching this who's like, dude, I think you guys are wrong about this. We're open to having a good faith discussion about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's something we were talking about before. I come from more the pro Rollo side. I know Brad does as well. Whereas you guys are more, that anti of like what's wrong with some of the things that he puts out in this book. So it'd be interesting to see what other people have to say as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm definitely, like I was telling Kevin in the studio, I'm not really pro Rollo, but the first Rational Male book, I did reread about the first half of it this week, just listening to it on my drives to work and stuff. And just to see, because it's been a while. When I first read it, it was the end of 2017. I just come out of my marriage. I just got divorced, so, right, typical time to find like red pill stuff. And it really, really helped me. And I ended up reading it like 8 times within 2 years. So I do have a lot of experience with this book. And I did feel that it really helped me out in a lot of ways. But I can tell you for sure that the second and third books really didn't sit very well with me. They gave me like just that feeling. I don't even know how to describe, like, I don't know, that maybe that nihilistic feeling or something, that like kind of hopelessness feeling. I really got it from the second and third books. I get that same feeling from pretty much all the red pill YouTube channels, like currently. But the book itself, that's, I am excited to have a conversation about just this first book, because I know it kind of probably spawned the whole red pill community. But I think there are some valuable lessons that can be learned from it.
Yeah, we can go through that. I think we should start off with an introduction, because my audience might not be familiar with you guys. So you, Huds, and Bradley.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my name's Huds. I'm a dating coach myself. I've been doing a lot of things more behind the scenes. I do more one-on-one coaching than content creation. I work a lot with divorced men, getting them back on their feet and just getting them out there, getting the confidence, so that once you come to me and we work together, I never have to see you again because you're out there killing it.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm Brad, and I kind of came up through working a lot with Matt Artisan and the Attractive Man. I did a lot of work with their boot camps, and just over time, over the years, I just kind of started to garner a bit of a reputation among my friends and among the guys in that community. And I just kind of recently decided that I want to start putting myself out there a little bit more. So here I am having good conversations about how to help men.
Yeah, nice. I think, Kevin, everyone's familiar with you, but in case they're not, you want to say a few words?
Sure, yeah. Kevin Ray Wilder. I cover philosophy, fitness, and self-development. And, as part of my channel, I'm critical, hopefully in a respectful way, about manosphere ideas, because the entire point of the manosphere and the entire point of the red pill is to see the world for how it is And the way that you do that is by having discussions and having debates. So I've debated Donovan Sharp, Wheat Waffles, MGTOW Dictionary. So credit to all those guys for, actually contending and having their ideas, challenged and having discussions about it. Alex, you've debated all those guys as well.
Yeah.
And, we're going to be talking about this here. The reason, look, the entire crowd is just like, hey, why aren't you guys debating Rollo? Like you said, Alex, we would be more than happy to debate Rollo. But the reason we're not doing it is because he's afraid to debate us. And I want to bring up one or two things here before you give your intro.
This comment,
this is important. Yeah. So Rollo has agreed to debate Hassan Piker and Ethan Klein, very formidable debate opponents. No, they're not.
They're the worst, the easiest debate opponents.
Hassan
ever.
Piker even admits himself he's not a good debater. Actually, Destiny, who you were debated yesterday, Alex, he used to be friends with him, and Destiny just constantly mops the floor with Hassan because he's just a terrible debater. But also on top of that too, let's say that they are good at debate. Are they informed about dating dynamics the same way any of us are here? No, not at all. Right. So like if you're just taking it from a standpoint of being an effective rhetorician, sure, but it's not just that. It's that on top of actually, understanding the topic that we're talking about. And actually Rollo did debate somebody who is a good rhetorician, Lauren Southern, and he got absolutely destroyed. Right. It was literally, I've never seen anybody lose a debate harder than that. And it was funny that it came from a freaking girl, a girl in her 20s. But yeah, so, and I want to put up one more thing here. Rollo is
can I just add no obligation on that?
Yeah.
I was gonna say that Ethan is an extremely weak opponent. What Rollo does is he picks his battles very carefully. So he only sets up debates with people that he knows he can win. Dude, destroying Ethan in debate is super easy because Ethan is extremely blue-pilled, has no idea about dating or any dynamics, and has close to no debate experience. I don't think he's ever actually done a debate. Maybe he did one, but it wasn't really a debate. So yeah, like Rollo is like the Jake Paul. He's picking his opponents very carefully. Only Jake Paul actually knows how to fight a little bit versus Rollo. I don't have my doubts.
Yeah, Rollo's actually not good at debating at all.
No.
It's a very
break down why he's not. But
Donovan is way better.
Oh yeah, Donovan's very good at debate. It's just that his ideas are so stupid that as long as you're not terrible at debating, you'll come out on top against them. All right, so Henry Dembski here. Rollo is under no obligation to debate anybody and forces nobody to buy his books. Produce your own books and see what you sell. See, you might have a point there if Rollo didn't say in this book himself at the end of the Rational Male that he wants to have discussions, and actually he is more concerned about people not questioning him than questioning him, right? So Rollo himself actually disagrees with you, Henry. So this is why we're calling him out.
Yeah, and also, furthermore, if Rollo just said, you know what, I really just don't feel like debating Alex, that would probably be the end of it. I don't think his clout is up to my level of clout. What happened, though, Rollo spent a 2-hour live stream making the lamest, most bizarre excuses ever for not doing the debate. And one of the excuses was, and I shit you not, that I am killing people because I am criticizing him, and that's saving him from saving more people. So he can't debate someone who's a mass murderer like me. I'm also friends with John Anthony, and I'm also not genuine. So when someone makes the most bizarre, weird excuses not to debate me, I'm going to keep pushing them on that.
Yeah.
If he just said, I don't feel like doing it, like, I'll be like, okay, whatever.
I mean, if his whole thing is because you're friends with John Anthony, I'm not friends with John Anthony. In fact, I openly say that I don't like the guy. So,
but you're friends with me.
He just debate me. Oh yeah. Well, okay. Well, there you go. So, anyway, okay. So I think we should get into the meat and potatoes of the discussion. Really, just talk about the Rational Male book itself. All right. So, I think the way that we should frame this is first, just kind of everybody talk about your experiences with the book, and then from there we can dive into more kind of specific topics. So I'll go first really briefly. I got into the red pill space, not through Rollo Tomassi. I got in through a bunch of other different guys, Roosh V, Coach Red Pill of all people, more from a political standpoint. And it's not like I'm like a big Coach Red Pill fan by any means, but that was kind of like my entry point way back in the day. And when it comes to Rollo, I read the Rational Male book because a lot of people were talking about it. And the first time I read it, when people give it a certain amount of praise, you have this confirmation bias. Everybody's saying that this is this great book. It's like, oh, this must be really great. And so I read it, and I didn't think it was great, but I didn't really see too much of a problem with it. I thought it was kind of conspiratorial, especially toward the end. And then upon second reading, there's a philosopher, I'm sure maybe some of you guys know him. His name is Arthur Schopenhauer. And he basically has this idea that you don't really understand. You need to read a book at least twice in order to truly understand it. Right. And so the second time I read it, I was like, damn, this is trash. Like, this is just one giant conspiracy theory with basically no scientific evidence at all. I mean, there's basically like he cites 2 studies in the whole thing, and the rest of it's conjecture. And then the third time I read it, I was like, wow, this is even worse than I thought. And now I think not only do I think it's trash, I think it's absolute poison. And it actually makes you worse off to read it than if you do read it. So anyway, that's my experience with the Rational Male book. Huds, how about you go next?
Yeah. No, and I kind of disagree with that. We had a debate on this before, but talking about it again now, for me, I was in one of the worst times of my life when I first read it. Now, I didn't always have issues with women. I kind of figured that out a little bit earlier, but I ended up pedestalizing more than I probably should have, and that caused my downfall. And on that downfall, reading The Rational Male, going through that gave me my foundation to get back up on my feet. And without that foundation, I don't know if I would have been able to do it as quickly or as cleanly as I did. So when you say that it puts people worse off, I don't know if that's exactly true, but the issue is that it gives you foundation, but doesn't tell you what to do next. So it's like walking you to a cliff and then not telling you what to do next. And you either jump or you go somewhere else where you're not going to fall off the cliff.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've had some things to say about that, but let's go around other people's opinions.
Yeah, and I'd say that could be a fair assessment too. For me, so my personal story with it, like I was saying earlier, I read it literally a month after my ex-wife and I broke up. I was so painfully blue-pilled, you guys. You don't even know. I got married at 23 years old. She was the first girl I was ever with. I grew up super, just kind of Christian conservative type. And so I did have all these ideas in my head about like, oh, the way men and women are supposed to be. And The Rational Male really did open my eyes to, oh, wait, that's not really the way it is. I'm definitely more than willing to change my mind about some aspects of the book. And I definitely think that it's not the Bible. It's definitely not sacred in any way, but it did really help me out of it. But even to that degree, I think the reason that it did is because I didn't really give into the conspiratorial part of it. I always had that kind of more positive outlook on life that like, oh, I can affect a positive change. And I never took the writings to lead me down like a victimhood path. So I think for someone like me, the way I'm interpreting that is a lot of it does come down to personal responsibility in the way that you receive the things that you read. But at the end of the day, the book did help me. So I would like to talk about some parts of the book for sure that I think are definitely beneficial.
Cool.
Okay.
I got zero benefit out of The Rational Male, but to be fair, by the time I stumbled upon it, I was already pretty successful with women. I agree with 60 to 70% of it. I think he gets the majority of things more or less right. I would argue that all the rules that he's correct about are kind of common sense anyway, more or less, at least to anyone who knows women or has interacted with women. And he's, I think, wrong about 30% of them. And I think it'd be interesting, we kind of get into it and go through specific rules that I think he's wrong about. But yeah, I think, he gets 60, 70% right. But I think the stuff that he gets right is more or less common sense. So I think it's highly, highly overrated. Do I think that it makes guys worse off? Not necessarily. But I think it's more like neutral. Like, I don't think there's really any great insights there. I think it's all basic, shit. And some of it is just completely wrong. Certain rules, and we can get into that as well.
Okay, so maybe it's gonna be me debating all three of you guys on this.
Well, no,
because
I think rules are bullshit.
I think it's absolute trash. I think it's literally one of the worst books that has ever been written, and I literally think you become worse off by reading it. So,
Well,
look,
Kevin,
this is something.
Kevin, go into that because I really want to understand
Yeah.
like, what are some of the main
Sure.
points as to why you think it's so detrimental.
Absolutely. So there's some of the prescriptions that he ends up getting correct, like Alex was just saying. Some of the more pretty obvious stuff if you're within the PUA red pill space.
Put your penis
Um,
inside the vagina.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Step
hey,
one.
don't move in with a girl unless he's like, until you're like, a lot of his iron rules I actually do agree with, but then again, it's like it's not like they're anything profound. The issue that I have with him is his, I guess you could call it first principles, his first sort of foundational things in which he builds everything else off of, right? So first of all, the things he builds off of, they're not original to him. They're ideas that he got particularly from Roosh V, who is like an actual pickup artist actually dating in the field. Royce as well. His name also goes by Hartiste, as well as just the general PUA community, right? It's more so the first principles with which he builds everything off of that I have a huge problem with, and which I think it's actually poison for men's minds. So more specifically, he talks about, people think that hypergamy is at the center of his ideology. It's not. It's actually female solipsism. And because of female solipsism, therefore hypergamy drives all of women's actions. So for those of you who don't know what solipsism is, it's the philosophical worldview that everything sort of revolves around you, right? The world revolves around you. The person who popularized solipsism, although he didn't necessarily believe it himself, is Rene Descartes. I think, therefore I am. He used it as an epistemological starting point of him trying to make sense of the world, right? And so we're not going to get way too deep into the philosophy of that here, but basically he uses the term solipsism, which is a philosophical term, and conflates it with psychology as if it's something that exists. The American Psychological Association actually came out and said that there's no such thing as solipsistic disorder or solipsistic syndrome. And, Rollo Tomassi, the pseudo scientist that he is, the pseudo intellectual that he is, basically talks about solipsism as if it's some psychological phenomena in which the actual, the actual, the actual most credible source to talk about that has fully debunked it. You guys can look this up yourself. And so he starts off from there as saying, oh, this female solipsism, basically, again, the world revolves around me. And then builds hypergamy off of that, saying, oh, because women are innately solipsistic, they are always going to use hypergamy no matter what to get whatever they want. That's going to be their number one drive. Now, do I think that that's a ridiculous claim? No. The issue that I have is he says that women do that and men don't do that. One of the things that Rollo does constantly is he talks about something within the psychological literature, which is actually correct, ascribes it to female nature, but doesn't to male nature. And why does he do that? It's because he wants to create an us versus them dynamic between men and women, because it's a very powerful marketing tool. If you have ever read Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson, which I'm quite positive Rollo has, he basically says, hey, create an us versus them dynamic. That's really going to help you build sort of like a cult, right? And so he does that at the expense. So he does that, right? And then what happens as a result of that is men get super resentful of women as a whole, because the fundamental claim that Rollo is making in The Rational Male is that women are these selfish, self-centered beasts that cannot help but just follow the hypergamy demon that possesses their soul to do terrible things. And then therefore we have these heroic men that are just these paragons of rationality, right? He creates an us versus them dynamic, which is, it's kind of the copy paste formula for ideologies.
Can I add one
I think
thing
the book
to
is
that?
utter trash.
I come from it from a little bit of a different perspective. I think Rollo is extremely unqualified to even be talking about this stuff in the first place. So imagine there was a very popular medical book written by a doctor that's talking about, 10 ways you can improve your health, 10 iron rules of health. And then you find out that that person hasn't actually practiced medicine in 30 years. And then you find out they didn't even really go to medical school, and they don't even have any kind of background in medicine. And they're giving advice about this stuff and speaking from a point of authority. So I would argue that Rollo is extremely unqualified to talk about this stuff, because he's been in a monogamous marriage for the last 30 years, even though he says not to get married. And he is completely out of touch with modern women are like. His only idea what modern women are like comes from watching Fresh and Fit, which is obviously extremely biased because, you know, they attract a certain kind of demographic. So that's the issue, is he's extremely unqualified to talk about this kind of stuff in the first place. So thus, pretty much everything he says is going to be not based on his experience. It's going to be based on random shit he reads about online. And that's going to create a pretty haphazard result.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I would agree that he's not, he's definitely not qualified in the sense of like, from a research standpoint, from like whatever, a psychological standpoint or whatever. But I, at least me personally, I never took the book like this is a professional book on, you know, human like sexuality or anything like that, or whatever dynamics, intergender dynamics, like he claims. What it is, and what he does talk about this in the book a lot, is, you know, the manosphere, quote unquote, is basically a collection of ideas of men trading notes and seeing like, look, this is how women respond to this, you know, and we can get these from all over the world. This is how women behaving in the Middle East. This is how women are behaving in LA. This is how women are behaving in Miami. This is how women are behaving in Wyoming, whatever, right? And, you know, I do agree that if people are taking his word, and if he is claiming to be some like higher authority, that is a problem. And I can easily disregard anything like that.
The thing is, he does do that, Bradley, though. He claims all the time that, oh, this is a praxeology. I'm not presenting any ideas of my own. These are the facts. So whenever he's challenged on any of his arguments, he says, well, this is not an argument. This is a fact.
So
don't even let me go into
but
the
that's him.
praxeology
That's him.
thing.
That's not the first rational male book. That's what I'm kind of getting at. I agree. I do not like Rollo's channel. I do not like how, but you know, kind of like you were saying, Kevin, it must definitely be the latter half of the book that's more conspiratorial, because as I was going through it this week, I only got through about the first half. I didn't get to any, I mean, you know, he would say like brief things here or there. Even the word hypergamy was only mentioned a couple times. But yeah, where he's gone from there, where his YouTube channel has gone, I agree. I agree that is complete trash. But the first few chapters of the book are about the blue pill, about the old, you know, paradigm thought patterns that men have been, you know, trying to utilize to get women for a long time. These include things like just be nice to her, be her friend, listen to her, you know, show up outside the window with the boombox, you know, 80s romance movies, 90s romance movies. So, you know, those things, and I grew up thinking like that, you know, like when I read The Rational Male, my skill level and experience with women was not a lot, you know. So maybe if I read it today for the first time, it wouldn't have such an impact on me, but it did help me undo those blue pill ways of thinking and the idea of learning to, as a man, like, you know, see yourself as the prize, you know, see yourself as a high, you know, he doesn't even use the word high value. I know that's kind of a more newer term that people are using, but see yourself as that guy that women want and that other men want to be. And you have to really, truly see yourself that way. First and foremost, you have to change your mind about yourself, is what he constantly says.
Let me just,
go
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just want to quickly address this. So we just literally said that I agree with 60-70% of the book. So no, like I have no problem debating for things I agree with. I agree with more than half of the book. So there's no self-interest there. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and so like what Bernie just said, red pill made me resent women. I did go through a period of that too, and I did have to learn to not do that also, right? It's like I said earlier, it's not a Bible, it's not sacred, it's not perfect by any means, but if it can help you understand that, you know, trying to get women with that kind of old way of thinking, like, oh, learn how to emote, learn how to express your emotions, act more like a woman, essentially, like androgyny is goal state. These things that he points out in the book, these are things that I had learned somehow. I don't know, through my parents, through society, through TV, whatever. And they weren't helping me at all. So when he helped disabuse me of those, it did help me to pursue women better. Perfectly? Absolutely not. I've worked with lots of people. I've worked with lots of coaches, and my skills have improved over time, sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly. But yeah, I do think that for sure, the first half of the book about unplugging and learning that, you know, the world might be, or the dynamics between men and women might be different than you were led to believe as a child. I do think that's a very beneficial thing for men to learn, and that they have to learn it to get better with women.
One thing I want to call out here is what's stated by ZPA here. You can combine Alex's teachings with Rollo's, and then you can improve your life. And that's the biggest thing that I'm saying is that with Rollo's book, it brings you to the ledge, but doesn't tell you what to do next. And without a guide of what's next, then you just fall off the ledge, you go black pill, something like that, and you just resent women forever. So I think that's a really good point. You need to have a combination, and you can't live in an echo chamber like that.
See, here's the thing, though, man. I think. Oh, whoops. Sorry. My camera's being stupid. Rollo's hacking our stream. Yeah. So the issue is I think it's one of those things where the cure is worse than the disease that it's trying to prevent. All right. So Rollo makes this claim of like, oh, I'm saving guys' lives. Maybe I can bring up the clip later, but he literally said that I am driving guys to kill themselves by saying that they shouldn't read his book. All right. So if you guys don't know that, maybe I could bring that clip up later. First of all, it's hilarious and it shows the guy for who he truly is. But no, the cure is worse than the disease. And here's why. Okay. So I have actually no doubt that there's a few different guys who, maybe the book helped them to overcome whatever girl screwed them over. Right. But so the first order consequence of that is you feel a little bit better. But the second, third, and multitude orders consequence of that is you start to look at women as inferior. All right. So, because what's the reason? What's the real reason that, like, let's really break this down. So let's just assume that Rollo, when he talks about how his book saves lives, how does it save lives exactly?
Because it's
a rhetorical question, I guess. But maybe I just want to know your guys' opinion on that.
Because it opens guys' eyes. Okay, a lot of times
opens their guys' eyes to what?
It opens their eyes to how things actually work. As Brad was saying, you get caught in the milady and like doing all these things and so like serving everybody else but yourself, and it opens your eyes that that's not exactly how everybody else is functioning. So it at least is a starting point for them to go somewhere else.
Okay, so I kind of understand you there, but like.
It's not a great argument. It's not a great argument. I totally agree with you because it's only the base level. It's like, well, because I said hi to this person on the street today and smiled at them, they didn't kill themselves that night. Like, it's kind of a really, really loose.
That's actually a good equivalent.
Theoretically, if anyone gives even one good piece of advice to someone that helps improve their life, maybe that could have saved them, because if it kept going so bad, they would have I do agree. I don't think Rollo's book is an anti-suicide book for sure. I don't know why that is the constant argument they make. I don't think it's a good argument.
And look, if you think you're going to commit suicide, you should not be like, oh, let me just read this book to make me not kill myself. It's like, no, dude, you should go seek professional help. Okay. Don't think it's like if somebody's like contemplating to commit suicide and they're like, oh man, I just need to read the Bible of the manosphere and I'm not going to do it. It's like, no, man, you need to go see a therapist ASAP. All right. If you're looking to a book, especially written by a pseudo intellectual to try to prevent you from, rope maxing, that's not a good idea. And again, that's just it's a claim that Rollo makes to fuel his own God complex, which we can go into later. But, let's stick to the whole thing of like, what, in theory, what does reading his book prevent? What about his book prevents guys from committing suicide, right? Just to kind of play devil's advocate. The claim is that like you said, Huds, the claim is that it shows people for how things truly are. But how are things truly are based on Rollo's worldview, right? So his whole thing is, I think he says this multiple times in the book, where basically he's like, you can't blame women for their hypergamous nature. That's just how they are. All right. So let's break this down. If your dog shits on the carpet, do you scold your dog the same way that if like your friend came into your apartment to shout on your carpet and left? No. You treat the dog a bit differently because it's in its nature to do something like that, and it's unfair for you to scold it in that way.
No, my dog, bro.
I don't know what type of friends you have, because that's definitely in my friends' nature.
So yeah, you have friends that just randomly come over and shit on your carpet and leave, and you don't even get mad at them, huh? because it's in their nature. Are they females by any chance? Are they women by any
They're
chance?
black
It'll
pillars,
make a lot of sense based off of Rollo's book. So anyway, all that to say is his way of, you know, getting guys off of the ledge, I guess, based on his thing, is to dehumanize women in the sense of saying, hey, there's this part of female nature. Their innate female solipsistic behavior makes them, you know, follow hypergamy and have that as their number one value. And then therefore they're basically just like animals, you know, and that's why they did what they did. Again, if you're making the claim that human beings in general are more animalistic than anything, and men tend to do these types of things as well, then that's fine. But he doesn't do that, right? He of course acknowledges that, you know, evolutionarily we have our biological drives as well, but he doesn't think that we are solipsistic and hypergamous the same way that women are, right? That we don't try to upgrade, or we don't look for higher value things in women, which for him personally is telling on himself, that he just looks at women from a man's perspective as this freaking monolithic thing. Like he's literally even said before that's like, oh, well, you know, you'd fuck that fat girl if nobody found out. Like, no, I wouldn't, bro. I would not fuck that fat girl if nobody found out. I absolutely wouldn't. That says more about you that you're just like, come on, man. You know, you'd bang that Job of the Hutt looking girl, you know. It's like, no, actually, I wouldn't. And in a million, I couldn't even get hard. I couldn't do that. So like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So anyway, all that to bring it back to, you know, being more serious, his whole point is of getting guys to not kill themselves is by dehumanizing women to the point where it's basically just like the same way it doesn't make sense for you to get mad if your dog shits on the carpet. It doesn't make sense for you to get mad at women because that's just who they are. You can't blame them. Right?
Yeah, fair enough.
That's the fundamental problem that I have is again, his prescription for doing that. Maybe it makes you feel better temporarily, but then you end up, especially if you take this ideology seriously and then you actually hold it to be true, then you look at women differently from a different perspective the entire rest of your life until you have guys like us to come in and try to talk some sense into you.
Yeah, so let me play devil's advocate a little bit on that one. What if the prescription to, you know, the not feeling bad isn't to just dehumanize women, but to just realize your own worth and your own value? That is the message I got, but I also do see like scores and scores of men who did not receive that message. So I'm not saying that the book doesn't lead men down that path, but to what degree does it matter that the person reading it, you know, the way they take it and understand it?
Well, I think every book is open to interpretation. You can have, you know, the same book, two people read it and they get a completely different message from it. I guess we lost Bradley. I guess
I'm here. I got to plug this in.
Okay. I guess the real question is what's the net benefit that the book is having overall? And like, for example, let's say we're talking about, you said earlier, Bradley, that if there's one good piece of advice in the book, it makes it worth it. Well, what if there's 6 good pieces of advice and 4 bad pieces of advice? Does that make it worth it? I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that.
To me personally, yes, because that's just kind of my nature. I've worked with a lot of dating coaches in the space, and my whole philosophy with working with all of them is I take bare minimum one fantastic piece of advice from them that I implement into my game and improves my game, and I discard the rest that doesn't work. Now, in my opinion, that's a very mature way of going about it, and maybe I have an ability to do that, and maybe it
also relies on the assumption that you have the inherent social intuition and the knowledge to be able to discern the good from the bad. What about like the most guys who read the books? They don't actually have that. So how can they pick the good from the bad if they don't have that base of knowledge?
Yeah. Well, that's a fair question. So, and I think that, you know, yeah, maybe that's something that we need to take seriously as men who coach other men, to help men learn these skills, because this is important as a man. Like, we're going to go through our lives with, you know, people giving advice and people learning things and realizing things. And we're going to need to be able to say whether or not that's good advice or bad advice, take the good and discard the bad. I don't necessarily have
I think here's the thing. I have to, Bradley, I have to push back on you talking about how, oh, well, as long as I can get a few good pieces of advice out of a book, then it's fine. I think the fundamental premise of what the book is trying to accomplish and um, the fundamental like first principles of the book need to be looked at in order for in order for that to be the case. So here's a perfect example: is the Communist Manifesto, right? Look, maybe some of you guys are communists and stuff in the chat. I'm sorry. I think communism is fucking stupid, especially when it comes to Karl Marx, because the fundamental thing about communism, especially from a Marxian standpoint, is to say that all of history is basically the bourgeoisie, the high class, oppressing the proletariat, the low class, and then therefore the proletariat should rise up, kick out the bourgeoisie by any means, aka killing, and people. And yeah, so basically, but there's some great things that you could see from the Communist Manifesto in terms of in terms of descriptions of like, yeah, there's like these elites, that are running the world, and it's terrible. But then they also talk about how the fundamental thing they're trying to get you to do in that book is to rise up and revolt. And that caused millions upon millions of people to die in the 20th century and continues to in some places in the world in 21st century. So you could still get some great inspirational things from Mr. Karl Marx. He's a very good writer and can get you fired up. But the reason that he wrote the book is very, very important and should be taken into consideration. Now,
and
look,
the effect that the book had on the world at large, like, yeah, clearly, I think that's a good point. Marx had some good points, but clearly it would have been a lot better for the world if he didn't write that book. I mean, maybe not, but most likely it would have been a lot better.
Also, let's take the fundamental intention of why he wrote it. Yeah.
Let's take a step back from it. And that's something that I brought up to you before, Kevin, probably in a previous debate or something like that. And it's when you think about the work in and of itself, when you think about the rational male, does it do more good than bad? And if so, I think it's reputable. So when you say like the Communist Manifesto, did it do more good than bad? I don't think so. And so
I think the rational male does way more bad than good.
I think it's too early to tell.
Yeah, I'm really neutral on that too. I'm sympathetic to the idea that it might be doing more bad than good, even though, like, yes, sure, I talk about my personal experience, which is probably why I'm defending it. But when I do look out, I do see the damage that it has caused to a lot of men, and I am open to the idea of it maybe being a net bad. So yeah, it could be either.
So what do you got? Do you guys think Fresh and Fit are doing more of a net bad or net good?
Net bad for sure.
I'm not. Got it.
Like I said, I'm not a fan of the Red Pill YouTube space at all anymore.
No, I totally understand that. But everything they talk about is an extension of the rational male on that show.
I do agree with that.
And so that this is look, if you guys want to,
would you say though, Kevin? Would you say that Fresh and Fit is an extension of that book towards like almost borderline towards the black pill side? Like a black pill reading of the rational male almost?
I don't think so.
No, I think he's.
I want to speak on this. I want to speak on this and apologize, Kevin. What I want to say about this is it goes back to what you were saying, Brad, about being able to dissect the right information. That is literally just new age Jerry Springer. And if you're not Howard Stern, not Jerry Springer, Howard Stern. It's new age Howard Stern. And if you're not able to figure that out by looking at it, then you're not well equipped for it. And you view it as entertainment. And then once you take that entertainment as serious, that's when we got some real problems. And that's why I think it's so toxic.
Let me just quickly put this comment for a second. Chicken dinner, is tonight going to be the night where you finally come on for debate, or do you have a headache again? This guy watches every single one of my live streams, and he bitches about every single thing I say. And then whenever I ask him to come on for a debate, he makes excuses like, oh, but I have a headache tonight. So let's see. Maybe tonight he'll finally grow some balls.
I mean, dude, I'm definitely down to have people come on later. And, we could do so. I was on MGTOW, he goes by Smash TV now, his stream yesterday. And actually it was fairly cordial because basically it was just like me and everybody muted themselves and it was just me and him talking. And then it ended up being a great discussion. So maybe we can do that later on because, it would suck for guys to come on here to maybe defend Rollo's points. And it's like, us four versus him. Like that'd be kind of unfair, so maybe we could just do one-on-one. I'm down with that. I want to say this.
Shit. Chicken dinner might finally actually have some balls. I still don't think he's going to do it. He's bitching.
No, he's got a headache.
I love the people who are saying like all four of you are so wrong, and it's like we're literally disagreeing with each other. Like, which one do you mean all four?
Yeah,
of us?
I know, right? It's
Like,
like,
are you even listening to what we're saying?
yeah. But this is respectful debate as well. It's like, look, even though I think Rollo, uh, I think his book is terrible, I would have a normal, rational discussion with him. It's the same thing with Donovan. I think Donovan is doing way more harm than good in terms of the things that he talks about. But when we had our debate, it was a very calm, rational discussion. Nobody raised their voices, because when you're talking about ideas, that's how you should just keep it. You just keep it to ideas, and I'll raise my voice, make it personal and stuff if they do first. It's a counterpunch. From a rhetorical standpoint, you look like a freaking idiot if you just come in guns blazing, So it's always in the realm of whatever intellectual realm that you're in. That's the best way to discuss, is to literally just to say, here's my initial idea. First, you steelman each other's positions. So I know Rollo's positions very well. People say that I claim to strawman him. I know him. I can explain Rollo's philosophy and ideology better than basically anybody except for Rollo, probably. Right? That's how much I make sure that I understand what these guys stand for and everything before I, because otherwise, if you don't do that, you just look like an idiot, right?
Yeah.
So it's important that you understand your opponent's position. So really quickly, I'll end with this. And I'll let you guys continue whatever you want to talk about. You don't have to take it from me, guys. The thing that really opened my eyes was reading and studying Nietzsche, more specifically the genealogy of morals in, I think it's the second essay, where basically he talks about the priest, the slave morality priest, where basically Nietzsche has this idea of there's master morality versus slave morality. Master morality is kind of just like, oh, you do whatever you want without any inhibitions. Slave morality is kind of a cope, more specifically when you're denied things that you wish you had, and then you start to develop a morality around that. So the idea of the priest, based on Nietzsche, is somebody who's from the master class, who preaches poison to the herd. So slave morality is also called herd morality, and that's going to be the vast majority of people. He preaches that to the herd in order to gain power among the other masters, right? So the priest isn't somebody who comes from the herd himself. He comes from this whatever master class, whatever you want to call it. All right. So Rollo, he isn't in the game like the rest of us. All right. He was never originally part of the herd that he's preaching to. He's been out of the game longer than I've been alive. All right. and we all agree here that in the 21st century, especially with social media and dating apps, dating is way different than whatever Rollo was doing back in the 80s. Right. And
Absolutely.
so me studying Nietzsche is what made me really realize who Rollo is. He preaches this toxic ideology to poison the minds of young men in order for him to gain power and clout and money and fame or whatever the heck it is. Right. That's the main thing. So you could argue with me all you want, but you have to contend with the ideas of Nietzsche and the genealogy of morals in the second essay, because that's what really exposes Rollo for what he is.
Let me just say this before we move on. Chicken Dinner, I'm gonna post a link. Just give us 20 more minutes to finish this discussion. So just go backstage and we'll bring you on in 20 minutes, and you can stay on for as long as you want. But I doubt
I can't wait.
I don't think he's gonna do it, but we'll see.
I love how these guys are like, so come up with something, dude. Yeah, watch my channel. So first of all, if I say, oh, what book should you read instead? You should read a book about how to become a masculine man, an actual virtuous man. So the best book to read for that is Nicomachean Ethics by Aristotle. It has had such a profound impact on Western culture that actually a lot of its philosophy is ingrained within the Bible itself, right? So for those of you who are religious or Catholic or Christian or whatever, basically any priest has read Nicomachean Ethics and is very knows about it a lot. It's very central to Western philosophy as a whole. So that's way better of a read than that. And have I come out with my own book? No, eventually I will, but I can tell you which books to read instead. So from a modern context, somebody who preaches authenticity is Mark Manson Models. I think that's a much better book than the Rational Male.
Models is great.
Yeah. It's a bit different because it's more like dating advice rather
than before the Rational Male.
Yeah. Well, it's better because it's more like practical advice than it is like, here's this conspiracy theory of the gynocentric social order. But yeah, it's better. So
Can I quickly run through some of the rules that I disagree with Rollo on, and then you guys can, let me share my
Yeah,
screen.
let's go.
Because I want to get into some specifics. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. The Iron Rules of Tomassi. Okay. Okay. Can you guys all see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just quickly skim through this. Iron Rule of Tomassi number 1, frame is everything. Always be aware of subconscious bounds whose frame in which you're operating. Always control the frame, but resist giving the impression that you are. This kind of goes into the 48 laws of power. I think it's pretty straightforward. I would agree with that. I don't think frame is everything. I don't think you want to be like playing frame battles with your wife. Like me and my girlfriend, like we don't have a constant frame battles. Like we just communicate like normal human beings. I'm not trying to like out-frame her. But yeah, in the early stages for sure, frame is really important. So I don't think there's any disagreement there. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
You don't game your wife, bro. The game never ends. You got to game your wife, bro. You didn't know that?
Bro, we just communicate.
Rollo's
like,
constantly gaming his wife, man.
like okay, Iron Rule number 2. This I disagree with completely. Never under the pain of death. Like he just doesn't say never. It's under the pain of death. Honestly or dishonestly reveal the number of women you slept with or explain any detail of your sexual experience with them to a current lover. Completely wrong. I've done this. Every single girl who I've ever dated, I tell her about my sex life. I've fucked hundreds of girls. I give her stories when she asks. Never once has led to any kind of negative consequence. I think what he's trying to say is that you shouldn't brag about your sex body count. Sure, but he doesn't say that. He says, don't reveal it. Like, why? First of all, if you're being shady about it and your girlfriend's like, so how many girls have you been with? And you're like, won't tell her, that she's going to find that a little odd. And she's like, why is he not being transparent? Is he embarrassed about it? So honestly, I think this is going to harm you more than it helps you. And this is a really, really dumb idea.
It's spoken in too much of an absolute. And that's why they've kind of like fixed it or like smoothed the edges over time. When you are asked the question, it's like, it's not, essentially it's not important to our relationship. So let's not talk about it. And you move forward.
Yeah.
But why? Why not tell her? Like, what's the big deal? Like, what's the
see, that's the thing is like my girlfriend doesn't know my body count, but she does know some of the sexual experiences I had. But it's all done in a very specific way. You share that information in a specific way. He's talking in such absolutes that this is confusing. This is so fucking wordy for no reason.
Yeah, the black and white nature is my problem with it too. Like with my current girlfriend, I haven't told her my body count because she specifically asked me not to. I specifically asked not to hear hers. So I just say, okay, cool. I've had other girls who asked me before I even sleep with them for the first time, like, oh, how many women have you been with? And it's like just a casual conversation. So it just depends. Like, yeah, the black and white nature of that is definitely ridiculous. Like it's definitely not a never, but it's also not an always. So it's just, whatever's right for you and that particular girl.
But I think aside from, your circumstance, that makes sense. Your girlfriend asked you not to tell her. So, of course, you're not going to tell her. That's like basically respecting her wishes. But I can't think of one downside if your girlfriend asks you about your body count to actually telling her. Like, can you guys name any negatives to doing so? Because I can't really think of any.
I think the only downside would be like if your body count's 2 and hers is like, way higher or something.
Potentially. Yeah, I feel like
the only downside is if you're way lower than she is, she may look down on you as a man.
Yeah, I think if you're 30 plus, like there's no problem like telling her the number.
So I think this rule needs to be rewritten. If you are a incel, then probably don't tell the girl that before you sleep with her. That's what the Iron Rule number 2 should be. Completely different.
Or just like, if you're a virgin.
Yeah. Like totally different.
That's I mean,
does anyone have anything to add on that before we move on to the next one?
No, I'm ready for 3. I love this one.
Any woman who makes you wait for sex or by her actions implies she's making you wait for sex, the sex is never worth the wait. I generally speaking agree with that. I do think it's interesting, the predicament a lot of the red pillars find themselves in the sense that they shame girls for being promiscuous. And they're like, oh, I want a girl who doesn't do that. But then they always want to fuck her on the first date anyway. So it's like, I want a girl who's going to say no to every single guy, but she decides to break all her rules for me and fucks me on the first date, which is interesting because that is basically like looking for a unicorn. Doesn't exist. Either you can be like me and you're cool with women being promiscuous, right? Because I am. I don't care. Like, women want to fuck around as long as my girlfriend fucking around on me. Or you can be like, I want women to be conservative. I want women to fuck around, but then you have to be okay with waiting for sex, but you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, I agree. That is a super hypocritical component of the red pill for sure.
Yeah, it's like super bizarre to me.
And it's not like once you read a book or watch some of the content, you're Giga Chad, and then you can like act this way. Like this comes with actual respect. But I would say about 95% of the time, yeah, I love this rule. It's great.
I do think the rule is for the most part true. And this rule, what it's really getting at is his concept that he talks a lot about earlier in the book, the difference between genuine desire and negotiated desire. And I think a lot of guys, especially blue pill guys, like even me personally, my own dad has told me like from time to time, is like, oh, you better do what she says or you're not gonna, get what you want. And I'm like basically he's a slave to my mom for pussy. And, like, so learning that concept of like, oh, it's not about doing as much as I can, like to like please a woman, that'll make her sleep with me. Like it does lead you down a bad path also, like thinking that's how you get laid is by like being a simp for women. So this is a good rule, I think, for the majority of men in the majority of contexts.
Yeah. Okay. I would rule number 4, never under any circumstance live with a woman you are married to or not planning to marry within 6 months. So I would partially disagree with that. For me, if I was ever thinking about getting married, I would want to first try living with a girl for a period of time as a trial period, because you don't really know someone until you live with them and you're in close quarters with them. So I would not ever consider marrying a girl before first living with her. And I would want to live with her for a significant period of time. Now, the one thing that this rule does, the one aspect where I think it might be on the right track is you do have to be careful with common law marriage, but that's only in like 8 states and you have to live with a girl for like 5 years before that kicks in. So yes, you should be weary of common law marriage, and you probably, like, if you're not sure about marrying a girl, you do want to make sure you don't fall into that technicality. But aside from that, because it's only in like 8 or 9 states, I think you probably should live with a woman before you marry her, not the other way around.
Yeah, I got to double down on that. And if you think about rule number one is all about frame. So I don't think there's anything wrong with living with a woman prior to getting married, as long as the frame is in your court. If you don't have frame, that's when you're going to get walked all over. And that common state law is so fringe, it just doesn't make sense for the majority of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like only in 8 or 9 states, and you have to live together for like 5 years. Like, so if he wants to make it within 5 years, in certain states within 5 years and stay this, and stay that, then I would be okay with that. But I would argue it's probably, for the vast majority of guys, a lot better to live with a girl for an extended period of time before you marry her, not the other way around. Like, it doesn't make sense to me doing it that way. Like, how well do you know someone that you haven't spent a lot of time with in close quarters? Not that well. Like, you probably want to live with her for, I would say probably over 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, before you decide to pull the trigger on the marriage.
Yeah, because who knows? Maybe she shits with the door open.
Or shits on the floor.
Deal breaker.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I actually don't.
It's fucking happening. Chicken dinner's bitching out. I want to, but I feel sympathy. I don't want to embarrass him. Here we go again.
Dude, I just ignore this guy, man. He's got a freaking Fortnite thumbnail. All right, the dude's like a little 15-year-old kid who hasn't lost his virginity yet.
You are a fucking pussy. Like, oh my fucking god. I thought tonight was going to be the one night where you're going to man up. I thought your little headache went away. I thought your balls kind of grew a little bit, but I guess I overestimated you. Sad.
So really quickly with Iron Rule number 4, I actually don't necessarily disagree with it. I don't like that he's saying like never under any circumstance. Like, come on, man. You like have a little bit more nuance in what you're saying, but the general sentiment behind it, I don't disagree with it. Any religious person, if you're a Christian or whatever, that's, they don't believe in cohabitation before marriage. So I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think, to Rollo's credit, I think a lot of people do move in together too quickly. So I just don't think that's a good idea for the most part for people to move in with a girl. Like for me, I've actually never lived with any girlfriend of mine ever. And I don't think that's ever going to happen unless I get married. So
no, we are letting Chicken.
I need my space.
I posted the links in the chat. He just said that he doesn't want to come on because he doesn't want to embarrass us. Completely changed his story, because before he was saying, "Oh, I'm gonna kick all their ass myself," and now he's like, "I don't want to embarrass them." So how convenient.
Yeah, I love it when there's like these faceless thumbnail guys are like, "You're afraid to debate me." I'm like, mother effer. I basically almost, Alex especially, lately, like Alex and I basically like debate for a living. So like, no, we're not going to be afraid of you. Like Alex literally debated Destiny yesterday. So if he's going to debate Destiny, he's not afraid of some freaking anime thumbnail incel.
Okay. I've been waiting in the lobby. They won't let me on. I don't see him. Do you guys see him in the lobby?
No,
he's not here, dude.
No,
Like,
he's not in the lobby.
I will take a screenshot of our back end. You're not here. You haven't clicked on the link. Like,
so look, I think we should, if Torsia wants to come on, it'll be respectful. So I would love to have her on. We're not going to do like some, weird like argument, like shitting on type stuff. I genuinely am curious as to why she, supports Rollo and all that. So Torsia, if you want to come on, you're more than welcome to.
This is so funny. He thinks he's won, dude. Let's recap. You said, unless this is all an elaborate troll, in which case, okay. But you said that I'm gonna come on. I can't wait. We dropped the link. You didn't go in the lobby. You said you want to embarrass us, and then you changed your story and you said that you're actually backstage. We're not letting you on. So is it that you don't want to embarrass us, or that we're not letting you on? Because it can't be both. Or did you? He's like now saying I win. They forfeited. Like what, dude? You're not fucking here. Like this guy's.
He's just trolling.
Dude, stop entertaining him.
Yeah, I gotta stop entertaining because this guy's just like completely delusional. Okay.
Let's clear out the
All right.
rules.
Put a 1 in the chat if you want Torsia to come on. Look, if she doesn't want to come on, I'm not going to shame her for that. That's fine. I mean, Torsia, if you want to just like make a reaction video, whatever. But I do think I think it'll be good for you to come on and
we got somebody in the chat. Is this chicken dinner?
Yeah, chicken dinner. Ben, is that? Yeah, can you let us know
Ben?
if you're chicken dinner or who you are?
Chicken dinner. Are you Ben? Wait, did you just put the StreamYard link in the chat? That's a big. That you shouldn't do that.
Well, I figured.
Yeah. You got to have so from now on, what you want to do is make sure tell them to email one of us, and then we give them the link back.
Yeah, I just figured
otherwise random people can hop on.
Yeah, I figured we can just like kick them out, and we don't have to let them on.
Yeah, I mean, well, not if they show their dick.
No, but like
and then ruin the entire stream.
What we would do is we would do like the safe screen. So we do like the blue screen, and then you know how kind of the black pillars do it. But okay, let's.
I didn't see this. Okay, sorry, QB. I just saw this now. It's KRW, not KWR. We need to talk. Happy to end beef with you on certain conditions. Okay. I mean, we could do that later, man. Just not on this stream. Let's keep it to the topic of Rollo.
Okay, so let's
QB email me kevinraywilder@gmail.com.
Let's like quickly get through this because we're almost halfway done. Never allow a woman to be in control of the birth. I think he's on the right track. I generally agree with this, but I think it encourages kind of paranoia. But yeah, you should probably err on the side of caution. I don't see that as problematic. Probably it's better to be on the side of caution. But I don't think you should be like super paranoid that your chick is gonna like fucking dig the splooge out of your condom and put inside her pussy. But he's not really saying that. So okay, I'll grant him this one.
Well, this is good advice, like for NBA players, but like
I doubt
the majority of guys who are watching Red Pill and Black Pill stuff and are just like, oh my God, every woman's trying to steal my sperm. No, they're not. Like,
okay, so Torsia said she would come on. So I guess we're gonna be on for like what, another hour, guys? Does that sound about right?
Something like that.
I like to keep this whole thing under like 2 hours. More people won't want to rewatch it, but I think at this point, I mean, we could still keep going through the rules if you want, or we can start to bring people on.
We'll finish off the rules. Then I have one other thing I'd like to talk about.
Okay. So let's quickly finish it up.
Yeah. So next one is women are utterly Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Torsia, if you could email me really quickly, kevinraywilder@gmail.com, and then I'll send the link back over to you.
Okay.
And then you could hop on if you want.
Mm-hmm. Okay, iron rule number 6, women are utterly incapable of loving a man the way that man expects to be loved. So what he's talking about here is, it's a poor phrasing. I think what he's saying is women aren't capable of unconditional love, which I agree with. I think relationships and love is conditional. So yeah, I think he words it in a weird way, but he's correct about this one. Do you guys have anything to add?
Yeah. Again, maybe my biggest issue with all these is the black and white nature of them. But I do think that practically kind of assuming this will help you with women. Like, don't expect them to just love you unconditionally all the time like your mom does. Like, that's definitely not how you want to approach romantic relationships.
Well, I think unconditional love doesn't exist, even from your mom. It's conditional love. The condition is that you're her son, right? So I think from that standpoint, I agree with that rule. But then again, from Rollo's standpoint, the reason that he's writing this book is to talk about the can you scroll back up really quickly, Alex?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
just so I can see that again. I just don't want to make sure. Okay, women are utterly incapable of loving a man in the way that a man expects to be loved. Again, the implication there, based on the entirety of his book and his ideology, is because of a woman's solipsistic nature, right? That it's impossible for her to love altruistically. Now, again, I don't want to strawman Roller here because I don't know his position on it. I don't know if he thinks that men can love women altruistically. If he's making the claim that nobody loves altruistically or under unconditional love, however you want to call it, then that's fine. But I have a feeling that that's not what he means. Again, if Rollo would actually debate any of us, we could actually ask him these questions, but he doesn't want to do that. So, but credit to Torsha for coming on in his, volunteering as tribute in his stead.
Well,
What is it in Game of Thrones of like, Alex, you're a huge Game of Thrones fan.
Single
Like,
combat.
Yeah. Was it like a duel by combat, and then
I challenge you to
A
single
trial by
combat.
combat.
trial by
that's
combat,
correct.
and then
Trial
you
by
have a
combat.
champion instead of actually fighting yourself.
If we could only pick up champions to go approach girls for us, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of finish up. So, okay, next one. It's always time and effort better spent develop new, fresh perspective. Never root through the trash once the garbage. It's a weird wording, but he's basically saying it's better to focus on new girls than to reconstruct old relationships, which I agree with. His wording is so weird. I feel like he tries to sound much smarter than he is by using all these like weird sentence structures, which just makes him look like an idiot to anyone who's smart. But yeah, I agree with the premise here.
Yeah, but the thing that I have to get clarification on, again, Rollo coming on, what is a failed relationship? When do you define it as failed? Like, what does that mean? Does that mean one fight, or does that mean what does that mean? And I think that's a big piece of that flawed logic.
Yeah, I think if it's something like cheating, then yeah, that's good advice. So if there's any cheating involved where a woman cheats on you, no.
Yeah,
Because women cheat for when she cheats on you, man, it's done. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's very rare that she's just gonna be like, oh, there was the hot guy at the foam cannon party, and that's it, and then things got crazy. It's like, no,
Wait,
man. I mean, women
hold
have
on.
sex for emotional reasons as well. So yeah.
Has Rollo ever been to a foam cannon party in Cancun?
I have.
Yeah, probably with a bunch of other dudes. No, I'm joking. I'm not about to make those gay jokes, but
Yeah.
I've done it, and I've put that
That's
rule
fine,
into
though.
practice, and I would say for sure that is absolutely good advice. And I will say that every time I have done that, like end of a relationship, I pretty much, I don't speak or interact with that girl anymore. If you move on and you start developing new relationships with new girls, they will always come crawling back. That I've never seen it not happen. So yeah, don't. But if you're constantly trying to get them back, you're calling, you're texting, you're like, please come back. Like, that's terrible. And you're not going to get, even if you get the girl back doing that, you're not going to have the relationship you want with her. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
He
iron
words-
ruled. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say he words it weirdly, but yeah, he's correct. I mean, here's the eighth one. I also agree with. He just words it even more weirdly. Always let a woman figure out why she won't fuck you. Never do it for her. So what he's saying is, don't go into it with the mindset of she's going to reject you. Go into it with the mindset of you're going to get her. And if she rejects you, then let her come to that decision on her own. So that's correct. Again, it's really weird wording, but
Okay, so this
correct.
is iron rule number 8.
Yeah.
Perfectly shows what is wrong with the rational male, Rollo Tomassi. Unfortunately, the red pill space as a whole. It's a bunch of these half truths, right? And more specifically, they might have the correct description, but the prescriptions or the reason behind those descriptions is completely and utterly false, right? So this is I agree with this. Always let a woman figure out why she won't fuck you, never do it for her. The implication being like, don't like if she already wants to fuck you, right? Like, don't fuck it up. Don't fumble the bag, right? I'm guessing that's what he means by that. Yeah. So that's fine. And then what you see, so the reason for that is because, okay, well, when somebody's already committed to do something, it's like in sales, right? When you've already made the sale and somebody's like has their credit card out, stop talking, right? That's the number one thing you learn. And one of the things you learn in sales, you don't like say like, oh, also there's going to be these benefits. Like, dude, get the card information first and then talk about that after. Right. So it's more from a standpoint of like, okay, well, it just, if there's already a yes, anything you say beyond that isn't going to turn a yes into more of a yes. It's either a yes or a yes, right? In this case, sex. So either she's going to have sex or either she's not. So if you just try to keep convincing her in any or playing these games after she's already decided to fuck you, then the only possible thing that could happen is that it goes sideways, right? So I think that's a normal, fine prescription. The issue is his reasoning behind it, right beneath it, right? An integral part of maintaining the feminine imperative as the societal imperative involves keeping women as the primary sexual selectors. Whoa, dude. It's like, where did you get that from that top part there? This is why I'm talking about, like, he always brings it back to this conspiratorial, like, thing that has, like, what? It's almost like if you told me, if you separated these two sentences, these two phrases, like if I had like some like matchmaking thing, like on the left side, like match the phrase that matches the thing on the right side, I would never in a million years connect these two, right? But somehow in here, he does that. Why is that? Because what he's trying to do in his book is to create an us versus them dynamic. And again, to have these men fight against this feminine, gynocentric social order, right? In order to create an us versus them dynamic, to sell more books and to fire up his audience, to fuel his God complex. All right. So this is exactly what's wrong with Rollo right here. What he says there and then the explanation afterwards. The two things are almost like not even like freaking related.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I should have said that as well. Do you guys have anything to add on that, or can I move on to the last one?
No, go ahead.
Okay, this one I disagree with. Never self-deprecate under any circumstance. No, you can. Okay, I'll just read it. This is a kiss of death that you self-initiate and is the antithesis of the prize mentality. Once you accept yourself, present yourself as a complete douche, there's no going back to confidence with women, never appeal to women's sympathies. So it's just a whole bunch of different ideas kind of tied together. Yeah, you should not appeal to women's sympathies, but that doesn't mean you can't self-deprecate. Like, these are two completely unrelated things. So I disagree with the first part of this, like never self-deprecating a circumstance. No, self-deprecation humor can be effective. You shouldn't overdo it. You shouldn't just be self-deprecating, but I self-deprecate all the time. I also make fun of the girl. And it's actually, in some ways, for certain guys, it can actually be really good. If you're one of those guys that comes off too cocky, too confident, kind of like me, I think I have that issue a little bit, is I just come in sometimes too strong. By me self-deprecating, it shows the girls that I don't really take myself too seriously, that I'm not like a complete douche, that I have a good sense of humor. So for some guys, like myself included, self-deprecation not only isn't bad, but it's actually a good idea.
Yeah, okay, so this one, he does go on to explain what he means by this. So again, wording is terrible at the beginning. He doesn't mean like I slipped on a banana and I can't laugh at myself kind of self-deprecation. Sure, that's fine. What he's talking about is the, like, if you're talking to a girl like, look, I'm sorry, I'm just a piece of shit and I messed up and I'll never don't just constantly like bring yourself down in front of her and like try and lower your value and say negative things about yourself. But I would agree that being able to laugh at yourself, for sure, that's something that women find endearing, for sure.
Torsha, we're literally going off like exact quotes here. I mean,
it's funny. I typed in, I read the book 3 times, and then it came up as like you, me, and Huds all said at the same time.
We're literally going off exact quotes here. I mean, you're more than welcome to come on and refute any of these points. Just check your email or email. Did you email her yet?
No, she has to email me. I don't know.
Oh my God, this is such fucking nonsense, dude. You did not. You did not come on. You were not in the lobby. No one avoided you. Like, what? I think this guy at this point is just completely delusional.
Yeah, like, Torsha, just email me, kevinraywater@gmail.com. But honestly, if you're fine with just putting your email in the chat, I can email you. I don't care. Maybe you just don't want people to do that so people don't send you weird shit. But
maybe I should just post the link again because we already did it once. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, who cares?
Okay.
But get people in here. We got this guy.
Please, random people, if you join, we're just gonna kick you off.
Yeah, but no penis showing, guys. Come on, like it's super gay and it's really bizarre. There's no chicks here, so you're just showing your dick to a bunch of dudes. Like, there's nothing alpha about it. I don't know.
There's some chicks in the chat. Dude, according to my YouTube analytics, 20% of my audience is women. So,
bro, don't encourage them, man. That's going to increase the dick showings. No, there's no chicks. We want to make sure they don't do it. Okay, so I mean that's basically it. So kind of like I said, I probably I stand by my initial statement. I agree with like 60-70% of it. I don't think he's wrong about everything. I think he words things really poorly, and like that's why I stand by my initial premise is that I think the book is highly overrated. because the stuff that he gets right, he words in a really poor way where you actually need to interpret it properly. And a lot of it is common sense. And he is completely wrong about other stuff, like don't self-deprecate. Nope, that's wrong. Don't never tell a girl about your body count. Nope, that's completely wrong. What was the other one? Never live with a girl that you don't plan on marrying within 6 months. Also wrong. So yeah, I'm in.
Really quickly, sorry, Torsha, I don't know what your email is, so put it in the chat and then I'll email you.
We posted the link, Torsha, so it's there.
Yeah.
She said, "Did you?" I mean, unless she said it earlier and then I just didn't see it. But
do you guys want to add in?
I don't know
Ben?
her email, man. I never talked to her.
Do you guys want to add in this guy Ben? He's ready.
Who is
to go.
he? Who is he? I don't.
Ben, we're not opposed to having.
He seems like a friendly guy. So
yeah, I'm gonna add him.
Yeah.
Ben?
Do that.
How goes, Ben?
What's up? What's
How
up,
we doing,
guys?
Ben?
How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Ben?
Oh, pretty good. Yourself?
Good.
Pretty
You
good,
got,
man.
like,
So what do you
are
want
you
to
like a
discuss?
mechanic or what?
Oh, yeah, I do. I work as I'm a transmission tech for a dealership, and then I'm actually at home right now. So yeah, I got a couple hoists in my own personal garage too.
In my
Okay,
garage.
you got a bit of a passion there, huh? That's cool, man.
Yeah. So what did you want to discuss?
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to add, I was just looking at the thumbnail there, and you guys are talking about the rational male and Rollo Tomassi and that kind of stuff. And I was just kind of listening to what you guys are saying there. And it seems like you guys are somewhat opposed. And I thought maybe you guys were more on the side of Rollo and his information. But my main thing was that I wanted to add was that when it comes to living with the girl, I really don't think that's ever a good idea for many reasons. But in any event, if you have to live with her, I think the main thing is she moves in with you. And that's sort of the frame concept too, where she's moving in to your real physical frame, right? So I just wanted to add that. I personally say don't ever let her move in. I don't think it matters what state you're in. You really have to run that scenario. What's going to happen if things do go sideways? Because they can have you kicked out of your own house, even if
I think those are all fair points.
No
man.
Cohabitation law.
Yeah, I think those
Yeah,
are
I
all
would
fair
agree.
points. I'm not a big fan of having chicks.
So
move in.
yeah, and I was just
But I was just saying, if you are planning on getting married, like if you are, I'm not like pro marriage or anything. Like I don't think I'm ever going to get married. But if I was, I think I would want the girl to move in first. And yeah, you're right. I would have her move into my place and not vice versa. So I just want to clarify that.
I think another piece on that too.
So and then I'm divorced. I've been divorced for 7 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm divorced. I'm divorced too.
What I was going to say on this, and I just want to put my piece on this. The one thing is when you have her move in, yes, you have the power, but don't let that power go to your head. So if you're in the middle of a fight or something like that, don't be like, oh, like you're kicked out, whatever, like shit like that, because that just blows up the dynamic if you go back on your words. So that needs to be a very well thought out decision before you do so.
Yep, I would totally agree. And then one thing that I know Rollo stresses is that don't ever move in with her. And I think that's because she really does control the physical frame that you are actually living in. You're moving in to her physical frame. So he really says to shy away from that no matter what, and I totally agree with that. So, but yeah, I just wanted to add that part. I'm really hesitant to any guy really to allow a woman to move in regardless of cohabitation laws, because she can use the police, false allegations, kick you out of your own home, regardless of whether there's cohabitation laws or whatever. You could have been just dating for a little while. She thinks she lives there. She changes her address to your address, so she's now receiving mail there, and she's going to start to have a legal basis if anything does happen. Oh, he abused me, whether it happened or not, and now you're out on the street. I want guys to know that. It needs to be said just to protect themselves. And obviously, you can have 3-4 girls live with you too, and spend place that way too, and however you make it work. But just be careful out there. That's pretty much what I wanted to add. So
I think
Appreciate
that's
your
a fair
perspective,
point.
Ben. And
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
I would
with
agree.
You. Yeah,
Definitely.
No.
And I think it is important, like, to these things that, people in the red pill bring up about women who take men to the cleaners and, do things like that. These are all true things. They do happen, but you cannot live your life based on fear, right? Otherwise you never even approach a girl to begin with, because of all the things that could happen, right? So what do you need to do to protect yourself? You do need to be aware. You do need to develop yourself, and learn how to, lead relationships well. And none of this is guarantees. One of the big things that I think we all have agreed upon, one of our issues with Rational Male, is the black and white nature of it. Nothing is for sure, ever, right? There's no guarantees except for death. And, but to be aware and to use the application of the knowledge we've come to, this is important, and decide for yourself what you truly want. If you don't want to live with a girl, you don't want to get married, there's nothing wrong with that. But if that is something you want, then you will have to take a risk at some point in your life, and better to take that risk with knowledge and experience than to do it blindly.
Yeah, let me just say this completely unrelated thing. Chicken dinner. Don't try to make fun of Ben. Ben had the balls to come on here while he's at work. You did not. So by default, he has 100 levels above you. So no.
Okay, Alex, I think chicken dinner is like the bane of your existence, man.
No, I just really enjoy like debunking and like trolling back for trolls.
Dude, as far as I'm concerned, they're like if you're saying like really good points in the chat, then that's different. But if you're just like being a troll in there, for all I know, you're just like an AI until I know that you're a real person. I don't even entertain them, until they come on. Again, that's if they come on and prove they're a real person and actually have arguments. Then
there we go.
Chicken dinner just self-deprecated, broke the iron rule.
I finally agree with chicken dinner on something. No, there we go. We agree. Okay.
You're in red pill jail now, chicken dinner. You self-deprecated.
Is there anything else you want to add, Ben?
Hey, one other thing. Yeah, I've been divorced for 7 years, and I was married for like 11, 3 kids. And one thing that I think guys need to ask, because you guys are bringing up marriage too, just real quick, is you have to ask yourself, what is marriage going to gain you that you don't already have? And so like, if you want to look at family laws too and really break it down, I'm going to school to be a paralegal too, and I have a lot of experience with family law. And in Minnesota, where I live, if you get married, you do actually gain the rights to your children. So that's one thing to look at. So if you're going to have children with her, then, probably think about getting married. Or if you do get her pregnant, and you're going down that path, it might be a good idea to get married. But you also have to think, if you're not doing that, then what does marriage gain for you? So
let me just clarify. I agree with you. When my initial argument, I was saying that if you are going to get married, then you should probably live with her first. But I would say probably better idea not to get married in the first place. So I'm not pro-marriage.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying if you are determined to get married, then you probably, if you're going to do that, then you should live with her first.
And I lived with my wife for 3 years before we got married, so I absolutely agree. You really need to not only test drive that car, but put 100,000 miles on it if you have to, if you know what I mean.
So you would also disagree with that rule, then, right?
Well, so that's what I did, and now in my life, and I even think the way things are today, the climate today, you still shouldn't live with her. I don't think you should live with her. And then if you do, she's got to move in. It's the only compromise I would ever offer is she has to move in with you. But I don't even recommend that.
Yeah. So Ben, can I ask you a question? Before you got married, would you describe your mindset back then as more of a blue pill kind of way of thinking?
Absolutely.
Okay. Same with me. I got married at 23 years old because I grew up religious, and that's just what you're supposed to do. We didn't even move in together until we got married. Like we're talking pretty hardcore. So I definitely, I've been there, and I think that once you do become more aware of these things, you can conduct yourself in a better way to hopefully avoid a bad situation like that. But like I said, obviously there's no guarantees in life.
Is Torsha, are you coming on? Because we posted the link, so you had a lot of criticism, so come on.
Yeah, I don't know where she is.
Yeah, hopefully she didn't disappear.
Unfortunately, this happened last time where she said she was.
Hopefully, she's not going to.
Previous stream, she said she was going to come on, but she didn't.
Hopefully, she's not going to.
Hope she does. Like, look, we're not. Torsha, if you've seen debates with that Alex and I have, we don't try to go in as like, let's try to shit on this person. Like, that's not the mentality that we go in with. It just ends up happening that way sometimes. If the other person starts to get ridiculous, then, you know, we're like a mirror. As I always say in debates, like, I'm a mirror,
Okay.
right? If you are respectful to me, I'll be even more respectful back to you. If you're disrespectful to me, I'll be even more disrespectful back towards you. So it's the same applies to you, Torsha. You seem like a reasonable person, so you don't need to like be afraid to come on here. You know, we're just going to be talking about ideas. That's it. But I think it'd be very valuable to have you on because I'm pretty sure
I don't think
you're
she's
like
gonna do it.
Rollo's moderator or something, right? So
She's not. I don't think she's going to do it. My gut feeling is she's not going to do it. I don't know if she's going to full on pull a chicken dinner and claim that she was on and say that she won by default. But I don't think she's going to show up. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. All right, Ben. Any last things you want to add?
Nope. I just wanted to thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. And Alex, I wanted to thank you especially for all the men because of what you're doing and this kind of content you're putting out. More guys are having more orgasms because of you. So thank you for that. Thank you for that from all the men out there, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate that, man. Have a good one, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
We'll see you.
Thanks, Ben.
So I want to bring up something real quick that really stood out to me from the book. And here, I want to show this comment to. Okay. So there is not a single married person on this panel, not a single blue pill person on this panel, right? So really going back to what I was talking about, you know, like people just don't even listen, right? They have this whatever, you know, this identity or this belief or this view or whatever, and they don't want to change it. They don't want to listen, right? So like I was saying about like, you know, accepting responsibility for the things you read and whatever. I wrote down this quote from the book because it's the one that most struck out to me this week as I was reading it. And he said, one of the problems with the pickup artist ideal, and that the ideal of basically being able to cold approach a woman whenever you want and get her to sleep with you, is that it does nothing to address the root problem with AFCism. So AFC, for those who don't know, average frustrated chump, basically a blue pill guy who's not getting laid. And he said this, and this really, really, really like just sparked something in me. The root problem with AFCs is that they don't want to stop being AFCs. They just want enough pickup skills to sleep with their dream girl one-itis so they can go back to like being themselves, right? And I've seen so much of that in the comments today where people are saying, oh, we're all either against the rational male or we're all for it. And it's like people just aren't even listening. People don't want to change. And, you know, as dating coaches, I almost feel a sense of responsibility. Like we have to like help guys understand these concepts of like, look, you know, it is true that you will have to change. If you're not getting laid at all, something has to change. And it's not learn these 3 secret text messages and then every woman's going to want to sleep with you and you don't have to change at all. You know, people will read this book and they will take it in a negative victim way because they're already victims and they don't want to change. And that is a problem. And we need to help. And I'm not here to shit on them and say they're bad people. But I think that's important. We all need to do that from time to time to assess whether or not we are, you know, being honest with ourselves and whether or not we're willing to actually put in the work and do the work of something like this, debate, talk about these ideas. I feel like I have a much better understanding of this book and its effects and its influences and how people feel about it from this debate. And I love that. So yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
Well, I would just
So
say,
look, I mean, what he was talking about there, yeah, again, there's certain parts of the book that I think he gets correct. I don't think, again, it's anything necessarily unique to him, but, you know, we talk about saying, oh, these 4 blue-pilled guys, all of us are way more red-pilled than Rollo Tomassi, because at the very least, what makes somebody red-pilled? And this is by Rollo's definition of the red pill, right? The red pill is not written in pen, it's written in pencil because it can be changed at any time through discussion and debate. And yet he doesn't want to debate us. Why? I wonder why. So he's not actually following the very values that he supposedly has. I'll liken it to this as well. Rollo Tomassi is red-pilled, not as red-pilled as us, but he is red-pilled. But his Rational Male book is just another blue pill. It's a blue pill. Of all people, somebody put this really well, was MGTOW Dictionary in my debate with him yesterday. He said blue pills painted red. That's what the rational male is to me. It is a blue pill painted red, because he's unplugging you from the traditional, whatever you want to call it, gynocentric social order, blue pill Disney World thinking, but he's plugging you back into another matrix after that. All right. So when you read the rational male, that's not actually red pill. That's actually blue pill, because there's some things that are fundamentally, demonstrably incorrect in that book. And he does it as a way to plug you into his ideology.
Yeah. I think you said it pretty well. I don't really even have anything to add to that necessarily.
And again, look, I think Rollo can redeem himself, but because look, he wrote that book like, I don't know, 10 years ago. And
2011,
obviously anybody's ideas, if they're being intellectually honest, their ideas evolve and change. So maybe he could go in and make a few corrections here and there, especially the technical ones, like not getting solipsism, hypergamy wrong as well. Hypergamy is the anthropological definition of dating up. And it's not even exclusive to women. I'm pretty sure actually the term hypergamy is actually women doing that. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, so that's the way that I view it. Oh, sorry.
Rollo did not like that,
man. Yeah, I need to figure out how to do this. It's just like every 30 minutes it like cuts out. I need to figure out how to do this on this camera.
No, but that's a great point. And I think right now, and this goes back to the very beginning of what we were talking about, Rollo is all about brand preservation right now. And so he wants to keep to what he has put out, and that's it. And he is too worried about messing that up in a debate. I mean,
he's like a cranky Karen. Like he's like,
yeah,
like he's like,
dude,
he's
this
like
is a perfect comment.
Like
Rollo is red pill, but he's the shitty Matrix 4 red pill. That's so true, man. And look, this is actually a really insightful comment. So Rollo is the architect from the Matrix. So he's literally, again, you're actually like in a different Matrix, right? So the architect is basically the creator of the Matrix, the main kind of mastermind of the Matrix in the films. And yeah, I mean, Rollo actually kind of looks like the architect if you really think about it. He's like this old man that looks completely out of place. But yeah, that's all he's doing. He's taking you out of one ideology, plugging you into another, right? And again, if you don't take it from me, take it from Nietzsche, Genealogy of Morals. That's essay number 2. I'm pretty sure that's the one. And where he talks about the priest. All right. It just describes Rollo exactly. And again, I can't believe I'm quoting him, but to quote MGTOW Dictionary of all people, Rollo Tomassi gives red pills or blue pills that are painted red. So that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know who I think is more disgenuine, Rollo or MD Dictionary, but that's the real question, I think. But I want to say this: I'm like pretty disappointed that Torsha bitched out. Seems to be that's the case. This is like what happens time and time again. All the people who talk shit in the comments never ever have the balls to come on. It's always like cool, normal guys like Ben who are like, yeah, I just want to add, which is great. I love supporters and people who are who have impacted positively, but it doesn't provide the kind of entertainment that debating a hater would. But the haters never ever come on. That's like been what I've experienced time and time again. So
so really quickly, Alex, I will. Yeah, I do want to say this to Torsha because I'm sure maybe she's still watching or she'll watch this later. Look, if you don't want to come on to debate, that's fine. Honestly, I think it's fine if you feel like you can formulate your ideas better by like making a reaction video or something. That's fine. Because like, look, I get it. I mean, Alex, you literally you debated Destiny, man, and like. I wouldn't say there was like a winner or loser of that, but
there was
he definitely didn't like win. You didn't get destroyed by any means. So
no.
I understand for most people, if they don't have experience with debating or they don't think that they're a good rhetorician, that they might just feel intimidated to come on. I totally get that. That's fine. So again, if debating isn't your thing to talk about ideas, or you think, you need more, it's a better way to lay out your ideas as through like a video or something, that's fine. So
here's my problem.
I don't blame you if you didn't want to come on. Just maybe for the sake of your audience, maybe make a reaction video or something.
Here's my problem with that, though, Kevin. I hate doing the reaction video thing because what happens is like exactly what happened in my case with Rollo is you just wind up getting straw man. So what if Torsha does make a reaction video, she's not actually going to argue against any of my arguments. She's going to straw man everything. And then I'm going to make a video and then she's going to accuse me of straw manning. So you have this cycle. So really, if you want to get to the truth, like you have to have these like one-on-one or two-on-two debates or discussions, whatever you want to call them. Because otherwise, like it never gets resolved. It's just straw manning, misinterpreting arguments. And then like, it's like two people arguing about the same thing, but they're completely misinterpreting the other person's positions.
You're right. You just changed my mind. You just destroyed me with facts and logic.
Facts or feelings, bro.
You literally changed my mind. You're totally right. Yeah.
Facts or feelings, bro.
Yeah. Again, in a perfect world, yeah. I mean, if they don't straw man you anyway, then they can make a reaction and it makes sense. But you're right. I mean, honestly, look, I'm open to people critiquing the things we talked about here today, but I really just don't see. I'm trying to think of some things in which like we were actually incorrect in our assessment of judging Rollo, because what was good about this panel is that we had all these different perspectives, right? So we had me, Alex. I was very against it. Alex is like maybe 75% against it, and then Brad and Huds, you guys are like 50-50. So I think that's fair. What is this? Hey Kevin, do you mind explaining why Rollo thinks his work is so-called praxeology? Great. Oh yeah, don't even get me started on that.
You love this one.
Yeah. Softball. Okay, guys. Here we go.
So praxeology. First of all, I think the original term, it was coined as like practice theory or something, but it's mostly related to Austrian economics, and the fundamental claim of praxeology is actually that human beings are so complicated that you cannot predict them in any way. And more specifically, you cannot use the scientific method to predict human behavior. All right. If I have to spell it out for you guys here, Rollo Tomassi basically, he even says the red pill is a predictive framework, which is one of the most anti-praxeology things you could ever say. Also, the fact that he's like, I have clips of it somewhere on my channel where he says, like, we use praxeology, we use science to find the truth. It's like, those are two inherently different things. It's like, we use Christianity, we use Satanism to figure out the truth. It's like, what, bro? You just said two completely opposite things. Like, it just goes to show you that he's a pseudo-intellectual. It's literally, it's a huge self-own. That's literally what it is. To say, oh, we need science, but we need science to observe human behavior. Also, it's a praxeology. It's like, come on, bro.
Yeah, that's my
He's
issue.
a pseudo-intellectual, man. This is why no serious intellectual actually ever contends with him.
I think some people
or even wants anything to do with him.
Okay, this may not sound nice, but I think it's the truth. I think a lot of people who are a little bit lower on the IQ scale just take Rollo at his word, because he sounds like he's smart. And if you're not that smart, it's easy to think that he's smart, but like, he's very disgenuine with a lot of like his arguments and a lot of the points he makes, and he constantly contradicts himself. So if you're able to like pick up on the nuances, it's just like becomes laughable. But again, I don't think he's wrong about everything. I think he's probably right about more than 50% of the stuff he says. But that doesn't negate the fact that he's wrong about solid 25, 30, 35%.
And the thing is, he will never admit that he's wrong about anything.
Yeah, no,
that goes into the whole ego thing as well. Like, yeah, it's I am right. Iron rules. Iron. I know everything, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
There should be called the plastic suggestions instead of the iron rules.
Like that.
Yeah. The 10 plastic suggestions.
The flaccid suggestions.
Yeah, the flaccid suggestions. Flaccid suggestion.
Okay, so here's like it can be applied to this guy. This guy, I would like to have this guy on to talk to him. He said it's not specific to Austrian economics whatsoever. Okay, so it's not specific to Austrian economics the same way communism is not exclusive to Marxism, right? It's so inextricably tied within the, I guess, social consciousness, the way that you say it. It's like nobody uses praxeology outside of Austrian economics. They just don't. When you talk about praxeology, it's always talking about Austrian economics. The same way when you talk about communism, you're always talking about Marxism. You're not talking about any other form of communism. And if you are, you have to make the distinction. So if you're talking about like the kibbutz or whatever in Israel, right? So technically, you're right. Technically, praxeology can be used as it's practice theory with other different soft sciences, but it's used almost exclusively for Austrian economics.
I want
In
to
the
just
way
make
Rollo, like-
one point.
Yeah.
As a side note, using big words doesn't make you smart. Usually people who are really smart actually try to find ways to phrase their things much more simply so the average person can understand them. So it may seem to someone who's not well read that, oh, you know, if you're smart, you're going to use big words, but that's actually not a sign of true intelligence.
It is. You're so right. I'm so glad you brought that up. It is the exact opposite. Smart people try and dumb it down so the average person can understand.
Like Yaron Brooks, for example, he's a good example of that when he was on my channel. Like, he's clearly a very smart guy. Like, I think probably smarter than me in a lot of ways. But like, he wasn't trying to like come off as smart. Like, he was trying to simplify all of his arguments.
Yeah. And that's the best way too. It's like, you know, you can usually tell when people just use word salads to try to sound smart, you know, but if you really are that smart, you should be able to break down a complicated topic into, you know, understandable words. And I get it. Sometimes, like, if there's two like intellectuals talking and they need to be hyper specific with their words, especially if you see like two philosophers talking, then yeah, they're going to use a lot of try hard definitions. But that's in terms of talking with one another, right? I actually have a problem with academia from that standpoint. Is one of the reasons that they use like a bunch of these fancy terminology is it's a form of elitism to try to be like, oh, look at us, like it's their way of trying to feel powerful, you know, and smart. And that comes at the expense of, because I think philosophy is for everybody, right? It's the love of wisdom, and you shouldn't be precluded from wisdom because you don't understand a few words, right? That's part of what I'm trying to do with this channel, is to try to, you know, take all the try hard eggheadedness out of it and actually like make it a practical thing we can all use.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Do you accept okay, this is a question for me. Do you accept the whole dog game approach thing you run as modern day peacocking? Let me know if I can jump on for a quick chat. I mean, we can discuss it, but is modern day peacocking? I mean, I don't know. My argument is this: I have a big dog. He requires lots of exercise. Huskies need between 2 or 3 hours of exercise a day. I don't have the time to walk him. However, when I'm filming infield, I'm out for several hours, so I can kill two birds with one stone. It gives me a little bit of an in with the ladies, plus I get to walk my dog. So I don't know if it's peacocking, but dogs definitely help get conversation started. So I don't really have a good answer to that. I don't think it's peacocking. No, I guess that would be my answer. Wait, did Torsha just respond? I think I saw her in the hello.
Said hello.
Oh, so Torsha, are you going to come on? Or
I think she's just doing it to piggyback off of the views. To be honest,
well,
I hope not, man. I don't want to ascribe bad intent. Hopefully, you know, she actually does come on. So,
I mean, I know we would really appreciate her opinion on things. So,
well, it's not. I wouldn't say that necessarily, but it would be interesting to hear her make good arguments about why we're wrong.
So we got this
want me to
here.
read that, or you can read that, Huds.
Sure. Yeah. So Terminal Philosophy, thanks for the super chat. So is it thanks for your first response? It always seemed to me that Rollo tries to sell himself as far more sagacious than he really is. He plays with terminology from various fields in the humanities and is incoherent, in my opinion. That is absolutely right. He uses too many big words which don't flow together properly. And it makes everybody think that he knows more than he does. And it's very frustrating.
Yep.
Torsha,
I didn't see your email.
We posted it in the comment. I'll post it again because we've already posted multiple times.
I can email her. It's
all good. I mean, right here. Bam. There we go. So Torsha, we just posted the link. Okay.
No, I never emailed her because I didn't see her email gloss over. So
well, she should
maybe it got lost in the chat, but yeah, I never emailed her. I didn't see it.
We do both. I mean, you know, I can, you know, like you can do debates and you can teach pickup and you can what is this cannot be actually John. People were saying you're jerking on camera. Is this true? Like who's he even talking about?
Maybe he's just trolling us.
Yeah.
All right. So in the meantime, while Torsha gets set, I got this guy Mac here behind the scenes, and he wanted to talk a little bit about this.
What do you want to discuss though before we bring him on? Like
he wants to talk about how Rollo is just a modern Freud, and I think it'd just be interesting at least as a segue.
A modern Freud. Man, that is
That's
Freud is freaking rolling over in his grave right now,
that's
being
that's a
compared to him.
statement.
But
Let's
okay.
go, Mac.
Right.
Let me
So hey
wait
everyone.
before we start.
Hi
Let me
again,
just
Alex.
wait. Hang on one second, Mac. Just let me address
Of
something that JT said. So JT,
Thanks, Code Maximus.
yeah, I know you were here first. The thing is though, it doesn't sound like you really disagree with us on much. Like, can you write out specifically what you disagree with in that private chat? And then if there's like substantial disagreements, we will bring you on. Also, Mac was like willing to show his face, which does give him like it does alleviate our concerns about trolls. So, but we'll bring on a person who doesn't show his face, but you just have to make arguments why what you disagree with us about. Okay, go ahead, Mac.
Right. So when I say that he's a modern Freud, that's not to say that he will ever reach kind of the status that Sigmund Freud ever had. That's just to say that they both employ very similar methods. Because one of the reasons that Freud became so popular is that he sounded like he had a solution to practically everyone's problems. But more or less, what he was doing was he was quite literally just making shit up as he went on the fly. So the problem that Rollo and Freud both share is that a lot of what they say is not really falsifiable. So when everyone talks about, soft science, hard science, it's all science at the end of the day. And if that sounds ridiculous, I am 2 months away from graduating with a degree in mechanical engineering. So, I mean, I feel pretty confident about this stuff. When we're discussing, like, take for example, okay, will this steel beam fail, or in psychology, you have how reproducible are the results. It's more or less the same idea. You can come up with all sorts of failure theories for materials. Some are shit because they're not fucking reproducible. So it's all the same scientific process, but that's not what they really do. Rollo typically and his kind of acolytes will say when you criticize them, for example, any of the so-called iron rules, if you and they're what, like 2 sentence statements or something, so like, yeah, they're fucking stupid, but they'll just
No,
go
it's
to
an hour and a half long chapter in the
or,
book.
or
They're
that
not two
so,
sentences.
or yeah, he'll do something which is commonly referred to as kind of like a escape hatch fallacy, which is like, or I guess more formally, not to say it's a formal fallacy, but that goes into a whole thing. But just like, I guess how we speak and referring to form.
So really quickly, Mac, I
Best
first
comment
off,
of the
thank
night.
you. No, that
Everyone who isn't.
what?
Oh no, that's
Okay,
funny.
yeah, that was a funny comment. No, I mean from that perspective, yeah. I mean Freud, the idea of the unconscious, the ego, superego. Yeah, I mean in a way, when you call it psychology, and from his standpoint, it's almost more so like applied philosophy, right? So he was heavily inspired by Nietzsche, actually. But I will say, I think Freud, he gets shit on a lot, but he deserves more credit, I think, because he really popularized the idea of the unconscious, which is where, Carl Jung, for example, kind of piggybacked off of that and expanded upon it. I look at Freud kind of the same way I look at Plato, right? So I think Aristotle solved a lot of issues within Plato's thinking, but I still have a lot of respect for Plato. Same thing with Freud. But I see what you're talking about, of like the things that he talks about, especially with psychoanalysis and stuff. There's not that much that's very falsifiable. So that's
Yeah,
why I know you don't like the term, but soft science versus hard science. I think that's why people regard psychology in general as more of a soft science, because to my understanding, it's really the study of the mind as opposed to neuroscience, which is like literally the actual study of the brain. Those two kind of get conflated a lot. But yeah, I consider neuroscience more actual like science. And I still have a lot of respect for psychology, don't get me wrong, but it's almost like the human mind is like such an abstract thing in the first place. It's like, yeah. So I get what you're saying. I appreciate your insights. So
I think
I'm glad
Portia
you
is here,
clarified
so
that.
I think we should bring her on.
Yeah. I'm glad she came on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get what you're saying, Kevin. It's just that kind of, I guess, where you can kind of, I don't necessarily like totally disagree with, like, okay, some things are like not very easy to study, such as psychology, because it has that reproduction issues right now is massive in psychology. You can come up with great theories, but like chances of you being able to repeat them is fairly low. So if you want to say like, yeah, there's some things we need to work out there, what's called a soft science. that's cool. But like a lot of people will just say like, oh nah, dude, Rollo's like random scribblings are like a higher power than people who are actually trying to create something that's
Dude, I think it says a lot that I think it's to the detriment of, you know, the whatever you want to call it, the manosphere, or people just interested in these topics. I you know, a lot of evolutionary psychologists and biologists have either denounced Rollo or just refused to. Oh, whoops. I need to hold on. You guys can still hear me, but yeah, a lot of them refuse to even involve themselves with him or talk to him, and I think that's a shame. They should at least talk to him and you know, debate him or whatever. The specific person I'm thinking of is Jeffrey Miller. Jeffrey Miller, the author of the book Mate, along with Tucker Max. You know,
I like Tucker.
Yeah, I mean, he Rollo cited one of his things, and then, you know, Jeffrey was just like, "Screw you, I don't want to associate with you." It's like, dude, instead of saying that, how about you actually talk to the guy, right? So, like, or compare ideas and stuff, you know. So it's a damn shame. I really hope that evolutionary psychologists, biologists, really legit people within the space that people should be listening to instead of Rollo, Dr. David Buss. These are people that Rollo actually cites, to his credit. They should actually have a discussion with Rollo to correct him on a few things. I think that'd be way better for everybody. But who knows? Maybe for all I know, Rollo doesn't even want to actually talk to them because it might
we all know the answer.
Infringe on his God complex. That's entirely possible.
Okay, let's. I think we gotta, Mac. Sorry, but we gotta move on to the next person. But thanks for coming.
Oh no, that's fair.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Mac.
We appreciate it, man. All right, take care, bro. Okay. Yeah, Mac was cool, but I want to get on like Torsha because she actually had some disagreements. Okay, there we go. What's up?
I'm gonna change. Hi, first of all, hi Torsha. I'm listening.
She's real. I wasn't sure if she was real or not. Okay.
Hold on. I need to change my battery pack. You guys can keep talking.
Okay.
Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yep.
Do you guys see how the whole dynamic changes when I enter the chat?
How does it change?
You don't think so?
How so?
No, I think too early to say. You just joined our discussion like 2 seconds ago.
Okay.
Well, so why don't you? I guess you in the chat, you were coming in a little hot. You were saying that you disagree with some of the points we're making. So I guess just line out.
Let's start from the beginning.
Okay, sure. Let's do it.
Okay, go ahead and read the first rule.
Well, I think it would probably be easier if you just talk about the things you disagree with, because
you guys got a lot of it wrong, just from the get-go.
What exactly did we get wrong? Like, what are the things that you disagree with?
Oh, well, let's go to the top. I know what you're doing.
And the top is. And the top.
No, I'm like legitimately trying to get to your disagreements, because if we just go through the whole book,
the whole thing.
We're gonna be here for
are your disagreements
like
exclusively with the rules, or? No.
Well,
I think this is fine.
Guys. Like, what are we?
Let's take a step back. Let's take a step back for a second. The very first rule is frame is everything. And that's what we're doing right now, is we're framing our show.
We're having a frame battle. Yeah. No. Look, I think it's fine.
I mean, I think the guest should go with the host frame, but okay. I mean, we don't have to.
Well, a lot of the underlying principles behind Rollo's book, which is what I really have a problem with, they're sort of imbued here and there within the rules. So I'm fine with just going off the rules, and then naturally that'll.
I mean, we can go through all the rules if you guys want to do that. I just feel like that's going to be long-winded, but if you guys are all cool with that, we can do that. I feel like it would be faster to just.
Or let's do more specifically ones that we, were shitting on, and Torsha thinks that we were wrong, because
I agree with like 6 out of 10 of them. So I don't know what we're gonna like debate about on that front.
So yeah, rule number 1: frame is everything. We pretty much
just
agreed on that one.
fine.
Do you agree with that one as well?
I
Or
have a problem with the first one, right?
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So you're saying you don't have a problem with it either?
No.
Okay.
I don't have a problem. I think that's probably the most important rule for a man to implement in 2022.
Okay. Let me share the screen.
Since rule 2 here.
Okay, I got it. Okay. So I took issue with the second rule. So what do you disagree with me about?
Okay, so this rule, the never under any pain and honesty or dishonestly reveal the number of women you've slept with. I hate this rule because it's so true. And you guys are not seeing it from a game perspective. Back when this book was actually written, it used to be game for men to use their number their notch counts that they would overestimate as a way to make themselves look better. Do you understand?
Sure, but it's
This
not
was back when
written
the
like
book
that.
was written.
Okay, so you're say that again. Can you phrase that again?
Sure. So number 2 with never reveal your notch count, whatever. Back when the book was written, this was a tactic, I guess you could say, that men would use in order to get women into bed with them. And men typically overestimate their notch counts. But now they're saying that, or I'm sorry. So because it was game back then, he was going based off of like that perspective. Now things are different in 2022. But back when it was written, it had to deal with game.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter if female nature is static and not changing, which is a fundamental claim that Rollo's making?
Can you say that again?
Yeah, so that would make sense if you're making the standpoint of like, social constructs or whatever heavily determine female behavior. But Rollo's fundamental assertion of female behavior is inextricably tied to female nature.
You do.
So why would that change? Why would that be effective 10 years ago, not now?
Wait, so okay, you're telling me that women back when this book was written, what was it, 2014? I don't know, 2011,
I think it's
arguably.
2011, yeah.
Yeah. So you're telling me that women are the same now that they were back then?
No, I don't think so, but Rollo thinks that.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he
You
talks
do
about female
realize
nature.
his entire, like everything he talks about is the fact that women are getting more and more, one, promiscuous. Like there's just so many things to talk about. We could go into that, but to assume that we could even go back further and say like the 80s when he was arguably in the game, since you guys like to make fun of how out of the game he is or whatever, you could say that all of his ideas were written back in that time, even like over the course from 1980 to 2022. A lot has happened when it comes to female nature, but what still stands is that women, when it comes to asking about notch counts, women ask that as a shit test. Do you guys know that?
No, of course.
I mean,
Yeah,
that with
and
love.
that's
Like,
I know
no,
it comes
no,
off
hold on,
kind of
hold on.
harsh.
You just said that
Shit
female nature.
test.
Wait, guys, let me say something. You just said that female nature has changed since the 80s based on now. That's
Well,
not something
yeah.
Rollo believes. So what? So back in the 80s, women weren't hypergamous and solipsistic, but now suddenly
No, they were
are?
hypergamous. They were, but things were
that's female
shamed
nature.
in society. So back then, women, if you slept around or whatever, it was really frowned upon. Now it's kind of a little bit more accepted. Still, if you talk about it, if we're talking red pill space, frowned upon. And I think a lot of people get caught up in that. But in like actual everything else, no one really says that much about it. It's frowned upon to have an opinion about it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah,
So
I mean, we're all
but
red
this
pill
rule
guys,
in
so
it
I
of
don't-
itself like was about like let's just focus on the fact that the rule and the book, it was during a time where it was about game and women were shit testing you. Now if you were to do that, it would be even worse.
Yeah. Okay. So your argument,
If a
Torture,
guy
is that-
told me he had a notch count of over 20, it's done. Not talking to him. If he had a notch count of 0, I would fuck him. Shocking, isn't it? That's not something you would hear from women. There's a lot that like women aren't actually articulating that they actually feel, but they'll
Okay.
never tell you that. Most people
so
think
Torsia,
women want guys with experience.
Torsia,
Most
let me
you
ask you
would
this.
assume,
So
right?
well,
No,
first
no,
of all, women
hold
are
on,
different.
Torsia,
So
wait,
your preferences
really
might be
quickly. This
different
is
than
really
other
important. This is really
women's
important. Hold on.
preferences.
One
Okay.
thing. So Torsia, you say that, if a guy says I fucked 20 women, you would say no, but if a guy fucked 0 women, that you would say yes. Are there
I would
going to be
have
women
more of
out?
an inclination to say yes.
Okay.
There's this huge misconception that
Got it.
women
Wait,
want
hold on.
men.
I totally get that. Now, can
Okay.
you acknowledge that there's going to be women that have the exact opposite answer as you?
No, I never respond yes to do you acknowledge, reword it.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that there's other women who would say, "Hey, I'd rather sleep with a guy that's been with 20 girls than a guy that's been with 0"? Do you think there's any girls out there that are like that? That are opposite of what you just said?
Do you
I
think there's
hate
any
when
guys who
people
don't want a
ask
virgin?
that type of question. That's an exception, not a rule. Like, I know what you're saying.
Okay, even if it's an exception, which I don't think it is, I think most women will probably say, "I'd rather be with the guy that's not a virgin than
You
the guy
think?
who is a virgin." But I mean, do you
How many
acknowledge that
times do
girls like
women
that exist?
Can you agree with me that women say certain things and mean another?
Yeah, everyone
Like,
agrees to that.
seriously,
Or
like, you
I mean,
really
are you
can't
making the
go.
claim that women all secretly want to just hook up with virgin men?
No, I never said that.
I mean, that would explain why Torsha likes Rollo.
Dude, that's me. Come on.
I'm
That's
just
funny.
walking around.
No. So Torsha, the reason that I'm bringing that up is I'm saying that there's variability within even just modern
Of
women in terms
course
of
there
how they
is,
would
Kevin.
answer a question like
Of
that.
course there is. We always,
Yeah.
everybody always fucking goes to that argument. Let's keep moving.
Can I step in
I
here?
hate that
Well, hold on.
argument.
Can-
I
Well,
hate
hold
it.
on. I know
It's
you
just so
hate that argument. Look,
disingenuous. I'm not gonna go back
how
and
is it
forth with that one.
disingenuous? What, that
Yeah.
I'm
It
saying
really
that
is.
different people
No,
have different
I don't
opinions?
play like that.
What are you
You
talking
guys,
about?
you
What
guys
part of
said
what I did was
earlier you
disingenuous?
wanted
Please,
to.
please enlighten us. What was disingenuous about me saying that?
First of all, you're not a fucking woman. Second of all, like, that's the kind of content that I make. Like, seriously, it just gets so
Wait, Kevin
frustrating.
has to
We're
be
not
a
gonna
Well,
go
woman.
why?
back and
Why?
forth
How do
in
you?
a
So
dumbass
Rollo
Why do you
Tomassi is not a
qualify to
woman
speak
either,
for
but
Here's
you
the
have
thing,
no
here's the thing.
problem. Hold on. Rollo Tomassi is not a woman either, but you have no problem when he says stuff because you agree with him because you're on his side. But now all of a
That's not
sudden you're
true.
saying, "Oh, you're not a woman."
How do you know I
Therefore,
agree
you
with
So,
can't
him?
you can't
guys,
talk.
let's all take a
You
step
see where
back.
it's going?
Let's
This
take a
is
step
why I
back.
don't do that.
Torsha,
What are you
Torsha.
talking
Let's go
about?
back.
Guys, everybody, let's take a step back. Torsha, you came in because you had some criticisms on the things that we were saying. We have now
I had
tackled
criticisms. Y'all invited me in, and I said fine.
well, we tackled one of them. I'm curious, like some of the things that you may think that we don't understand or you completely disagree with. Can we get back to that point?
Sure,
Well,
let's
can
keep
I get a point
moving.
in about rule number 2 before we move
Yeah,
on?
go ahead.
Okay, so the argument you're making is that back in the time, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to straw man you, is that the time when the book came out, a lot of dudes were using their body count as a game tactic. I don't know. I wasn't in the game 20 years ago. Maybe you're right about that. However,
Look
then
up
the rules.
article.
Okay, so
Sorry.
then the rule should be don't use your body count as a way to attract girls. Never under the pain of death, honestly or dishonestly reveal a number of women. That's largely a different point. So, like, you're making a statement.
No, it's not. What are you talking about? No, it's not. Here, I'm gonna put some
How's it not?
links.
Well,
No.
just explain to me, like, how is it different? Like, because those two
Hold on.
things
If
sound largely
I
different.
post in this chat, is this not the actual chat? It says private chat.
Yeah, you want to go to the comments.
Okay, hold on.
But,
Hold
like,
on.
But we don't have time to like click on links and shit. Can you just like explain why that's
Oh,
different?
that's fucked up. You don't say that. Come on. Guys, Google Shacking Up by Rollo Tomassi.
I don't understand
You'll
why you
get a
can't answer
little
my
bit more
question.
in depth. Sorry.
Like, it's a pretty
What?
straightforward question that I asked you. Like, how is that? You said they're not different things at all. So explain to me why it's not different. Because to me, don't use your body count as a way to attract girls is in a lot of ways
Ask the
different.
men back then. Do I look like a dude? How the fuck would
But
I
you're-
know?
But you're arguing on that behalf. So that's why I'm
Because
asking
that's what it was about. If you read the book, you would know this. That's why
Okay.
I'm
Read it
saying
3
it seems like you
times.
guys haven't even read it.
I've
Okay,
read
and
it 3
I'm
times.
well. You're someone who's read the book multiple times, assumingly, right? So I'm
Yeah.
asking you the question. So why can't you answer it?
You're asking me about the fucking wording of a rule. Do I look like the author? Like, I'm telling you what it's about. I'm about to give you a link. You don't want it. So you guys don't want to go further in, and that
You can
explains
post
it
the
more.
link, but like,
in the
can we be
actual
realistic
book.
here about like it's a
I
pretty
am
simple
realistic.
question.
Are you telling me I'm delusional? How dare you?
Partially, I think, yeah, a little bit. No offense. I
Okay.
mean, okay. So again, let me rephrase that. Your argument is that at the time they were, a lot of pickup dudes were using whatever their body count
Yes.
as a way, blah 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 blah. Okay, so then shouldn't the rule be don't use your body count as a way to get girls, which is something I would agree with as well. If that was the rule, then I would say yes, that makes sense. I agree with it, but that's not the rule.
Alex,
Like if in my video,
do I look like the author? You're asking me, don't you think it should be worded this way? No, I think it's perfect.
but that's a disingenuous argument when you say, "Oh,
That's
do I
not,
look
I
like the
didn't
author?"
argue anything. You asked me a yes or no. Well, you asked me,
Okay,
do you think
guys,
it
I
should be
think I think we're
worded
getting caught in the
differently?
weeds with little. I could
I don't
care
see that
less
as a little
about
point, though. I think
my
Yeah.
rule number
I think that's a
or
pretty
whatever,
big
right?
point, though. I
No,
think
look,
It's a huge point. It's a
the
huge point.
fundamental
My
things-
point. Your point is just about the wording. You're asking, like, you could say that about any fucking author. Like,
No,
that's
it's a
so
completely
lame.
different.
I'm not gonna say that. No.
When
Everybody
Can
wants
I-
to word it differently. Everybody wants it this way. No.
No, let's
Stop
not make
it.
it seem like I'm just having a technical problem with the wording. It's the issue is that
You
when
are.
enough-
That's
no,
all you're
no, no,
asking
because
me.
no, because when enough words are different, it has a completely different point. That's the thing. Is
Yeah,
that
that's what the woke side says, don't they?
that's what the what
Okay,
says?
guys, hold on.
The
Alex,
woke side.
can I chime in here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I think we should get down to brass tacks and the actual issues that I don't want to speak for the other guys that I personally have with Rollo Tomassi and the Rational Male book. So his use of the term solipsism, something that he ascribes exclusively to women, and also the way that he says that hypergamy, only women operate by hypergamy and men don't. And again, well, I just want to know your opinions on that. Because that's really the fundamental things that
Which part,
I really disagree
solipsism
with.
or hypergamy?
They're both tied together based on how he formulates his arguments in his book. But
Which
yeah,
one
you could do either
specifically?
one. So
The way that
so
I see, correct
Go
me
ahead.
if I'm wrong, but the way that I see hypergamy is like a dualistic mating strategy. If you were to Google hypergamy, it would be marrying up. The way that evolutionary psychologists kind of talk about it, it's that dualistic mating strategy. How Rollo talks about it is the dualistic mating strategy. Other red pill creators break it down into 5, arguably. So it depends, but Rollo talks about it with 2. So you have your alpha fucks, beta bucks. Everybody kind of knows what that is. But it's like you guys were saying something about the foam cannon party, dude. And then earlier, that's like the last that I caught of you guys before I came on. But you're talking about the foam cannon party, dude. And if Rollo's ever been to one, something like that. But then there's like beta bucks.
That was a joke.
yeah, no, I get that
Yeah.
with the dual mating strategy. I mean, that's a little bit different.
And then
the way that he
solipsism,
would
you're asking me to define?
No, you don't need to define it. But I want to let's talk about hypergamy first, and then we could talk about solipsism. So the thing is with hypergamy, again, the definition, like you said, if you Google it, says marrying up. Rollo
Yeah.
just kind of changed the definition to be specifically that women will
Rollo didn't
always.
change it. He just elaborated on it.
I mean, can you be hypergamous without being without marrying?
Yeah,
So, yeah,
certainly. I think you could.
Yeah, I mean, he again.
I think
did
I've
kinda
been
change the definition.
hypergamous before.
No, hold on. It's okay, fine. Look, the point I'm trying to make is, he talks about hypergamy, right? And he says that it's something that women exclusively have. He says that men are not hypergamous. Again, hypergamy, you talked about the
Men
dual
marry
mating
up.
strategy. Hold on. The dual mating strategy is just a reflection of a woman's hypergamous nature where she wants to have, the highest quality genes, right? She's going to go for the highest value guy and then make the beta guy pay for it, right? So that's hypergamy in action.
So if a
More
woman
specifically, going for the
operated,
highest value. Hold on.
hold on, you're like throwing me
men-
off. Let me just make sure that I'm getting this right. I'm not arguing. I just want to make sure that I'm fucking understanding.
Okay, fine.
So if a woman optimized her sexual mating strategy in like the most optimized way, it would be that she would fuck, like, let's say a simp. No, she would fuck an alpha guy, have a baby with him, and then get a simp to or beta, whatever you want to say, to
that's
father the
idea
child.
behind
That's the
alpha plus
optimized
beta bucks,
version.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Sorry, go
that's
ahead.
but what's underlying that behavior, right? Because that's behavior in action. The behavior behind it is hypergamy, trying to find the highest value, highest quality alpha male or whatever, right? So, but Rollo's very clear about this. He says that women are hypergamous, men aren't. So
Yeah.
I don't do you not
This is
believe that men can be hypergamous as well?
No, it's whoever has the larger gamete. So like evolutionary biology, in species, in humans, women have the larger gamete. The egg is bigger than the sperm. That's just how that is. Whoever has the larger gamete is the one that's choosier. And that's when it gets into hypergamy and all that stuff. So if men were hypergamous, you are implying that they would be choosier. You know what I'm saying?
They are choosier.
It doesn't work like that.
They're choosy in
Sperm
terms
is
of where
kinda
they
useless.
allocate. Hold on. They're choosy, even if we go by just the thinking that like an alpha male guy is just going to try to bang as many women as he can, that he still has an investment in his offspring and his genes passing on to the next generation, which is why even the most alpha men of history, they still had like a wife. They still
Actually,
have,
no,
let's
that's not
say that
true.
they're what?
Men don't have the investment. That's actually why they developed marriage, was to keep the father around, because they don't have the same investment that women do. They're more likely
So
to
who
be
invented
out of the
marriage,
picture.
women or men?
I'm sorry?
Who do you think invented marriage, women or men?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but I do know that's why marriage was invented, was to keep the father in the picture.
It was invented by men.
Hold on.
I'm
The
assuming it'd be
father,
fair to say men.
hold on. The father of the daughter, to keep
The
the maid in
father of
line.
the offspring. I don't think it's gender
Father
exclusive.
of the daughter. Yeah, because we naturally have more, like, again, actually using the term correctly, patriarchal societies until recently.
You're saying the father and only a daughter? No son?
No, I'm saying
Like, I'm
you're
confused.
no. So you said that they invented marriage so that,
That was the purpose of
guy
it,
would
yeah.
stay with the woman, right? Yeah.
It would be easier to keep
who
them
would
in-
implement that?
in-
Because women didn't have the power to be like, oh, you have to marry me or else what, right? So the
Monogamy's
people that
been around
actually
for so long. I don't know, to be quite honest. I don't think
No,
anybody
I
really
know that,
knows.
and look, this is actually more of a thought experiment, right? But my
Yeah.
thinking behind it is, it's marriage is an institution that the father of the daughter came up with in order for his genes to proliferate, in order for the father to have investment with the grandfather's offspring.
Sorry, I'm distracted by your chat. I did
Yeah, the
not
chat
hear
can
what
get
you
very
just
distracted.
said.
You gotta
Yeah,
ignore the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah.
Marriage
I would
too,
just
I
turn it off,
mean-
just like fully maximize it or something.
Dude, they're insane.
Because
No offense.
look,
I know
not
that
speaking.
doesn't necessarily reflect on you, but the fact that they're calling everything that I say stupid, like, that's insane.
There's actually some people.
well, I think as
agreeing
long
with
as they
you,
keep it to the arguments and
Not saying
make
that
it
like
ad
they
homs.
should be fucking feeding my ego or anything, but that's insane.
There's some people agreeing
I've
with you.
never seen a
honestly.
chat like
Yeah.
that.
It's literally every chat. in
Have
every
you
community.
seen Rollo
No.
and Fresh and Fit's chat?
Yeah.
I've been on Fresh and Fit. It ain't
Yeah.
that bad. This is pretty bad.
Dude,
Come
no one's
on,
doxing
are
you
you
or
joking?
telling you to die or saying that you should get R word. Like, this is way better.
Seriously.
Like, are you kidding me?
Okay. Look. Let's bring it back to this. Okay. So
What the fuck
again,
is Dark Law? Like, what the
So-
fuck?
All right, Torsha,
so
focus.
let's bring
She's
it back to
changing the
hypergamy.
subject. No, I'm not. I haven't led the subject. What are they talking about?
Let's bring it back to hypergamy again, right? Hypergamy is simply a woman trading up for the best option. I think men do that
No.
as well, right? Do men
I
not
don't think
do
so.
that?
No.
So men aren't
I think you're
selective with the women
mistaking-
that they breed with, or no?
No. You think men trade up? Do they? I didn't know that. Didn't really
Well, trade
think
up
that.
depending. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's gonna like leave his wife for a hotter girl all the time, but men will
I
naturally.
mean, why would they?
If you have a
more
room
to
full of
lose,
women,
it's
hold
cheaper
on.
to keep her.
Hold on.
What's
If you have a
upside?
room full of women, right? Is the man probably, and let's say most of them are rotund, ugly, or whatever, but there's a few hot ones. He's probably going to choose the hot ones, right?
A man is going to choose hotter women?
Yeah, that's obvious, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
So why
Like, how does that
isn't-
make sense?
So
I'm
why
confused.
isn't that hypergamy based on Rollo's definition?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Why
Yeah.
isn't that hypergamy?
Yeah.
Gynocentric social order, baby.
What?
What?
That's
The
just like
female
how's that related? Like, what?
Because no,
just- hold on.
I
No,
heard
this
you
is-
guys saying it
This
earlier.
is all just buzzwords. It's the
Yeah.
same thing as like
Yeah.
one of Rollo's streams.
I literally made that as a joke one time.
I
of,
know,
like-
that's why I
Hypergamy doesn't
said
carry
it.
you
Like,
down.
what
Oh,
are
okay.
you saying?
Got it.
So what's like your
Oh
real
my
answer to that,
God.
Torsha?
What?
What's like your real answer to that? Like, jokes aside, like, what's your response to that?
That's a broad claim to make, knowing that sperm is worth nothing. You think a man can really just, like most men aren't getting laid. So to say that that's even something they can consider is absurd. And you know that. That was a stupid claim to make. And you're just trying to get me to fall into it.
What, that
was-
some
no
men will
offense.
trade up? You think that's
Yeah.
incorrect? Like, some men won't trade
So
up?
my audience, maybe Rollo only
Uh-huh.
speaks to like a beta male audience that struggles to get laid and just wants to
Don't
complain
talk
about
shit.
it. But
Because that's my audience.
Okay.
Watch.
But the people that I try to influence, like if they are struggling to get laid, I encourage them to try to get better and live better lives. And then, that way they can
Yeah,
be more
so does
selective
Rollo.
with the women that they date.
So
Unless you're
does
making the
Rollo.
argument that men should just settle for whatever that they can get. I mean,
that we honestly, they're trying to, and they can't even do that. Like you guys, I don't think understand like the disparity between the sexes. You guys probably get laid, but most men don't.
We get
Like,
all that.
we
Portia.
totally
I coach them.
understand that.
I understand.
Alex,
that.
I don't
Alex
know
and
if
I
you guys.
talk to the black pill
doesn't
guys
sound-
more than any other person in the manosphere. We totally understand that.
I used to be one of those guys.
Okay.
No,
Are you
no.
like a pickup artist? How the fuck does that make sense?
I'm a dating coach. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a PUA. But
A lot of
how's that
PUAs
related to the argument at all?
A lot of PUAs don't even pick up girls. Like, what does it matter?
I don't have a problem with
want
the
to divert
term
from the argument.
PUA.
Wait,
I don't
Huds,
have a problem with it.
I
People
don't
get
wanna-
pissed
I don't
about
wanna,
it.
I don't want to
don't.
sidetrack the argument. Like, I would like to see Torsia answer that question. Like, are you saying
I
that?
said no.
So okay, so you don't think any man ever trades up?
But that's not what hypergamy is. That's not the sexual mating strategy. A man's sexual mating strategy is literally to impregnate as many women as they can. You know what I'm saying? You're bringing
No,
up the argument.
So Torsia.
What about a situation where a
Okay, but
husband?
there's
Torsia is
too
fair
many.
here. Torsia is
Hold
fair
on.
here.
Okay.
Huds,
Oh
go
no!
ahead.
If I agree
Tell
with
me
you,
more.
I still have to hold on.
Well,
What
let
I'm
me
trying
just.
to
There's like a
say,
lot
what I'm
of
trying to say,
people
let me just
going.
finish this. Let me just finish this statement. The sexual mating strategy at the end of the day is to get your best bet, no matter what that is. So for a guy, it's to get the best girl, whether that is physically or his other needs being met.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question, Torsia. What would you call a situation where a husband leaves his wife for a hotter mistress? Because that we all know that happens quite often. Would you not call it hypergamy?
No, I wouldn't. Because the only way that he'd be able to do that was if he, it doesn't sound good for women, but if he leveled up in like career finances or whatever. So you think that just as he gets older that he'd be able to do that? That's what you're implying. And that just that's absurd. That wouldn't work.
Yeah, maybe he made a lot more money as he got older. Maybe there's
He would have to make money,
not
right?
necessarily.
Yeah, no,
There's
but
a huge element of luck
Portia,
to
that's
dating.
not the argument that we're making.
But
The
we're
argument
talking
that
about
we're
the sexual mating strategy, guys.
Hold on. The argument, no, we're talking about hypergamy, and sexual mating
Right.
strategy is a reflection of that hypergamous nature, right? So we're talking about hypergamy first and
Hypergamy is a sexual mating strategy. It's a dualistic sexual mating strategy. A man is not hypergamous. They don't have the opportunity to be that. One. Two, if they did, I just said it would involve finances, right?
Okay, so let's say the finances get into place. It doesn't matter, right? So the finances, whatever. He's a higher value guy now, but he wants to have a hotter girl. What is that? Now that he has access to hotter women, he wants hotter women.
exercising his
What's that
options, I guess.
drive that he wants there?
What's the drive?
Yeah.
That they're attracted to
why isn't that also
younger, hotter,
hypergamy?
tighter women. That's what it is.
Yeah, but why is
Younger
that
women,
hypergamy
more
for women
fertile.
when a woman monkey branches, but when a man does it, it's not hypergamy? I don't understand
Monkey
it.
branching, from my understanding, is when a girl's dating a guy and is talking to another one about to leave the relationship. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that what you're talking about? That's not the same.
And then eventually she does actually do it, right? So she's holding on to one branch,
Right.
and then once
Okay.
she knows that happens, then she monkey branches to the other one. Yeah.
So a guy leaving his wife is the same?
No, I'm not saying it's the same, but
You just did. That's what I was asking.
Oh, Kevin, you muted yourself. But yeah, I could see how we would want to say like a man leaving his girl for a hotter girl, like, calling that hypergamy. I'm not sure if that's the correct word, but it would be nice to, if it's not the correct word, have a word to describe that phenomenon.
I want to bring it back to this. Are you done with this point, Kevin? Before I bring it back to this, just something slightly different. Kevin, you're muted. We can't hear you. Can you guys hear Kevin at all?
I can't.
No, I can't.
Yeah, Kevin, something's going on with your audio. Let's just give him a second to fix that.
Well, go ahead, ask your question then, Alex.
Okay, my question is this. Going back to iron rule number 2. Torsia, do you think that there is no circumstance where it's acceptable for a man to share his body count with a woman?
We talked about this.
Well, I'm asking you, I'm rephrasing the question.
Again?
Mm-hmm.
No, you never should. Don't ever fucking do it. People
So
listening, don't
there's
do it.
There's no circumstance where it's acceptable.
Nope.
Okay. What
Oh
if
my
you're-
God, you need to be honest with your partner. I'm telling you right now. Stop it.
Okay.
Don't.
So if you're with your girlfriend, you've been hooking up, and she asks you, "Hey,
My
I'm just
girlfriend?
curious, how many girls have you slept with before me?" You
I
think
would
it's
never.
why? I understand you would, but why would it be a bad idea for the guy to answer that question honestly?
I explained it. Like that's what we rambled about for
No,
like
you explained why it's a bad
minutes.
idea to explain before you have sex with her. I'm asking after sex.
After?
Yeah.
That's not what the rule. What?
Yeah,
Why are you changing things? Like
no,
what?
it says, hang on, no.
There's
it says,
no circumstance. None.
No, stop.
None.
It says with a current.
None.
Okay. So you're saying there's no circumstance where it's okay. So then my follow-up question is why? What's the downside of to a girl that you're already sleeping with to tell her your body count?
I already explained this.
No, you explained why it's a bad idea.
You're saying, okay, I know what you're saying. You're changing it. You want to know if it's acceptable after the fact. You could tell her it's going to be in the back of her mind and she is going to leverage it, just so you know.
How is she going to leverage it?
It depends if the number is higher than hers or lower than hers. It depends.
Let's take my situation. I've had sex with like 300 to 500 girls. I've told my girlfriend that. How is she going to leverage it against me?
She's never going to be monogamous, arguably.
Well, she is monogamous.
Arguably.
So there goes that argument.
You don't know. How would you know?
I mean, I've never
there's no way to
subjected
know.
her to a lie detector test, but I've never caught her in a lie either.
Well, those aren't very accurate, are they?
Well, they're 90% accurate.
They're not used in court.
Okay, that's complete side tangent. I'm just trying to.
No, it wasn't. You just said if you would put her under a lie detector, don't even try to fucking go backwards. You said that. I'm telling you right now.
I'm saying I have no reason to doubt her. So if you want to make the argument that everyone is lying to everybody, that's a kind of a weird argument.
I think a lot of people are about that.
I want to get a clear
including
answer,
Rollo to his audience.
I want to get a clear answer how it's going to work against me. Like, how is she going to use that information against me?
I just told you.
You keep using that. You say you told me when you didn't. It's like a really weird.
No, I did. No, you're gonna watch this back. Like, shit, you did.
You kind of go on these like weird side tangents, but can you like give me a clear answer?
No, I don't. You're reading.
You're just like disagreeing things for the sake of disagreeing, which is also.
No, I actually was on debate team, so I don't entertain the kind of nonsense. I answered your question. We can move forward. If you want to keep acting like I didn't, that's on you. You can look like a fucking idiot.
Okay.
I'm not gonna add to it.
Okay, I think you're kind of the one that's looking like an idiot right now. But can you just give me a clear?
I guess so.
Can you just give me? Well, there we go. One thing we
I already did.
Can you give me? Repeating myself. I don't understand why you can't repeat your answer. Then,
dude, they're telling you in the chat. She told you. Move on.
No, like it's my stream. I'll do it the way I want to do it. Like I'll
leave.
Okay,
if you want. Like I don't want to just keep going on nothing.
I'm trying to hold you to a point and like see where you're
I told you.
But every time I do that, you kind of get like super defensive.
There's nothing. Sorry, we're talking over each other. That was my bad.
It's all good. So I'm trying to follow this train of thought and see like where see like inconsistencies in your arguments. But I can't do that if every time I ask
you don't like my answer, Alex. I don't know what to tell you.
It's just like you get super defensive and like we have
I'm
to
not defensive. I give you an answer. I can't break it down like 1,000 different ways. I don't play that.
You just spent 5 minutes telling me that you can't repeat it again. If you had just repeated, it would take you
Alex,
10 seconds.
We talked about this for 15 minutes in the beginning. Move on.
Like I don't understand why you can't just answer a simple question. Like just repeat it then. Like it'll take 2 seconds.
I told you.
Can you explain to me how it's going to work against
you? Want me to tell you again that if you tell her your notch count, she is going to never be faithful to you, arguably. Those were my same words. You want me to break that down more? Oh, most women are lying. Yes. Yes, they're going to lie to you, Alex. That's it. She's probably going to monkey branch, but who am I to say that? This is just my opinion.
Okay, so
yes, too high of a notch count is she's going to compare it. If it's higher than hers, lower than hers. Do you want me to?
Aren't you higher value?
What is your information? So, what is your argument based on that she's gonna not be monogamous? Like, are you basing that on
female nature? I have a few studies. If you guys want me to put it in the chat, but you guys also told me not to pay attention, not to put other links in there. So
no, we didn't say that. We just said we don't have
Men Behaving Badly by David Buss. Is a good book.
No, look, I mean, we're always good. We're always fine
who
with
share their body counts are
But,
more
okay,
likely
so
to get cheated on?
Wait. There's too many people talking. I can't
Yeah,
hear. what's
sorry.
coming
Go
out.
ahead,
So my
Bradley.
question was, you're saying you have studies or whatever. Are you saying you have studies showing that men who share their body counts are more likely to be cheated on?
Women.
Women what?
Oh, I'm sorry. Women are more likely to cheat on men.
You say there's studies to show that women are more likely to
There's
cheat
no
on men
studies
if
on this.
men
It's
share
just
their
like,
body count?
well, it's reported studies, self-reported.
So there's a study that
I don't know how much
not a
I go
study.
off of those self-reported studies, but I can say just based on my own experience and with women and
So
stuff.
you're the
Yeah.
one that said you had
I'm not
studies.
making a full claim. You just asked me why. I'm telling you based on what I've read. Yes, I think a woman would use it like this. You guys want me to have some sort of claim to back it up, like a strong claim. I never said that I had that. I'm just telling you this is what I think. That's the problem, is you guys always think that people are making these strong arguments. It's like, no, you asked me my opinion and then you turned it into me saying it's a claim backed by all this stuff, which I did say I have sources, and I do. I will put them in at the end if you guys want me to comment or whatever. But I don't like to do this circle back and stuff. It's like pretty lame. I don't know if you guys are trying to have a
You know
debate.
you're the one
Why
that
are
Like,
you
you're
why
just
are you
trying
on
to
here?
This is how
like,
debate
yeah.
works.
You
It's
just-
like
you're the
yeah,
one that's
it's
No,
like
no,
we're-
no. You guys aren't listening. I don't know if you want to debate or if you want like to hear somebody's opinion. If you want to debate, I'm not having a debate. I
Well,
thought you guys wanted to
It
share
depends on how
ideas.
you talk
You're
about
so
debate. A
ignorant.
debate is in
I thought you
like
said you were
talking
on the
about
debate team
ideas
and
and
you, like,
exchanging
I
and
was,
sharing
and I
ideas. That's
never
what we're
said that
doing.
I was going to debate. You guys wanted to express or share ideas. I was like, okay, fine,
That's
I'll
debate.
do that.
Sharing
That's
and
it.
comparing
No,
ideas is debate. What we were doing
debate is
beforehand,
all
that's
about,
debate.
you know, if you guys
You were
are
on the
on
debate
debate,
team.
I
You
don't
should
know
know
if you
this.
said you were, but it's all about tactics and performance. That's different. You should know that if you were on debate. You guys
Yeah,
are on
dude,
to share ideas. This is why everybody tells me not to do any of this. They're like, because they're just going to try to break down every single thing you say to try to discredit you.
it's not about
They're not
discrediting
about
you, it's about
trying to break
challenging
down
your
Rollo's
ideas.
That's a
ideas.
bad faith
We're trying
argument
to
for sure.
discredit Rollo,
Why
but
is
not
she
because
so
we're trying to
angry?
discredit
I'm not
him.
angry,
We
y'all.
haven't made a single personal attack against you. We haven't tried to
Yeah,
Yes,
discredit
you
you.
have.
Nope.
What?
What
No, we
personal
haven't.
attacks
What
have we
personal
made on
attack?
you?
What disrespect did you get?
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't do it that way. We use logical sound
made one
arguments. There's
joke
no
about
need for
Rollo
ad
being a
hominems.
virgin.
We've never done that.
Not about
Okay.
you. How do
Can
we
you name
Okay.
a single personal attack that we made on you, Torsia? We haven't.
Not off the bat, but I'm sure when I watch it back, I'll be able
No,
to
I
find
guarantee
out.
you, when you watch this back, we will not have heard any personal attacks from us.
We've been super respectful to you the whole time.
Yeah.
Alex,
So, okay.
questionable.
Okay, look,
Questionable.
let me ask you this.
I'm
this
just
next
challenging
thing,
you
'cause
on
we
your
were
ideas.
supposed
Like,
to
I don't
ask,
see why you see it as a bad thing for someone challenging you on your ideas. Like, you're getting really defensive about
Okay,
it.
now we're talking about challenging ideas, but you guys are forming it like it's a YouTube debate or something.
We can
It's
call it
not a
debate. We can
structured
call it
debate.
something different. I
Because
don't
you
think it
just
matters.
Hey
Torsia,
guys,
You
before you
do
came
realize
on, I
hey.
told you that we would be
you were
respectful, and we
actually
have.
guys, let me
this
speak
is
for a second.
clearly cognitive dissonance. If you were
Torsia,
actually in
Torsia,
charge
give
of
me a
the
second.
chat,
Give me a
Who's the
second,
one with
please.
cognitive dissonance
Guys,
right now?
guys,
Yeah,
guys,
like, are you kidding? You should be able to see that. If
guys,
I'm not
give me a second.
responding,
Give me
Okay,
a
let's
second. to
give
speak.
Huds a chance to speak. Okay, go ahead.
Like, come on. Like, that's what this is supposed to be about. It's about discussing ideas. We brought you on because we're talking about the rationale, and we were trying to understand what you disagreed upon based on what we were saying earlier.
I
And
was
now
just trying
we've
to have a good faith
devolved,
discussion.
and now we've devolved into a circular argument on things, and I don't really understand
Exactly.
the purpose. You know, we want your opinion. We want
Okay,
your
so-
opinion on the rational male. We want your opinion on things that you agree, disagree with, and then we can just revolve from there. You know, that's what
Okay,
it's
if
all about.
anybody tries to break down words or anything like that I'm saying, then I'll leave. Because then it starts to get
it's not going to work.
Are you
That's
saying that
us
if
challenging
we
your
try to even
ideas.
understand you, that's not okay?
Wait, what?
That's what
Trying
you
to
just said.
understand
If
you?
we
No,
try to
you guys
break down
know
what you
exactly what it
said
is. It depends on
and
the way
make
that you
sense of
frame
it.
it.
But why are you so
No,
against having your
that's
ideas
disingenuous,
challenged?
and you know that.
Guys, can we just let's just talk about the ideas again on the rational male, okay? So, Torsia, I want to ask you because we talked about solipsism earlier. For those of you who don't know what solipsism is, I'm not explaining to you. I'm explaining to the audience. It's basically the idea that the world revolves around you, right? You're the center of your universe, and then that's the starting point with which you view the entire world. So, Rollo makes the claim that women are solipsistic. That's a very heavy claim to make because it's a philosophical, epistemological claim.
I would say it's true. I would say that's true. I agree
Oh,
with
that's
that.
fine. So as far as I know, he doesn't say that men are solipsistic, does he?
Men are, in my experience, men typically put others before themselves. Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
would
men
agree.
are inherently altruistic and women are inherently solipsistic.
Mm, yeah, that's like a strong claim to make. Again, I didn't say altruistic. I said typically.
Well,
they
you
would
said put others before yourself. That's
themselves.
the definition of altruism.
Altruistic is. I'm sorry. Like
Putting
this is
others
getting
before
so
yourself is the
frustrating.
definition of altruism. It shouldn't be frustrating, Torsha. I'm not
let me
trying to like
pull it
trap
up.
you or anything. I'm just asking you.
It is, and I'm just not doing it. You know.
Well, why are you so
I'm
afraid of
just
having your ideas
saying that
challenged?
altruism
It's
means
really
putting
bizarre.
other people before yourself. That's what that means.
But
So
it's
anyway,
like a belief, isn't it? Isn't it a belief?
like a
Correct
belief
me if
system.
I'm
I mean,
wrong.
there's
Kevin,
certain belief systems called it.
Altruism is a belief.
Kevin, what you're doing
Yeah,
is you're
what?
focusing on the words and you're focusing on the black and white of Rollo. And I think what we're kind of getting at is the fact that the black and white of Rollo's speech is what we all kind of can agree upon. That the black and white
that's the
does
problem
not,
that we have with them, right? Yeah. That's
Well,
what
no,
I'm trying to
there's more
say,
problems than
Torsha. It's
that.
like there's more problems than that, but that's definitely a big one. But his claim that he's saying that women are inherently solipsistic and men aren't, I have a huge problem with that. Now, if he says that
Why?
it's part of the human condition,
Why is
because
solipsism like bad? I think you're viewing it.
I'm not necessarily saying, I'm saying it's bad if he says one sex is inherently solipsistic and the other is inherently altruistic. Basically, he's saying men are these selfless heroes while all women are just these selfish creatures that only think about themselves. You don't see a problem with that?
Self-centered is not necessarily bad. Like to be solipsistic is to see everything where like you are the center focus, I guess, but that doesn't mean that you're inherently bad.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not making that claim. I'm making the claim that it's bad if you claim one is solipsistic and the other is altruistic, right? If he says both are solipsistic, I'm fine with that. I disagree with it.
Say that though? You asked me my opinion. I gave it to you, and now you're saying that Rollo.
He talks about female solipsism within the rational male. You said that I haven't read the book. I clearly have. He talks about it multiple times in the book. I'm curious now if you've actually read, if you don't think that he talks about solipsism in that book.
Everybody in the chat, go ahead and like call that out. Like that.
Call that what? That he doesn't talk about solipsism in the book?
Kevin, you know exactly what you're fucking doing. Stop.
What are you talking about? I'm just asking.
He doesn't even realize it. You don't even realize what you're doing. Disingenuous.
Questions and challenging ideas. Like
I'm literally just asking.
You keep acting like it's such a bad thing.
Hold on. You know very well the way that you just worded that. If nobody got that, then I'm out. Like, are you kidding?
What?
Really? This is how you do this shit?
No, the thing that I'm saying is, look, Torsha, you're a woman, and what Rollo is saying is that you, by being a woman, are inherently solipsistic and selfish. Meanwhile, us men on the panel, we are altruistic by nature.
Somebody pull up the definition of. Oh my God. What? Okay. Why is it that you think that solipsism is bad?
I never said that. I think solipsism is bad. I'm saying it's bad if you say one sex is solipsistic and the other isn't.
Selfish. You're saying I don't like the way that it's black and white.
Claim within philosophy, right?
That's
so if he says that that's part of the human condition, that humans,
if women have babies, are they selfish, Kevin?
No.
Okay, let's move forward then. Obviously, like women.
From what?
Like,
you don't have a problem with because the big problem that I have with Rollo, maybe you don't understand my problem with Rollo, is that
I do understand.
He creates an us versus them dynamic where he pits men against women, and one of the ways he does that is saying that women are inherently solipsistic while men aren't. That's the problem that I have.
You think he does that? That's crazy.
Does he call women inherently solipsistic? Yeah, he does.
I don't think that's an insult at all. I actually use that as something I say because I am very solipsistic when I'm talking about certain ideas and I catch it. If anybody's in here that watches
hold on. You're right. It's not an insult if he says that men and women are solipsistic because then we're all the same, right?
There's nothing
but it is an
wrong
insult.
With
hold on. It is an insult. Hold on. It is an insult.
You are making it bad and then denying that you're saying it means it's bad.
Hold on. it is an insult if he says that women
Okay,
are
so you admit that
solipsistic
it's
and men aren't.
bad. So you admit
What?
it's bad because earlier you said
Compared
you
to
didn't.
altruism, yeah. You can make the
Okay.
argument that true
Oh,
altruism
well, you
is
guys got
not
to make
possible.
that a fucking clip, like,
What,
because
that
that was hilarious.
solipsism, if
Come
you compare
on,
solipsism with altruism, that
Kevin,
solipsism is worse than
Kevin.
altruism? That's not
Now
really
you're having the cognitive dissonance. Now you're
Where?
having it. You are, because I
Where?
said it earlier. I was like, so is it bad? And you were like, I never said it's bad. And now you're trying to compare that it is bad. So that's
Where's
where,
the
like, I'm
cognitive
calling.
dissonance?
I had cognitive dissonance earlier. I can call it out on myself. I did. And now I'm telling
Yes.
you are having it. And like, I seriously, I don't think it should go further.
Okay, but tell
I'm
me where the
laughing.
cognitive dissonance is. Like, I can say
When
what
people start
you
to
had
go-
cognitive dissonance on.
Say that again.
I could point out exactly where your cognitive dissonance is based
I
on the
said
things you're
it
talking about
earlier,
before.
and then you
Yeah.
assumed that I was talking about you, and I was saying it about myself. But I'm telling you right now, the way that you're forming your arguments is like I'm saying one thing, you're denying it, and then you're bringing it up. I'm asking you, I'm phrasing it in the first way that I did it, but in a question, and you agree. So I'm assuming you're having a little cognitive dissonance. And so if we kept going, it'd be more about emotions. And I don't think you're really thinking about what I'm saying. Do you
I am
understand?
thinking about what you're saying. I don't are you making the
think we-
claim
I
that I'm
think we
getting too
should
emotional?
shift.
Are you sure? Are you sure that's not a
Well,
little bit of projection
I don't
there?
think it's a thing. It happens. It's common in debate. Like
Yeah,
I had
projection
it.
is a thing, which is what you're doing right now.
No,
Like I'm not
no.
getting emotional at all. I'm
You're
literally just trying to
still
talk to you,
going.
and then you're just saying, "Oh, cognitive dissonance." What's the cognitive dissonance? I don't
Because
know. You're
first
just
you
doing
said
it.
it wasn't bad. Okay, Kevin, I'm done. Like, okay. I'm trying to be
Portia,
respectful.
look,
I really am. But like,
so am I.
this
Yeah,
is
we've
being
all been
like
really
We are
really,
being you
really.
said that we like are sending ad hominem attacks. We've literally done zero
I
ad
never
hominem
said
attacks. on
that.
you. You said
I
personal
never
attacks a
said
while ago.
that. I never said that either. I never used that language.
You said
Hey,
you're gonna
Sorry.
go back to the
Torsia,
video and
remember
you're
how
gonna
you
find
said
them.
that
But it
we're
doesn't
gonna
matter, really.
I
we
never
need to
said
rewind the
personal
tapes.
attack.
You need to rewind the tapes. You
I
did say
said
that.
I said that this is unfair, and then other people are like, we didn't make personal attacks. I'm like, I never said that then. Like you guys still are going. I don't think you're even listening to me.
Look, I agree with you. Let's not make things emotional. Let's just keep it logical. So let's just keep the discussion there. I want to ask you what your thoughts are on solipsism, because especially you as a woman, right?
Told you. Like I
You don't
already
have a
told
problem
you.
with the fact
said
that
I
you're
don't think it's bad.
solipsistic and then we aren't.
I said I don't think solipsism is bad. And you said, I don't like the way that he words the fact that men aren't and they are altruistic. And I said, should we bring up the definition of altruistic? I mean, I remember everything we're talking about. It's not really congruent, though. It's not linear. It's going too much all over the place. So I'm making the inference
I
that
don't
there's
think
too
it
much
is.
dissonance.
I think you're making it all over the place. It's a very
Okay,
simple
tell
question.
me that.
It's a very simple question, right? So he says that
It's
you
not,
are innately
though.
selfish. Hold on. He says you're innately selfish. And then we as men, because we are men, because we have X and Y chromosomes, we are not innately
He never
selfish. But
said
because
that.
you have an XX chromosome, you are
He
innately
never
selfish.
said that. He never said that. Like, seriously, he never said that. You're putting
In terms
words.
of the way that he frames solipsism, yeah.
No, that's that's trying. You know that you can't do that.
You said
Like,
yourself. You
can't
said
just say,
yourself with
no, I
solipsism,
didn't.
it's putting yourself first, while men tend to put others first before themselves.
Actually,
Right?
I asked, and you're taking it as an assumption. I asked, is altruistic this? Because I'm not sure. And then I went to go get the definition, and then everything broke out. Everybody was like, don't do that. No. Don't you think it's
No,
this?
no.
Like,
Hold
do you
on.
understand that I literally said, what?
First you said men tend to put other people in front of before themselves. And I said, oh,
In
yeah,
my
that's altruism.
experience, I could see that. And then you said it was altruism. I was like, I don't know if I would go that far to say that, because isn't that a belief, like a full-on belief? I'm like, just in my experience, I don't know if all men are like that. You know what I'm
there's
saying?
certain ideologies, I guess, or belief systems that
Yeah,
have
like it would
altruism
be
as
a
a part
really
of it. But altruism is inherently
thing.
putting other people before yourself.
But he never says that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about the rational male. You're asking my
Yeah.
opinions about stuff, but you want me
Your
to like
opinion on the
correlate
rational
it
male.
both,
So
and
I'm
these are
tying it
stupid
back to that
ideas.
because I said solipsism, right? He makes a claim that women are solipsistic while men aren't. And I want to know your opinion on that. So look,
And I
it's fine. We
told
can move on.
you.
You literally said, yeah, you said
then
you
you
don't
tried
care.
to say that it was selfish and that that's inherently bad. I don't think solipsism is
It's
necessarily
inherently
bad.
look, Rollo
because
claims
women-
it as inherently bad if you
No,
say
he
that the
doesn't.
opposite person. Look, if you have a room full
No.
of people, hold on. If you say I have a room full of people and there's like, and half of them are solipsistic and selfish, and then the other half you say is like, oh, these people put other people before them. If you're making a value judgment of who you'd rather hang out with, who would you rather hang out with? The people that put others before themselves,
I
or the
don't
people
hang
that put
out with
themselves first?
people. Listen, I'm saying that if he's going to say that they're solipsistic, which he does, I agree with you on that. He does say that. But women, when they have babies, right? We know that they put everything into the child. So it's like when you talk about solipsism and saying it's selfish, I don't think you're understanding it in the grand scheme of things when it comes to intersexual dynamics. You understand what I'm saying? Like this is a separate things. Like I don't know if I'm making sense. Like I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm not going to say that's inherently bad or this is inherently good. I think it just is.
I never said it's inherently bad. I said it's bad.
You asked
because
me
I
if
say
it was.
if I say it's inherently bad, that means I say solipsism, selfishness is bad all the time. No, I'm actually making the
You
claim
did ask me that actually earlier, though.
No,
you did.
I'm making the claim that when there's two different options, when he says if he says that women are solipsistic and men aren't, right? Women are solipsistic, men are altruistic, right?
You can't
when you
assume
when you make a value judgment of the two, this is a negative value judgment and this is a positive value judgment.
Hold on, Kevin. I said I think that men have a tendency to put others before them. You claimed it was altruism, and I was saying that I don't know if I would go that far to say that. And now you're making the comparison that if, like, in his book, he's assuming that because men are not solipsistic, that they're altruistic. Correct? Wrong.
No, I'm going. I did not say that.
Guys,
he's implying
like
that
somebody else.
I'm going based off
like,
what
I don't
you
know how
said.
else to
You
word
said
it.
men tend to put them other people
In
before
my
themselves, which would make them
experience.
altruistic.
But I'm saying that that was never said.
Okay, so
That's a
you disagree
broad
with the
claim
rational
to make.
male then? You disagree with the rational male that only women are solipsistic, and you're saying that
I
maybe all men
disagree.
are solipsistic. That's fine if that's the
I
claim that
never
you're
said
making.
that. I never
So
said
you think that only women are solipsistic?
Do I think that only women are solipsistic? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, that's good.
Never
That's an
thought
honest
about
answer.
it
That's
that
fine.
much. Get it? Solipsism.
Let me change gears a little
Again,
bit.
this is something that
if you-
Rollo's claiming, though, and I
You guys
find it
totally
interesting
missed
that
the
you.
joke.
Hold on,
I was sick.
I find it interesting. I'm curious as to why you.
But what is this about the rules? I thought we were talking about rules. You're like asking me a lot of stuff. Is this
Well, yeah,
like
we're
in
talking about the
particular?
fundamental parts that we disagree with on the
You guys
rational
told
male.
me
which
about
is
the rules.
solipsism and
let's
Now you're
go,
hysterectomy and the way you
asking
frame
about
it.
guys.
belief.
Guys, let's
I'm
go
confused.
the route that Alex was saying. Like, let's shift gears. And Torsia,
Okay.
I'd really like to ask you,
Yeah.
with this type of stuff, like, how do you think that men should act nowadays? Because clearly, if they follow some of this and they follow some of our advice, it goes
Yeah.
negative directions. How do you think that they should act in a way that's going to get a positive response from women?
That's a hard question.
I have a different question I want to ask, but I'll
I
let
think-
you answer.
Like if we go back to frame, it's probably one of the really big ones that always comes up in my YouTube videos. Like Rollo talks about mental point of origin and that stuff. Trying to see how I would word it. Arguably, in the way that I view the world, okay? I know you guys are going to laugh with the whole gynocentric social order, but I really do see it as a woman. I think that men are lied to as like children. I think women are lied to too, but the way that men are lied to, I think and this is a strong claim I'm about to make, and whatever, oh, fuck it. I think that what we lie to men about is a lot more detrimental. And I'm only saying that because men, okay, so both sexes arguably attempt suicide at the same rate, but men are better at it. You know what I'm saying? Like they go through with it
5 times
at a
more
larger
successful.
scale. That's a stat. I don't know the exact number, but so I think that it's really hard on an individual basis for a man to implement some of these ideas or whatever in the red pill. But if there's too much, let me know if you guys lose me, because I'm trying to make sure I get this right. I think there's a lot of push and pull. You got so many different types of pills. I couldn't even tell you all the different ones. And I think what's getting lost in the message is that while we're all arguing about this, like, more men are suffering because of it. But if men got together like they have in history and kind of like join forces, but that sounds bad. This sounds really lame, but they would be able to, it's hard to say fix because I think we're so down in like the societal collapse. But if they found a way to work together and implement their own rules, even though society is telling them to implement rules that benefit the woman, I think that we would be a lot better off. So to answer your question, how to fix it, you can't. You kind of just ride the fall. And then that's when people say to do the individualistic thing. But like I said earlier, it's like, I don't know how much that helps. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. And that's kind of what we're trying to push with some of this stuff. Whether, it turns into a debate or a conversation or yelling match or whatever, at the very least, we're trying something.
Huds,
Yeah.
I want to ask a different question. I want to change gears. Do you want to follow up on that?
Wait, can I add one more thing? I mean, Torsia, that's exactly what I agree with the fact that we all need to work together to talk about this stuff. And, to your credit, you're here right now. And this is one of the things we're actually critical of Rollo on, is the fact that he says that he has that belief, but he doesn't realize it through action. To your credit, you're here talking to us, which is great. And we commend you for it. But Rollo,
as a woman, you have more balls than Rollo.
Yeah, you
like,
literally do have more balls
fair,
than Rollo.
I appreciate it and stuff, but to be fair, I can understand why he doesn't. A lot of my words were twisted, a lot here. And I think if you watch it back, you might not see that right now, but I can understand why he doesn't get on here.
I mean, Rollo
literally, because he'll get exposed for secretly painting blue pills red.
What?
He paints blue pill. So this is the whole thing that I talk about with Rollo, is he claims to be giving you a red pill when in reality he's unplugging you from the original Matrix or whatever, the Disneyland blue pill, whatever, and then he's plugging you back into another ideology, which is his ideology. He does not look at things. Okay,
I think what happens is that people don't go that they try to see what he writes about and then try to make it sound politically correct. And then that's when you start to fall into trouble, because the problem is that in order for things to be fixed, like to answer the question earlier, you would have to go based off of things that are long-term. They might be uncomfortable in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to like woke culture, you see it more where we try to go based on what sounds better. We want to include everybody. And that's when the society is like broken down so many times. And you see this a lot in like the purple pill, I think is what I think. I don't know them that well, but you see like they're trying to get it and then it's too uncomfortable. So they try to put a Band-Aid on it and fix it. And the problem is that like in order to really get to the red pill meat, so they call it, you have to be able to set aside some of the stuff that's uncomfortable and like the feels or whatever they say, and really get to the bottom.
So who determines what's red pill and what's purple pill?
I don't know.
Like what's true and then what's the half truth?
So when the stuff, for my experience, I guess as a woman, when you see things like, it's like women. What's a good one? What was like the first thing that pissed me off? Hold on, let me think. Like when you realize as a woman that guys, the only thing they really go for, arguably, this is just on like a basic level, is actually, let me rephrase that. Men really are only attracted to 22-year-olds. Yes, we know that men will still be attracted to women as they get older, but women don't really find out about this stuff until it's too late. I've been fortunate to like understand it, but it still hasn't changed a lot of stuff up here. I might understand it like as an idea, but I don't really feel it yet. But there's certain things as I've been getting into the material that at one point it was like, oh God, like the 22-year-old thing, to men are perverts, like, ew, blah. Like, I'm just like coming up with shit right away. And then I understand once you get deeper into it that men and women are just different. And it's like shocking because we're taught that we're the same growing up, at least like women. I don't know about the male experience. I've done a video on it, but it's just when you think about blue pill or purple pill, it's kind of like I guess purple pill is a mixture of it, but it's like women are hot enough until after 35 or something. It's like, but
Yeah,
that's not really
so
true.
really quickly,
So you're saying that's up
I
to fail,
I totally
you know?
understand where you're coming from, and I agree with some of the things that you just said. I'm more so saying who is the person that determines what's red pill versus what's purple pill versus what's blue pill. So the way that I would
I don't
answer
think
that is
I don't
no,
think
hold on,
there
hold on,
was
hold on,
any.
hold on, hold on. I'll
Oh,
let you talk. Please let me talk. Okay. All right. So the way that I would answer that is say it's hard to tell who is the arbiter of truth, right? Whose red pill is actually true. And the best way that you do that is through actually having discussions. And Rollo, look, he even says it in his book at the very end of his book, because yes, I did read his book. At the end of the book, he says, I'm not afraid of people who don't question me. I'm not afraid of people who question me. I'm afraid of people who don't question me. So we are questioning him and we are taking action based on what he says in his book to say, yes, let's
sure.
have a discussion about this, because according to him, the red pill is written in pencil, not in pen. So the only way for us, and you said this earlier, that we need to come together to talk about this, right? And this is what we're holding Rollo to. But instead, when Alex wanted to have a discussion with Rollo, when I wanted to have a discussion with Rollo, because I think there's inherent flaws within his work that we could fix, right? I actually said that, like, look, there's actually flaws within your theory of hypergamy. I have some ideas to change it. He made a stream saying that I drive guys to kill themselves because I say that I say that his book isn't worth reading. So
You don't think his book is worth reading, really?
no, I don't. In its current state, no. If he changes a few things, sure, because he actually gets
I
things
don't think
factually
anything needs
incorrect
to
in
be
that book.
changed, to be honest with you.
Okay, but do you think it's fair to say that me and Kevin are killing people because we criticize his work?
I mean, that what?
We're just
I'll
blowing
repeat
it.
the
I think
question.
hold on.
Stop.
Hold on,
Not a
Alex.
fair
I honestly
question
think
to
that's
ask
I
me.
honestly think that's an unfair question to ask, because you don't
Why?
answer for Rollo from that standpoint. But
But why? No, I want to get her opinion on that. I don't think it's an unfair question. I'm just asking her opinion. She might agree. She might disagree. I'll repeat the
I
question.
don't know. Like, I think purple pill is dangerous to men. Sure.
But do you
I
think
think
it's
it's actually
fair?
very dangerous.
Okay. Do you think it's fair to say that
I don't know
me
if you guys really are in purple pill, to be quite honest with you,
we're
but
not.
like,
We're not torsion.
okay.
Do you think
yeah, I
it's
mean,
fair to say that
we
me?
consider ourselves very red pilled.
Let
Go
me
ahead,
just
Alex.
Yeah.
guys. Let me just get this word in.
Sorry.
Torsia, do you think it's fair for Rollo to say that me and Kevin are killing people because we criticize his work?
You asked me that already, and I already told you I don't think that's a fair question to ask me. And Kevin agreed. And you just asked it again.
But because you didn't
Okay.
answer it, that's the thing. Like I just want to get your opinion. You can say yes. You
Are
can
you
say no.
kidding? like seriously, this whole thing, like this is probably, and I'm not gonna put words in his mouth, but this whole thing was just way out of line. Like, you just repeated that question. Kevin already told
Because you
like,
did not
that's not
answer it.
fair. Kevin, did you hear that?
Okay, me and
He
Kevin
just asked you
disagree.
the
Me and
same
Kevin are different
Yeah, I
question.
mean,
people.
him and I disagree on
We
this.
disagree on that. I think it's a fair question because
But
that's
you're like,
literally what
okay,
happened.
okay, we'll move on. And then you asked me the same
No,
thing, dude.
because honestly, every time I ask you a question, you want to like dodge and deflect. Like it's a simple
I didn't
question.
dodge and deflect.
But you
There's
didn't answer
sometimes I'm not going to answer.
But
How's
why?
that?
It's not a personal
Because I
question.
don't have an answer for you.
You
I
either
don't.
think it's fair, you think it's partially fair, you think it's unfair, you think it's completely unfair, you think it's fucked up, you think it's not fucked up. I'm just curious to hear your
I'm
opinion.
not going to answer it. That's my final answer. I don't have enough information.
Why can't you answer that question?
I don't have enough information
What
to
information
make a
would you?
sound
Okay,
decision.
what information would you need to be able to answer that question?
Probably I'd have to go more into your content and more into Kevin's separately to understand exactly what the message is.
Do you think then someone who's just in general criticizing his work is responsible for killing people?
Can you be more specific? Who's
Guys,
he?
Do you
guys,
think
she
someone-
doesn't know. She doesn't know the backstory. If she doesn't
Okay,
know the
but it doesn't. It
backstory-
doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't
like I have no idea what you're talking about, to be honest with you.
Okay,
If this
well,
is something that
I'll have-
actually happened or
yeah,
what.
it did. It did. That's why I'm bringing it up. I'll happily.
So why are you asking me?
I'm just
Why are you asking me?
Because
Like
you're a
that
big
is
Rollo supporter, so I'm curious to hear your answer on this. Like maybe you think it's fair, maybe you think it's not fair, maybe you have some
hold
nuance
on.
bad. But I don't understand why it's so bad that I press you on this point. Like
Yeah,
it's
Torsha,
not a
that's why
personal
you came
question.
on
How
here,
the
right?
fuck would I know how to answer it if I don't know your content that
Well,
much?
Torsha, you
know?
came
Well, why
on
do you
here
need to know
because
my
you said that
content,
we
though,
were
to answer that
misrepresenting
question?
Rollo, right?
Yeah, it popped up. I was like, hey, that's not fair. The things you were saying, I think was unfair.
Yeah, and
If
so,
I
so we're talking
supported,
about
like
these
if I was
ideas now.
familiar with your content, let's say, and I saw somebody doing that, I would say something in a chat. The thing is, though, I'm not familiar with your content that much. So it's like to say those things, it would be unfair.
I mean, I would make the argument that irregardless of my content, if
There's
someone's
no argument. There's no
Okay, let me-
argument.
let me
But
finish
you
real
came
quick.
on
Let me-
here
let
to
me
make
finish.
the argument that we are
I would
misrepresenting Rollo's
Misrepresenting
work.
the rules, and then I get fucking
Yeah.
teared apart about
You-
solipsism.
No, you don't. Like literally, this is like everyone's been super respectful towards you. Like I understand why you keep playing victim. Like it's really
Hold on.
bizarre.
There's
No,
solipsism tied
honestly,
in.
Like everyone's been
Huds,
super cool and respectful. To you.
Bradley and Kevin most of the time, except when we had a little back and forth dissonance on both ends. Like they've all been really respectful. Alex, when I say no, you don't take no as an answer. If I
Like-
say I don't want to answer, you don't respect that.
No,
It's a little
because
fucked up.
it's
I've
a
never had
cop-out.
anybody
I'm not
do
gonna-
that.
yeah, that's right. I'm not going to respect like this weird cop out where you're just like any question that's
It's
like,
not a
something you
cop
don't
out.
wanna
If I
answer,
don't
you
have
just
enough
say no.
information to
Like, I would-
answer, I'm not
I'm
going to answer it.
treating you like an intellectual equal. I'm not treating you like a little kid. Like
No,
you're
you're treating me like a kid.
No,
You're,
if I
because
was
I
treating-
won't answer it, you ask it again.
That's what I would
I
do
said,
to
no, I'm
any
not gonna
guy I'm
answer it.
debating. That's what I would do to anyone. I'm literally treating you like an equal, Torsha. I'm holding
You
you
ask
to
me
the same
questions
standard
I
would
don't have
hold-
enough info for, Alex. I
So
just
that's-
don't.
Well, that's why I asked you a follow-up question. What kind of info would you
You
need?
asked
Like,
me a follow-up of the same question. Are we going to keep doing this? Like, seriously.
because you get like really
You're
weird
dumb.
about this. Like you like
I'm
this-
not weird.
you're
You're
I've
the one that's
debated-
not taking
I've debated hundreds of people, and this
So
is the first
annoying.
time like I've had
This
a
is-
guest get so defensive about like such a
I'm not
simple question.
defensive. I'm just very strong in what I
Like-
say.
Like, do you
And you
see how
can't
when I
make
say
me
like everything you
wait.
disagree with, like everything, I could say the
Okay,
sky's
okay,
blue,
No,
but like,
guys,
it's purple.
guys.
I don't have an
Let's go
answer. I
back
don't
to
have
the
an
points, okay?
answer.
Okay.
Agree to
I mean,
disagree
clearly
about
we're not
whatever
going
you're
to get an
talking
answer
about.
on this question. Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
we're
know.
not.
I'll
We're
just-
not
I'll
going.
just make a final
Alex,
point.
Fucked up.
Okay,
It'd be
let me
fucked up for me
can I
to
just
just
get-
pick an answer.
Okay, let me just make one final point. I think that irregardless of my content, if someone was to say, like, let's say I have the biggest dog shit content ever, if someone was to say, "Oh, you criticize me, that means you're killing people," that would not be a fair statement, irregardless
What
of my
does this
content.
have to do with me? You guys wanted my opinions. I like don't know what you're talking about. I
Well,
seriously
I'm
have no
trying to ex-
idea
I'm
what the
trying to explain it to
backstory
you.
is. You want to give it to me? Give
I'm
it to
trying-
me.
Okay, I'm trying to explain it to you. Just hang on.
But
Hold on.
start from the beginning because I'm lost.
Okay. So what happened was I made
Tell
a
me
video.
about your content first. You gotta tell me like what stuff you make.
Well, my
most of the
whole
time.
argument was that irregardless of my content, I make content mainly centered around dating, meeting
Okay.
women, having relationships. I mean, what would you like to know?
Everything. Like, okay, let's say pill wise. Like, do you make red pill content? Do you make white?
I
like,
don't fall into any specific ideology. Some things I agree
Okay.
with the black pillars on, some things I agree with red pillars on.
What do
some
you
things-
agree with the black pillars on? I guess we could start there.
I mean, looks are important, but I think we're going in a weird side tangent. Like I don't see how this is related.
I
'Cause
think
I
we
wanna-
need to cut this. I think we need to
guys,
cut
guys,
this.
really quickly, just one thing, because originally, Torsha, you came on to talk about how we misrepresented the rules, right? Alice, can you bring the rules back up really quickly?
Yeah,
If you don't
but I
mind?
do want to have. I do have one final question I didn't get a chance to ask.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let me-
Just bring it up for me, and
Okay.
then you could ask that.
Okay. There's one important question that
Because we were talking about solipsism. There's
Okay.
from what I
Which
remember.
rule-
one
which
of the
rule do you
rules
want me to
talks
go
about that. Let me.
I
Let
think
me.
we're on number
maximize
3
it.
technically. It could be
We,
wrong.
we made it super far.
Yeah, I know, right? Can you scroll down a little bit more?
Yeah,
Yeah, which-
you know, whatever. That can be
Which rule-
complicated.
Kevin,
you
which
know?
rule do you want me to go to?
Okay, there it is. There it is. Iron rule. I think it's iron rule number 6.
I love how people are saying I'm not mentally capable of debates over this question.
Just
like, am
ignore
I
the
missing
comments.
something?
Just-
I feel like if I'm missing something, you guys could tell me. I just don't.
I mean,
don't
there's no way I can
understand
tell you
why.
without repeating my initial question. You're gonna get really defensive. With
Right, but I don't understand what it's about.
Well, I tried explaining it to you, but then like you
You
want to move
didn't.
on. But you just
You
started asking me
didn't.
questions about my content. I was like trying to explain
Yeah,
to you.
because you're saying, is it okay if somebody says something about killing themselves over
Por-
your content? I need
Portia,
to know your content.
because it has nothing to do with my content, though. If you just let me finish, I will explain it to you. What happened was I made a video criticizing some. Just hang on. I made a video criticizing some of Rollo's ideas, right, in the
Okay.
Rational Mail, and then
Yeah.
he made a 2.5 hour live stream with he concluded in the end that because his logical thought was this: because I criticize his content saves lives, I am killing people. That was his
I
argument.
think that's making like an assumption, though.
No, he like
Don't you
directly said
think?
that in the
Yeah,
stream.
Rollo is making an
Yeah,
assumption.
he's
when he
making an
says
assumption.
that.
Yeah, I'm not making an assumption.
Well, I mean, to say that, like, that again, that's kind of like the bad argument we were saying earlier, like altruism or solipsism is selfish, which makes it inherently bad. I think this is another one of those scenarios where just because he criticized, if this is true, criticized your content, that by fault, that means that your content is killing people. And I don't think that's a fair thing to say or to assume.
On his
I think
part,
that's just
right?
drawing a conclusion. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I'm trying to understand. So you're saying on his part or on whose part?
Just in general, like when it comes, like when somebody says something, this is good, so the other thing has to be bad. That's not necessarily true. And I don't like, I'd have to see exactly what
Are you
he
making me
said.
an argument for moral relativism? That
You
everything,
could say
all
that.
these,
I think you
all
could
these
say
different
that.
truths are all these different
Yeah.
truths are just as valid.
Sure. I guess you could say that.
The
Well,
thing
then
I don't
why
know
would
if
you
I-
say the
like, I
why
don't know
then
if I-
then the blue then if you're going off that logic, then that means the blue pill isn't harmful at all because the blue pill is just a collection of
Mm,
ideas. That the blue pill
sure.
is just as valid as the red pill. Is that a claim that you're making?
I'm not making a claim, but I'm just saying, like, if somebody was like, Tori makes shit, or how do I, hold on, let me think of something. It's like, if Tori makes content about makeup and another person makes content about natural beauty, that Tori is inherently bad and the other person is inherently good. And that's not necessarily true to say because there's a lot of true things about one thing and then another. So if you want to say, I guess you could follow up with, does that mean the blue pill has some good truths and the red pill has some good truths? I don't know. I don't know that much. I'm still unplugging. I don't know everything.
Well,
you know?
I'm glad you admit that, but if you say that their blue pill has some good truths and then the red pill does, that's purple pill. And earlier you said that.
Well, no,
their
I'm
problem was
saying
purple
like
pill.
I'm saying that you could draw the conclusion with what I gave with the makeup example that I could technically say there's some good things about blue pill and some good things about red pill. Like I already brought that to discussion, but I don't know enough really about like blue pill to say that. I do know that there's some harmful ideas, but I don't know, like I don't study blue pill content. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the idea of the blue pill is basically they're just comfortable truths, right? So they're
Like
actually,
until
it's a
it's
false
brought up or
reality. That's the
whatever.
whole idea. Like nobody's
Okay.
going around marketing themselves as blue pill as in like, oh, we're just going to give you
Losers. I'm
lies.
kidding.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so yeah,
Yeah.
but again, it comes down to what is the red pill. And I think what comes down to the red pill, and this is why it's important to see, okay, well, who actually defines what the red pill is? Because if we're saying that Rollo is the arbiter of the red pill, just because he's,
Who said that?
Mr. No, I'm not saying, I'm not making a claim that you said that, right? But but if he doesn't have discussions with people, and then where he's saying there's the red pill guy, then like, what are we just supposed to trust Rollo that he's seeking the truth and we just follow what he says when we have critiques of him, right? This is all I wanted. I mean, do you agree that Rollo, Alex, and I should have a discussion, or no?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good idea yet. I think you guys could miss out on a lot of good conversation if you come in it with the same energy merch that you came in it with me. And that's just my
Okay, it's
personal
fine. I mean,
criticism.
if you
I
think that we had poor energy,
you can't
let's
like
just say we had
attack
great energy.
people.
Doesn't matter. Let's just say we had great energy and we were critical of
I don't know though.
his works.
I think a lot of people will close off just in general when people come in and say, you say this, you say that. And that's hard to say because like I didn't say things and you guys kept
I'm
saying
not saying
that I said
you. Rollo said himself. This would be different if Rollo said, "Hey, I don't debate people. I think debating's
he
bad."
does.
He literally, no. He literally says that at the end of his book, like I said earlier, he says that he wants people to question him, and he's actually more afraid of people who don't question him than do question him.
Disingenuous though. You think it'd be fit? Like, why would he waste his time? You know,
He has an obligation. Hold on. He has an obligation to the values that he espoused supposedly in
but
his,
not when it's
in his work,
disingenuous.
Irrational Male.
That's
not
the
when
argument
What part
keeps
of us is
making.
being disingenuous?
To be honest with you, like I'm being completely like totally cool about it, whatever. I think if you watch it back, you might be like, okay, maybe I understand what she's saying.
No, I'm asking you, what's disingenuous about me saying
you as criticism, like constructive criticism.
Hold on.
I think if you altered the way that you bring up arguments, it might be more effective. And if you hone in on that, I think more people would debate you.
Torsha, I asked you
That's my
earlier,
opinion. It's
and
not an
you
attack.
said this earlier, that we need to all kind of congregate together to find the truth, right? And that's the way that we do that is through discussion.
Men, yeah,
and
sure.
Yeah, and
Well,
I've
Rollo
done
is
that.
technically a man.
I've done that with Donovan. I've done that with Wheat Waffles, who Wheat Waffles at this point has a bigger audience than Rollo, right? So I don't understand. Unless you're making the argument that like Rollo's like too big for us or whatever. Alex has almost the same amount of subscribers as Rollo
disingenuous. There was a lot of arguing back and forth over my wording.
But see, Torsha, what you call disingenuous is either us asking for clarification or us challenging your ideas.
It wasn't clarification because every time I gave you clarification, then you tried to go in the circle. And I'm not doing that. Like, that's too much, you know? It's like, okay, this isn't really about the content. This is more about let me debate her and defeat her. And I'm familiar with that.
No. That's right. I made the point before you came on that
like your guys are arguing with me about the fact that I'm telling you it literally was uncomfortable because you weren't really listening to me. You were listening to wordings and breaking down words and not ideas. You know what I'm saying?
We were breaking down ideas. That's the whole point of debate.
Okay.
That's what we were trying to do.
How about that? You guys are literally still arguing with me. You're still arguing.
Because
There's nothing to argue.
You're saying that we're just trying to like destroy you. That's not what we're trying to do.
But this isn't up for this isn't up for no. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. This
and
is
we're
what
saying
you
we're
did.
disagreeing with your opinion on that.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm telling you, this is what happened. It's not an argument. It is what it is.
That's your
Do you
perspective
understand?
on the situation.
Okay,
and we're telling you we have a different perspective.
But you asked
the whole point of you coming on was to defend.
You asked me, do you think Rollo
right?
should debate with you? Do you think it's bad because he says at the end of the book that everything's open for discussion? It's like I can understand why he doesn't because of this whole ordeal.
The whole ordeal of what? We're just talking
this
about
is
the idea. What? Because his grift might
broke
be
it
exposed?
down.
Is that why?
I broke it down really simple for you guys. If we're gonna keep going back and forth,
okay,
like, are they bored?
Let me change gears because we are going in circles, and I do want to get this question out, and hopefully Torsha answers this question. And hopefully she answers it honestly. Torsha,
that was funny.
Would you? Okay, let me ask the question. Torsha, would you sleep with Rollo? You haven't even heard the question yet. Would you sleep with Rollo if he was single? Yes or no?
What the fuck kind of question? What's wrong with you?
It's a simple
Who
question.
asks that?
I do.
Okay, tough guy. What the fuck?
What is the point?
Why
literally
are
just
you
proved
dodging?
everything that I just said.
Guys, come on. Can you please have a productive discussion?
It's such a simple question. I want to hear her
you?
perspective on whether she finds Rollo attractive. Like, why can't I ask that question?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Why is that such a bad question? Like, see, I knew you were not going to answer it. I knew you were going to do the dodge and wave thing.
Everybody knows the answer to that question.
The answer is no.
Well, I want to hear her say it. Like, why can't she answer it? Like, let her answer the question.
Say my name.
Portia, answer the question. Like, it's not a big deal.
Isn't it so difficult when women don't fall into your frame? No,
it's really difficult when I have a guest who I'm trying to treat as an intellectual equal, and they can't answer a single question that I ask them, and they just get super defensive and play victim every single time they're asked a question or pushed on a point. So I can kind of see why some of the red pill guys start disliking women because of shit like this. Like we've literally no question can you answer. Like I've never had a guest do this. I've never had a guest on my channel do this where I ask them a question, all they do is deflect. Like it's such a simple question. Yes, I find Rollo attractive. No, I don't find Rollo attractive. Well, I'm not sure. Like that's an answer.
That's an inappropriate question.
Well,
it's a very inappropriate fucking question.
Like, so now you're going to make the argument that you feel offended and you feel triggered. You can't answer it.
I'm not triggered, Alex.
So why are you saying it's inappropriate? We talk shit all the time on this live stream. If you watch my channel, you see it's very in line with the question.
I don't though. Like that's again, like I didn't know that that's what you guys talk about.
So why is it so uncomfortable for you to answer that question? Like, why can't you answer a single question that I ask you?
That's so fucked up. You literally are
asking
so
questions.
Is
so fucked up.
Gonna stop him? Like, how fucked up is this?
Can I ask you, Alex? Questions? I mean, what was that just kind of
He's
like
asking me if I would fuck
Rollo.
Like
I'm curious if she finds him attractive or not. Like, it's such a simple question, and I don't understand why she can't answer it.
Because you might be attracted to somebody for their ideas and whatnot, but that's separate of being attracted to somebody like physicality wise.
There we go. I want to hear her say that. But the thing is, the issue I have with Torsia is I feel like she's being extremely disingenuous, and she's basically just gonna suck up to Rollo and all his ideas. And I think largely she's doing
Rollo.
Well, you can't.
If you watch my content, you would know that.
You can't answer a simple question. Like you can't even.
I've answered all of your questions.
No, you haven't. You haven't given me an answer on would you sleep with Rollo? Do you find him attractive? You can't answer that question for some weird reason. You keep deflecting.
Everybody knows the answer to that question.
I don't know the answer to it. That's why I'm asking you. Are you not going to answer it?
So let me.
Yeah, she's not going to answer it.
Here. I think the reason. So Torsia says that everybody knows the answer to that question. The reason that we think that a lot of people might not is because
not answering
why can't she answer it?
No, hold on. Let me explain. I think the reason that a lot of people would be
Alex.
Okay,
you're literally being a douche. No offense.
The thing is that you accuse us of making personal attacks.
Done?
You accuse us of making personal attacks, but you're the only one that's making personal attacks. We have not insulted you.
I'm literally telling you you're a douchebag.
Okay, I can make a whole bunch of personal attacks, attacking your looks, attacking your intelligence.
Okay,
right? So,
but this is an asshole.
The hypocrisy. Okay,
I'm gonna tell you when you're being an asshole.
That's another personal attack. Like I could easily respond.
Oh darn it!
Right,
look, Alex, please tell me if this is the reason that you asked the question. Is it because this is my thinking behind it that we talk about hypergamy, those types of things. Rollo makes a claim that this high status successful guy is going to be attractive to women, and then that's why you were asking him, right? Because Torsia, you say the answer is obvious, but based on Rollo's definition of hypergamy, him believing himself to be like a high value guy, that women of your age would probably be attracted to him. Now, I don't necessarily think that that's true, but is that what?
No, that wasn't my logic, Kevin. My logic was this. I know the answer as well. I
just think it's like inappropriate to ask me what I'm sexually attracted to. That's just all.
Why is that inappropriate on the
Alex,
dating and sex? My logic was this.
Say your reasoning. Yeah.
Okay, my reasoning was this. I know the answer is no, but I wanted to see if she was going to be intellectually genuine enough to just admit that, or she was going to straw man.
Why would you say no?
Because
where'd you get that?
I don't think you want to bang Rollo. That's my opinion. You can correct me.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that though? Where does that come from?
This is what you do. Every time you're asked a question, you just respond by asking me a question. Like we've done this.
I'm trying to understand.
I'll be happy to answer all your questions, but you have to answer some of my questions at some point.
But I'm not understanding where it's coming from. Well, I really don't understand it.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. I'm curious to see if you're going to be.
You're just calling me names. You're saying like I'm stupid. I've dodged the question or whatever.
No. Like, see, that's the thing. Like, again, this is like pure lies. I haven't called you a single name, Torsia. You've called me.
You said names. I play victim.
Yes,
right?
That's not a name. That's a fact. You have played victim throughout this whole stream, and it's pretty disgenuine. Like honestly, like to do that. But I've asked you pretty simple questions. I've been pretty respectful to you the whole time.
What size is your dick? That's what it sounds like when you ask me questions like that. You see how it's like, what? Like, why do you say that? What's the purpose?
I want to see. Okay, let me explain to you. I want to see if you're going to be consistent and actually own the fact that Rollo is not attractive, or you're just going to be a shrill,
Well, how would
and
that
that's
be
just going to not
consistent
want to
with
mount.
anything that I said?
What?
How would that be consistent with anything that I said? You want to see if I'm consistent?
Because you
make
seem
no
to be
sense.
fangirling
guys.
really hard for Rollo, and I want to see the extent of your fangirling. Like
Fangirling?
Yes, you are
Guys.
fangirling hardcore for Rollo.
What's
and
more
I'm
so the
challenging you on that, and I
perspective.
want to see if there's a limit
This
to
is
your
really fucked
fangirling.
up. This is really and I'm surprised nobody's called him out yet. Like, this is
It's more
really
so-
fucked
Again,
up.
you're playing victim again right now. You're doing
I'm
it
not
very
victim.
Guys,
Like,
I'm heading
you're
out.
playing
I'm
victim.
I'm heading out.
Bye,
This has
Huds.
been
Okay, bye,
this has
Huds.
been a great stream.
You're,
So
Bye.
you're playing
it was
hardcore
nice meeting
victim
you,
right now. I'm
Torsha.
surprised
It was
no
nice
one is
meeting you
stopping him.
too.
Like, stopping me from
Huh?
what? From like being respectfully asking you questions? Like,
You're
God
not being
forbid, in a
respectful at
live
all.
stream, someone
I
asks
really don't think so.
challenging questions.
Hold on. Like, I'm talking over you and I'm not trying to. What did
Okay,
you
go
say?
ahead. I'm saying you literally were playing victim that very second when you said, I'm surprised no one is stopping me, implying that I'm doing something really terrible to you, when all I'm really doing is
I think
respectfully asking.
it's a bad question.
But
you're
see, like
asking me
every
about what
question
I'm-
I've asked you, you've refused to answer.
They're pretty bad.
Like every single
These are-
question you can't answer. I've never had
You make
anyone
them
on a
very
podcast-
personal, and it's like you're
This
trying
was
to
the only
attack.
this was the
character.
only question that was personal. The last
No,
one.
it's not. I don't
What was
think
the-
so at all.
What
You
were the
asked
other
me
per-
earlier about the notch count thing. And started asking, you think all women like this? And I'm like, arguably. When you said, well, I have a notch count over whatever you said, like there are moments, I do remember them.
I wasn't
You're
making it
trying
about
to
you
put
though. I
me
was
in a
making it about
circle,
myself.
and I'm not stupid. What?
But I was making that about myself, not about you. So that wasn't personal at you in any way.
The way that you worded it was, though, because you were saying things like, well, you should know this.
No,
And if you
no.
say that, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
No, that never happened. Again, like this is just like pure fantasy that
Should
you
we go
have.
back?
Yeah, we can. Like you keep accusing us
How
of
do we do
attacking
it?
you when all you've
Can
done
you
is
do a
personally
share
attack me. You
Why
can
don't
go
we
back.
share screen?
You can go back to it later. But again, like it's so bizarre that you can't answer such a simple question.
It's not a simple question, though. I don't
It's-
talk about that stuff on camera, and to put me on the spot like that's really fucked up.
You can't
I
answer
never-
a question. You say you like Fresh and Fit, and they ask questions 100 times.
I
more
never
personal
said
than
I
that.
liked anybody.
Didn't
What
say
are you
didn't
talking
you say you've been on
about?
their show?
I've been on their show, yeah.
Okay, so on their show, they ask questions 100 times more personal than that.
And I put myself in a situation to do that. This is not that.
You're on
a-
my
I
stream.
said we
Torsha.
could talk about the rules. I said that the laws, whatever. I said that's cool. And now you're just like, and I've been really cool about answering other things that don't have to pertain to that. And you've been nothing but a dick about it.
See,
You
again,
think I'm
another
dodging? You're
personal
looking at me even fucking talking about it.
Another personal insult.
Seriously. Well, yeah, I'm gonna personally insult you then. Fuck it.
Okay, cool. I mean, like again, like I haven't personally
Hey,
insulted you.
like I
But,
don't know what
this
you're
is like the
saying.
level of intelligence that you get from like a fucking Rollo fangirl. Like it's pretty silly.
Okay.
So that's my first personal insult, Torsha. See, that's what a personal
Okay,
insult is when you
that's
make things
fair.
personal. That was my first personal insult. Now you can make the claim
That's
that personally
fine.
insulted you. But I still
It's
think it's
okay.
really bizarre that you can't answer like any question that I ask you.
You keep saying this, and I think you're reading the chat, and you're not being.
I'm
present,
literally
which I
not even
actually
looking at the
have.
chat. I'm looking at you and trying to have a conversation.
Really,
with
because
you.
I can see.
No, I'm like
watching.
you cannot see into my apartment, Torsha. That is also fake news.
Wait,
look,
what?
look. I think if
cannot
we
look
tie
into
this
my
back
apartment,
to the
like-
whole hypergamy thing, right? The thing is,
Hard burn. Oh wow.
Rollo claims to be like a high quality, high value guy. So if hypergamy is true, then women should be attracted to him. I think that's the point that Alice is trying to get at.
I'm trying to no, that's a fair point, but again, what I was going for is I wanted to see how consistent Torsha was going to be, and I wanted to see if she was going to be honest.
You do realize he's
hang on.
married, right? It's called respect.
Yeah, my whole question was if he was single. Like if you actually listen to the question, if he was single, and what I wanted to see was
But
if
that
you were
would
going to be.
still be not fair because he's married.
But I
You know
said
what I'm
if he
saying?
was
Like
single, it was a
this
hypothetical
isn't
question.
fantasy land. Like
It-
it's unfair, and you know
it was
it.
a hypothetical question, and I wanted to
Alex,
see if you were
it's
just going to own it
inappropriate.
and just be like, you know what? No, I don't find him attractive, but I like his ideas. That's all you had to say. But
Why do
won't-
you think that's true? Like, what makes you think that that's what I
I don't
think?
know because you won't answer my question. See, there's
I'm
no way
not
I can know
answering
because
it
you won't
out of
answer. it.
respect. Like
Out of
seriously,
respect to who?
his wife. Like to
You
say
think his
yes or
wife-
no is
You think his
fucked up,
wife?
dude.
You think his wife is going to care that you answered a hypothetical question about whether you would sleep with him or not? Like that's your excuse, is that his wife is
It's
doing
not
so?
if she would, it's just that I don't know.
You think his
So
wife is
I would
watching this
I would
live
go on
stream
the
right now?
side of caution to be a good person. Thank
So
you.
the reason you want to answer the question is because you're trying to be a good person. Is that your argument?
Look, I think what we should talk about here, and we should probably wrap this up soon, but one last
Yes,
thing
please.
that you guys brought up there. You know, Rollo is married, and yet he tells people not to get married. I find that, again, my whole
Why?
thing is
Why do you
that,
find that weird? Or whatever.
I
You
mean,
think that's
don't
weird?
you think it's hypocritical or no?
Well, no, marriage back when they got married and marriage today, it's a risk, you know? It's different.
Well, it was still a risk back in the 80s.
Not like it is today.
A woman
You know?
can still take half your shit back in the 80s. far
Sure,
as I
but like
know.
I think it was less
So why is it
likely
different? Less
'cause
likely based
the
on what?
divorce rates. What do you mean? It's more of a risk now.
I mean, you don't think that's weird that some guy's like married and he's like, guys, don't get married.
No, I don't.
Unless
I
he says
don't.
because his
Big
marriage
surprise.
sucks and he can't get out of
He's
it.
been
like,
open
you
about
know?
that too. He's like said like I know I'm married, but you know, if I were to do it again today, I wouldn't. I think that's fair.
Okay,
I
so
think
why
that's a
doesn't
fair
he like
response.
divorce his wife then? What's keeping him
What do you mean?
attached to his
No,
wife?
like he's
I don't
saying
get it.
like I'm saying if he were to get married today, like if he met the same wife, let's say, okay, and it was today, would he do it? No.
Yeah.
Understand? Does that make
But
sense?
you understand like the big criticism of Rollo is that, you know, outside of his little clan, I guess, is that he's a grifter because he is talking about ideas in which he's not even involved in and giving prescriptions based on things that he doesn't like
He
show
doesn't give
himself in his real life,
prescriptions.
right?
He's
So for
pretty open
example,
about it.
right, if Jesus was like, hey, you know, priests shouldn't be able to have sex, and then meanwhile Jesus is like banging a bunch of hoes, you know, if we find out that Jesus was actually banging a bunch of women, wouldn't that take away from a lot of Christianity in general? Like it's the whole thing of like rules for thee, not for me, which I
He
find
doesn't
it's a huge
he
red
doesn't
flag.
necessarily give prescriptions or whatever you worded. He doesn't
What
give
are the 9 iron
solutions.
rules if they're not prescriptions?
I don't think so. I think when it comes to any author that gives sort of like yeah, like I guess you could view it that way, but it's
I
not
mean, they're
like
by
if you do
definition, a
this.
rule is by definition a prescription.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I just
Yeah.
don't think that he's forcing anybody to follow these things. I think it's just like do what you will kind of thing. I think that's kind of unfair to say anytime somebody writes, you know, the laws of whatever that they're telling you you have to do this. I think that's not fair. I think as a creator you would understand that. No.
But he calls it the iron rules, and he also says like never under any conditions live with a woman. So I
Hey
mean,
guys, I gotta jump.
he
Yeah, but
doesn't.
that
He's not really
rule,
talking with
you
much
know
Thanks for
nuance.
why.
coming on. It was nice meeting you, Alex, Kevin. Always a pleasure.
All right,
later,
I'm
Brad.
really
Later.
sorry.
Later.
Have a good one. What is that rule number 4 or 5?
Can you bring it back up again, Alex?
Yeah.
Never
What's the
under
rules?
any live with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
See, that's really the
Number
problem
5 or
essentially
number
that I have
4?
with Rollo is that black and white sort of thinking, giving these prescriptions like this, like never allow a woman. I'll fix my thing in a second. Scroll back up. Scroll back up.
How far up?
I think it's number 4.
Is it number 4?
I'm at number 4.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah.
It is number 4.
So never under any circumstance live with a woman you aren't married to or not planning to marry within 6 months. So it's that, and then like never allow a woman to be in control of the birth.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I think that
I mean,
those black and
sure,
white
you could
prescriptions are
see it
dangerous.
as why though? What's dangerous? What's the opposite? Like, what's the worst? Let's try to do that because maybe I can understand what you're saying. Like, what's so dangerous about telling men never under any circumstance live with a woman that you don't plan on marrying within 6 months?
Well, it's dangerous when he says, "Oh, whoops, hold on, I'm just gonna change my." It doesn't matter. I'll bring it back up. It's dangerous when he says that he doesn't give prescriptions, but then he outwardly gives prescriptions here, and then he also says, "I'm the red pill. I am the truth." Right?
Hold
That's
on.
cultish
Let's like
behavior.
just let's just like break down one rule at a time. Like you're saying, I just don't see which, I don't think any of these rules, like if we're talking black and white thinking, like dichotomous thinking, am I understanding this correctly? Like
Yeah.
either all good, all bad type shit, it's toxic. I know what you mean. But I'm saying, I don't think if you were to go on the other side of the spectrum, you could argue that the other side was dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Like to say you should never do this, this, or that, like in his laws, rules, whatever, never allow, like I'm trying to say, never allow a woman to be in control of birth. Right. I don't think that's fair because you don't really have any laws that help you guys once the sperm leaves. Sorry for my language, but once the sperm leaves your body. So, like to say, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what's the worst that could be on the other side of that? On the other side of never allow a woman to be in control of birth, what, you'd be toxic if you thought so?
No. The thing that I'm saying is dangerous is that he's giving prescriptions to his audience when he
What
claims that he's not.
specifically? Like these rules though? Like I'm trying to understand.
These prescriptions are by definition. I mean, these rules are by definition prescriptions. And yet he says he doesn't because he says, oh, all I'm talking about is the truth. That's the same exact claim that religions, for example, make, is they say, oh, we're not telling you what to do. This is God said so. This is the truth. Truth is synonymous with God.
What's
and again,
harmful?
hold on. This is important.
I'm not
So
understanding.
the big critique that we have, again, is Rollo claims that the red pill is written in pencil, not in pen. And we are trying to start a dialogue with him, and then he denies it. And he says, oh, here are these prescriptions and stuff. And also he's taken on the moniker of red pill, which is a representative, which represents the truth, right? He claims that he is the truth. It's a very similar thing that cults do and religions do, where they say, oh, I'm not suggesting that you do this, this, and that. This is just the truth. This is God. Follow me, right? And cults never have debates with anybody. And Rollo is not willing to have debates with people that are basically his, contemporaries, I guess, for lack of a better word, his peers. Alex and I are in this space, right?
Alex, do you agree with what he's saying?
Which part specifically? Do I agree with what?
All of it. Like, are you guys on the, like, do you guys
generally agree? Yeah. I mean, I have slightly different criticisms of Rollo than Kevin. I mean, I agree with his criticism, but those are not like the big points for me. But yeah.
They're not the big points for you?
Like me and Kevin have slightly different issues with Rollo. We agree
when people
on all the same
say,
issues, we just place different priority or whatever.
Hold on. When people say he doesn't need to debate, you would have a point if he didn't hold himself to that standard in his book, right? If he never said, hey, I never want to debate. Like if I challenge, for example, Jordan Peterson to a debate, or maybe he's not a good one because he actually, actually does think debating is important. Let's say I challenge, I don't know, Dr. David Buss to a debate. David Buss never claimed to, debate anybody or to have his ideas challenged. Rollo literally welcomes that. And then when we actually do it, he denies it. And also he's giving these prescriptions and stuff here and there and isn't actually open to changing his mind. He says it's written in pencil, not in pen. Hold on. It's written in pencil, not in pen. He has all these prescriptions, and then yet he denies people debating him that are his contemporaries, that people who are actually in the field, right? And he just stays in this echo chamber. That is cult-like behavior. That is cult-like behavior. Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that's unfair to say.
Why?
Because people could make the argument with you guys, and I think that would
within the dating space. Who within the dating space has he debated ever?
Who in the dating space?
Somebody who's a dating coach, dating dynamics, any of those things. Legitimately debated.
I don't know. I don't really watch that stuff.
Yeah, you don't know because it doesn't exist. I mean, he hasn't. I'll answer that for you. He hasn't. Don't you think it's a giant red flag when he says, hey, because it's very powerful. It's very powerful rhetoric to say, hey, I'm always open to changing my ideas. I'm always open to having discussions with anybody. And then yet somebody who can actually, Alex and myself can actually contend with him intellectually and are in his field.
I would argue that
challenge him to a discussion and then he says no.
Well, we'll never find out because he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, like
so don't you think based on the discussion that we're talking about,
well, he's probably going to make a 4-hour-long live stream He's probably gonna make a 4-hour-long live stream breaking down everything I say, and then he's gonna
That's
end
when
it
you
off
know
by
you
saying,
get
by
though.
saying
I'm just
that I
kidding.
kill people. And then
I
he's
hope
gonna end it
I
off by saying I kill people. That's gonna be his conclusion that he's gonna get from all this. Okay, let me ask this question, Torsha, and we got to end it.
hold on. Let me adjust this.
Okay,
I don't want to miss it since you're probably gonna roast my ass. Okay, what?
I'm really not. Is there? The question is this: is there anything that you dislike about Rollo or you disagree with him on?
I disagree with him on. That would be hard to say because I don't really understand everything fully.
Well,
You know what I'm
from the
saying?
things that you understand, from the things that you have read, is there anything?
Nothing that comes to mind specifically, but I also don't know if I've been really into other creators lately, and the stuff that they talk about is a little bit different, I guess. So it's like hard to say right off the bat. It's not something that I follow religiously. You know what I mean? And
It seems like you're super passionate about Rollo, honestly. That's the vibe I got.
I think he does a lot of good. And I think that a lot of this is really twisted in his wording. I think it's disingenuous. I know we keep saying that, but I really do. Like, I've met him, and really, really bad, really false attacks are made on him. A lot of words are put in his mouth, and this is stuff that's
which he literally does all the time to other people.
Yeah, he did it to us.
He literally spent 2.5 hours doing it to me, strawmanning me the whole time.
And claiming that we killed guys.
What did you say?
I can play it for you. I can play it for you if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, we're going to be here for like another 5 hours. We can send you the link, Torsha,
okay.
but yeah.
Yeah.
If we start breaking it down into our live stream.
Let's listen to it. I think
Torsha, we've gone for 3.5 hours, another 2 hours.
I don't give a fuck. You're gonna make it
I
cool.
do give a fuck, Torsha. If you want to do that, we can do that another time. But I'm like,
you don't want to play it, we can play it.
Do you have like a clip or something?
It's pretty long. We can send you the
It's
link.
too long. It's like 7 minutes, I think.
Well, which one do you want to play,
channel.
Kevin?
Well, I can just I'd have to skim through it to find the exact part, so maybe we have to watch the whole thing. But
yeah, I mean, we can.
You don't want.
Look, Torsha, if you want to come on, and we've been gone for 3.5 hours, we got to call it. Like, we have to get to a conclusion.
Why?
Because I got shit I got to do.
Okay. I don't know if I would come on again, to be honest with you. I think it was the things you were saying.
But like, you want to stay on now for another 2 hours, but like, then why?
Yeah, because if you're gonna make a claim, back it up. You know, it's kind of a cop out.
It's not a cop out. It's a cop out when you.
Oh no, he's getting mad.
I'm not getting mad, Torsha. It's a cop out when you haven't answered a single one of my questions. That's a cop out.
No, you're
and then you play victim every single time.
There he goes again.
I press you on it. That's the truth.
No, it's not.
Well, look at the chat, Torsha. Every single person agrees with me that you just play victim over and over and over again. Fair enough. It is my chat. They're going to be biased towards me, but like, you've been doing this
a little bit.
And frankly, I'm not.
I don't think I've been playing victim. I think I've been challenging you more.
No, I have no problem with people challenging me. It's just
you
that
do though.
No, I don't.
Because then you started saying all these name calling things. It's like, okay,
again,
I answered your questions. I tried to clarify because I don't understand a lot of the stuff you guys talk about. I don't. And then you say that I'm trying to go in circles. I'm trying to understand.
See, like, again, you have your own really weird, diluted version of reality.
Okay, guys, can I bring up this video? I found the part. It's not that long. How do I share? Share.
I don't know how to do it on stream.
No, I got it. Hold on 1 second. Let's see here. Okay. All right, you guys see this?
Look how angry he looks. Yeah, I'm sure this is the kind of guy every girl wants to bang.
All right, ready?
Nobody owes you shit. Nobody owes you apology. Your guys are an obstacle.
No backstory? What's going on?
Hold on. Listen to it.
I'm not saying you're responsible for their suicides or anything like that.
All right, but I need to play this again.
Nobody owes you shit. Nobody owes you apology. Your guys are an obstacle to men's progress. That's what you are. I'm not saying you're responsible for their suicides or anything like that.
I don't.
because
So
they
he
don't have a
didn't.
counter,
Hold on.
or they've got to make up and fabricate something that you didn't say, or make you out to be something that you aren't.
Pretty
You know what
much.
the net result of that is that guys are hurting. Guys die because of you, because of this shit. That's why.
Yeah, he literally just said, guys die because of you. And literally before that, look, so he said that first. And then after that, he's like, I didn't say you guys claimed to drive guys to suicide. And literally
That's
he
what you
did.
were. I'm not saying
Is that wrong, Torsia? Yes or no? I mean, that's literally just damning evidence right there. He literally did that.
Wait, but I'm asking for backstories. He's saying you as in you?
As in me and Coach White Pill at the time. Yeah. He called us the White Pill guys.
Are you white? What's white pill? I
Come
don't
on,
even know what
Torsia,
that
answer
is.
the question.
I
That
don't
has
even know
nothing to
what
do with it.
that is.
It's irrelevant.
He
to the
strawmanned
question.
us by saying, oh, you White Pill guys. Look, I'll play it again.
But he never
play it
says
again.
you specifically. How do I know it's
Hold on, hold
about you?
It is about me. Okay.
Are you
At
sure?
the beginning of
Let's
this
just
video.
assume
Ready?
that he's right.
Hold on. Ready?
Just
It's about me.
assume,
Ready?
Alex.
Wait. Watch.
Okay.
Watch.
no, I will not debate Kevin Ray Wilder. I don't owe him a debate. And quite honestly, he's disingenuous. And I think I've already proved that. And I'm going to prove it again later on in this show today, too. So,
By the way, he never proves it. You guys can go watch it yourself. Come to your conclusions. All right. This is the
I
same
mean,
exact
do
stream,
you
right?
agree
Remember?
that you
Look
are
at the blue.
just
Look at the blue
genuine?
background and the hat that he's wearing. It's the same exact stream, right?
nobody
Huh?
owes you shit. Nobody owes you apology. Your guys are an obstacle to men's progress. That's what you are. I'm not saying you're responsible for their suicides or anything like that. Because they don't have a counter, or they've got to make up and fabricate something that you didn't say, or make you out to be something
How
that
do
you
I
aren't.
know that he's talking about you
And
guys?
you know what the net result of that
separate.
is that guys are hurting. Guys die because of you, because of this shit. That's why.
Okay, you can go watch that stream yourself. I'm pretty sure that stream was actually a little bit more targeted toward Alex, but he was talking about us as well. He put all of us, and he even
why
put us in the
didn't the
thumbnail.
person who
He even
made
put
it-
us in the thumbnail. It's about us.
Why can't you just admit that he's
Why
wrong
can't
in
you just
saying that?
admit
Why
that? Like,
would
look,
I
hey,
admit to
Rollo,
something? You guys haven't proved anything. Don't say that, Alex. That would be really
here's
unfair.
how I would frame it if I were you, right? And just tell me if you
Wait,
agree
what?
with me that this is reasonable. Here's how I'd frame it if I were you, right? Tell me if you think this is reasonable. I respect Rollo, and well, first of all, I'm not speaking as Kevin Rebel. I'm speaking as Torsia. Hi, my name's Torsia. I respect Rollo and all the things that he does with the rational male, but in this particular case, if he said that you guys drive men to suicide, that is a wrong thing for him to say.
Does white pill drive men to suicide?
No, and in fact, it does the opposite.
What is white pill? I asked you to define it. I don't even know what it is.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Do you agree with the statement that I just said?
But he said you and that stuff, right? White pill?
He said that
I don't know what the fuck it is.
myself and Alex drive men to suicide. I don't
You
want to play the clip
specifically?
again for the thing. Go ahead.
Or the ideas.
Us criticizing his ideas.
Guys die because of us. The way that he said, guys die because of you, because
Hard
of
to
this shit.
tell.
Oh, come on,
That's such a
Torsia. I
cop-out.
mean, this is what we're
Guys.
This is
Torsia,
the
this is what
lamest
we're
cop-out
talking about. Hold on.
ever.
Torsia,
No,
Torsia,
it's not
this
a cop out. It's just
It's
I'm
the
not
biggest cop out ever.
Alex is so
Torsia.
mad.
I am
Torsia,
literally
if
not mad
Alex,
at all.
look,
I just
Alex
find
is
it
a friend
like
of mine.
really
Hold
funny
on.
how disgenuous you are, and
Hold
then
on,
you
hold on,
accuse
hold on.
us of being disgenuous. all the time.
Torsia. Alex is a
That's
friend of
funny,
mine. If
I
Alex
know.
said that Rollo's driving guys to suicide by saying that they shouldn't watch the Playing with Fire channel, I would be the first one to say, Alex, you are a fucking idiot. No, I love you, man, but that's a dumb thing to say. So why can't you say the same thing about Rollo? In this particular case, what he did was demonstrably wrong. And actually, it put us in danger, right? You could put me in danger if he has an audience
Why?
of tens of thousands of people. Hold on. I'll explain why. If he has an audience
Okay.
of tens of thousands of people and he is saying that this Kevin Ray Wilder guy is driving guys to kill themselves, right? All it takes is one zealot of his work to come find me and harm me.
But what is white pill?
It
Is it dangerous?
Torsia. No, it's not.
Well, what is it? Like, I don't know what it is.
It's completely
basically
irrelevant.
the
What is
idea of the white pill. Hold on, hold
reassurance?
on. The idea of the white pill is that you
Mhm.
have whatever reality is given to you, you have hope and faith that you can find meaning in it and you can take action. That's it. That's it.
Isn't that kind of
It's
blue
literally
pill?
the opposite.
Completely irrelevant. Again,
No,
we're-
it's completely
That's not
irrelevant.
irrelevant,
Come
Portia,
Alex.
on.
you should play dodgeball because I've never seen anyone dodge like this. Like you should.
Hey,
I
I'm
already
starting to
saw
believe
that
that you
in
were on the
the
debate team
original.
when you're doing stuff like this. Come on.
Well, no, like, if you
that's a
say-
red herring. Torsia, you know what a red herring
You
is. That's
guys
a
are red herring me. Oh my god! I asked
we're
you
not.
to
We're just trying
define
to-
it.
we're
I
just
asked you
asking
a
such
question,
simple
and then you're like,
questions.
"But what's white pill? That is by definition a
Yeah,
red
'cause I
herring."
don't
You're
know
saying,
what the
"Hey, look
fuck
over
it
here.
is."
Don't look at the actual thing that we're talking about."
Huh?
What you just did right there, when you asked about the white pill, is a red herring by definition, and you know it.
Why? Because I'm trying to find out what would bring guys to suicide.
It's
What are you
completely
talking
besides
about?
the point. You're just going off on a side tangent.
How is that beside the point, Alex?
Because
Is
we're
it
asking
wrong
you-
for Rollo to say that we are driving guys to suicide, assuming that we don't drive guys to suicide, that we do actually every single thing else to do that? The white pill is actually to try
Because
to
of the
drive
white
guys away
pill?
from suicide.
No,
So
because of
don't
our
you think it would be
criticisms-
good for me to
No,
know what
because
that
it has
was,
nothing to do with the
though?
white pill. It's because of our criticisms of him, not because of the
Yeah,
white
yeah.
pill.
So,
Rollo
like,
is
you
saying
guys
that because of
personally, I asked you to clarify that earlier. You guys said no, the white pill.
No,
That's
we
why I'm
never said that.
asking.
No, it has nothing to do with the white pill.
You
It's
guys are
because of-
very good at debate. No offense. No offense.
I know we are, but look, I mean,
Sometimes. Not
I
very
think the
good
reason
right
that
now,
we're-
though.
wait, wait,
dodging.
I think
More
the
dodging
reason
by
I'm
Portia.
attacking
Big
you.
surprise.
Portia,
He's
I think
dodging
the
again.
reason that we're good at debate
not
is because
dodging,
we're
Alex.
open-minded
Just
and we're
dodging
trying
and
to
weaving.
actually talk about this stuff, and we're
Why do
willing
you
to
think
change our
that's
minds.
dodging and weaving? What's wrong with you? Like somebody
You
trying
can't
to
answer
understand.
the most simple
Because I
question,
don't
Portia.
know. I think you guys think that I know all this shit, and I don't.
Are you incapable
think the
of having an opinion?
Yeah, of course.
Torsia,
incapable of
Torsia,
having an
remember,
opinion?
remember
Yeah, of
my,
course.
remember,
Yeah.
hold on, Torsia. Remember
Not that.
before
Have
that my
opinions?
concern, hold on.
Wait, hold on. Two people are
Guys,
talking.
let me talk.
Okay.
Remember I said before my concern with Rollo Tomassi and the whole rational
Mhm.
male is that he's creating a cult of people that don't question him and just follow everything he says zealously. You are an example of that right now. It's very concerning. Why can't you say that in this particular instance,
I honestly
he was
like
wrong?
I don't.
Why can't you say
Because
in this
that-
particular instance he was wrong to say that
because
we
I don't
drive
have
guys
enough
to suicide?
information. I don't want to
You're
say
just
too
playing
much.
dumb now.
Huh?
You're just playing dumb now. You have more than enough information to come to a conclusion.
Guys, he thinks I'm playing dumb. Like that's
you-
insane.
Okay,
That's a
in what
hard
scenario?
Honestly,
Hold on. In
say.
what scenario is it okay for Rollo to claim that we are driving guys to kill themselves
I think
by
it'd
not
be
reading his
okay
book?
the
In what
scenario if
scenario?
I knew.
What
I'm gonna tell you.
what,
I'm gonna
what
tell you
things
right
can
now.
we say that would? Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying like if I knew exactly what the white pill was and I thought it was dangerous, I think in that scenario that would make sense. But the fact that like I really don't know what's going on, I don't know white pill, it would be for me to just
That's
jump
another
and
red
say
herring.
that.
Again,
it would be
he's not
unfair.
critiquing the white pill. He's critiquing us saying that guys shouldn't read his book.
He's
He just
saying
says,
that,
"Oh, white pill guys," just to try to say who he's
that's
addressing.
important to know what white pill is, right? You know what I'm saying?
Not in this
Yeah,
situation.
and if
because
you
the white
knew
pill
it,
has
it's
Why?
literally the opposite.
Alex,
It tells
you're
guys
just
not
trying
to kill themselves.
disagree with me.
The entire
It's
point
like-
of the white pill is to not become nihilistic and to live a good life and to not kill yourself.
Okay.
We created the
Oh,
white
okay.
pill specifically to drive guys to not kill themselves.
Okay. So you're saying okay.
So now you know what
I
the white
under-
pill is, right? So now you
A
know what the
little
white pill
bit.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
So given that information, can you say that what
Well,
Rollo
first
did
you said it was
wrong?
about hope, like hope and faith. That was your first
Yeah,
definition.
if you
then
have
the
hope and
second
faith,
time-
you're not going to kill yourself. Who have you heard that has hope and faith and then ends up killing themselves? Nobody. That's literally the opposite.
I think blue pill guys that learn later in life that like didn't realize female behavior or female nature and they do kill themselves over it. You know, they lose in divorce and stuff. I think it is serious. You don't think so?
See, Kevin,
Of
like
course
we're
it's
going
serious.
off on a
Portia,
side
this is
tangent right
another
now.
red herring.
This
This
isn't
Please
a side
answer the
tangent.
question.
This
Red
is
herring.
serious. This is making a connection to blue pill and white pill.
No, this is
What are you
completely
talking
red herring.
about?
Yeah, like there's no
How
point.
is that a red herring?
Because it's completely unrelated.
Because
to
you're
the
not
initial
answering the question. You're like,
You
hey, let's
completely
go
Well,
on
I'm
this
trying to
tangent
draw
over
the
here.
correlation because I'm trying to make sure
Please
that I'm
answer the
understanding what
question,
it is.
Portia. Is it wrong that you just saw the evidence there that Rollo claimed
That's
that
all
we were
my evidence.
driving
That's
guys?
it. Like I have to
What
make
more
an
evidence
assumption.
do you need?
That's
What
like
more
not
evidence
a
Do you need
very.
a signed
like, I
confession
think
from
you-
Rollo?
Huh?
What more
Do you need,
evidence
like, a
do you
signed
need?
confession from him?
Why can't you
What?
say that this is wrong? That you know who wouldn't
You know,
say that
some
this is wrong no
extreme
matter what is
fangirling.
somebody who's in a cult, somebody who cannot criticize their cult leader.
What
You're
the
proving our
fuck?
point. You're proving our point.
But I'm
There's
not
hope for
even
you, Torsha.
totally.
You don't
You're
I
have
don't
to
proving
even
our
think
point
Rollo's
that
a
you
Rollo.
can't
everything.
critique Rollo, or else you don't get the. I guess you don't get to be his moderator anymore.
No,
or
I'm
something.
not
Why
like
can't
too long didn't read generation. I need more info. Like, how do I know that you guys aren't putting me in a spot to make me say something that's disingenuous? You could be doing that. You've been doing a lot of it.
And
So, like,
we could be living in a matrix.
in what
Torsha.
scenario is it okay to say,
I
"Hey,
told you
these
what
guys drive
scenario.
people to suicide"?
I already told you.
Unless
I
unless we
answered that
explicitly
already.
do that.
Huh? I already answered that. Do you want me to answer it again?
Yeah.
Okay, I said if the scenario, if you're saying that white pill is the same as blue pill, remember, I don't understand what white pill is fully, but the way that you explained it was having
The
hope
white
and
pill is
faith. And
simply
with a
this:
lot of,
hope and faith, and don't kill yourself. That's literally the white pill.
okay, but you can agree with me that blue pill men have the same idea, and then they end up, some men that kill themselves, it's because of possibly, they get a divorce, lose everything, all that stuff. It's like,
We're
so
not
you
talking
can
about
make,
the blue pill. We are saying
but I'm
the white
telling
pill
you
means
that I
the white pill
don't
means
understand.
look,
Oh
I'll
my
simplify it for you.
God,
The white pill simply
Kevin.
means live your life,
Oh,
don't
you
kill yourself.
suck
Okay?
at debate. This isn't like, I'm not trying to put you in a spot of where I'm talking about one idea and trying to red herring or whatever. I'm saying I don't know what white pill is. What you defined it as sounds like blue pill to me. So if it was like that, because I don't know
So
white pill,
don't kill
if it
yourself
was
equals
the
blue pill.
same,
Don't kill yourself
huh?
equals blue pill.
This has to be the
Don't
Okay,
kill
only.
you guys
yourself
This
equals
has to
blue
be the
pill.
only logical
You're fucked
conclusion.
up.
This has to be the
I'm
only
saying,
logical conclusion. This
okay,
has to be-
if a guy,
Why can't you
listen,
say that
can
in
you
this
listen
one
to me?
instance,
At this
Just
Rollo
point,
listen
she
to
was
me.
has to be
wrong?
Maybe if I were, oh my God, this is fucked up. Like, I'm saying, if that's the same, is there any time where it's okay for somebody to say that your ideas are causing suicides? Yeah, I think that is okay. There are scenarios. Yes,
Yeah,
I
it
do
depends.
believe
It
that.
depends on what that is,
And I
and
explained it,
specifically,
but you
no,
cut me
hold on.
off. You guys
Look,
were not following. I don't
look.
think you were really
Rollo
thinking.
is specifically in this clip. You can watch it yourself. He is
didn't
specifically
say-
saying because we don't think people should read his book, that guys die because they aren't given this information because of us. Right? He's not talking about the white pill. He's talking
I
about the
thought you
fact that
said the
we
white
think the
pill.
Rational Male is a bad book. No, you
What
keep
the
talking about
fuck?
the white pill as a red
Okay,
herring.
I'm not playing circles anymore. Like, seriously, you told me
You're
it
the
was
one
because
that's
of the
putting us
white
in a
pill.
circle. It's a very simple question.
No, it's not.
She can't
That's
answer a
actually
single
very
question, bro.
Is it wrong
She's
for
been doing this
Rollo
the
to
whole
say
night.
you're driving guys to kill
No,
themselves
you
because
guys,
you are
do
convincing them to
realize
not read my
you
book?
have black and white thinking. You
No, we
want
don't.
me to
Who
fall
has
into
black?
one
This is
character?
No, we don't.
No,
classic
no, no, no.
projection.
You want me to
Rollo's the
fall
one
into
with black
one
and white thinking.
category, and I've totally stuck in the gray. But because I haven't given you one black or white
Why can't you just say
answer,
it's wrong?
I'm
Say,
the
hey,
one.
hey,
No,
I
you
love
guys
You can't
Rollo.
give
I
a
love
clear
Rollo, but in
answer on
this
that I
Rollo.
particular
came with
case,
that
it
at
was
the
fucked up what
end.
he did, and then move
I
on.
hope
Why
you
can't you
do
say that?
realize it now. No, you want me to fall into black or white. I'm not.
We
And
want
then
you
you're
to
claiming
answer
that
a
this person's
simple
doing.
question without
No,
dodging,
that's
without
black or
weaving,
white, Alex.
without
Sorry.
dodging, without weaving, without
That's not
deflecting,
dodging.
without
That's actually being very
playing victim,
thoughtful.
without changing the topic. We just want you to answer a
Alex.
simple question.
Oh,
And I
Alex.
just don't understand why you're such a dedicated fangirl. Can you give me an
This is
answer on
not
that?
dedicated
I've
never
never seen
This
anyone
is not
fangirl
a
this
good
hard.
look, Torsha. It's not.
It's really
This is not a good
really
look.
not.
Like, what
I'm
does
waiting
Rollo? Does
till you
Rollo
can
have like your dog
backlash
hostage
on
or
this.
something?
You guys this
Is
entire
Rollo
time.
holding like your
want-
family hostage? Like, what's the situation? What's the real scoop there? Like,
Did you
does
just
he
talk
have
about
some?
my family?
Does he have some dirt on you? Like, what's the deal? Like, why
What
are
are
you
you
fangirling?
talking
Why are
about,
you
Alex?
fangirling this hard?
What are you talking about? That came out of nowhere.
Exactly what
This
I
isn't
just said.
fangirling.
I've
But you
never
guys
seen
want me to
anyone
act like
fangirling this
Rollo's
hard.
a fucking cult leader? You're insane.
I've
Like,
Well,
I've freely admitted that I
before.
agree with
Just
60,
ask her if she
70%.
disagrees with anything Rollo says. If
already
not,
did.
equals a cult. All
She
right.
can't
So
think of
what do you
anything.
just?
I already told you, yeah.
What?
Like what?
I already told you, yeah. There
disagree
are
with?
you
certain
said
things.
you don't have any.
I said that
conviction.
earlier, baby.
No.
Like
yeah,
what?
I
No,
remember this
you
very
literally
clearly.
said, "Oh, I don't
She
know."
said, I haven't seen everything, but nothing that I can think
Guys,
of.
this is
That was your
insane.
response, Torsha. You said nothing that I can think
I
of.
said I don't know everything.
Right,
How
but
could I?
you could name one thing that you disagree with him on.
I said I couldn't name something necessarily off the top of my head.
We'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll give you time. Go ahead.
Dude, you guys are insane. Like, no, to be fair, like, to be nice, I'm not trying to like attack you guys as
Of course
people,
not.
but the way that you're going about this really fucked up. No offense.
Do you feel
No,
like
we are
you're-
literally
I-
saying
Do you feel like
the
your
reason that
identity
we're
is
against
being
Rollo
attacked
Tomassi.
because
Hold on,
you're-
hold on.
Alex,
hold
you're
on one
reading
second.
the chat. Just
Hold
be
on one
original.
second.
Not
Wait,
looking at the
one
chat.
second,
I see it all
one second.
Nope.
One second.
Low
The reason,
IQ, by the way.
hold on. The
People in the
reason,
chat
hold
would-
on.
What?
Quiet. I'll
No
let you talk in a
personal
second.
attacks.
Why?
I promise, all right?
No,
So look,
I haven't
I'll let you
gotten
talk in a
to.
second. Hold on. The reason that
If it doesn't go with you guys.
Torsia, please
Okay, I'm
be
just gonna
quiet.
mute
Come
her mic.
on.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. The reason that we are critical of Rollo is because we think that he is trying to lead a cult of people that don't question him, right? And so we're skeptical of that because you're one of his moderators and you're on here defending him and you don't even have one thing you disagree with him on. You can't even name anything.
Okay, now I'll
It's
unmute her.
extremely concerning. Okay, you're
I'm
unmuted.
his moderator. True? False? Am
Oh,
I?
are you? I thought you were. My bad. I apologize if you're not.
Okay.
I thought you were a moderator of his chat, no?
No.
Were you at one point or?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've seen you
And
be with the wrench next to your name in the
Uh-huh.
chat.
And then I got hacked really badly by somebody in Black Pill. So
Okay, sorry to hear
Sorry
that,
to
but
hear,
okay,
yeah.
no, like
again, you're,
it's okay, but like
look,
there's
okay,
certain
regardless of the
things-
moderator thing, you are here now defending him, right? And so one of our concerns about
defend a
Rollo,
certain
hold on.
idea.
One of our concerns about Rollo Tomassi is that he's leading a cult and he's
not
brainwashing
leading
his
a cult.
followers. He's brainwashing his followers, right? That's one of the concerns that we have. So the way that you show that you are not in a cult is by saying something that you disagree with him on. You can't even name a single thing. So go ahead.
Because I don't know everything. What are you talking
out
about?
of the
That's like
things that
me
you know.
saying that about you guys. That's fucked up.
Well, no, I can think of a whole bunch of things that I agree with Rollo on, a whole bunch of things I disagree with him on.
But you guys have been doing this a lot longer than I have. I don't know everything.
Okay, but out of the things that you do know, is there anything you disagree on? It sounds like the answer is no.
Nothing that comes to my mind right away, but there were things in the beginning that I learned that, were different along the way.
Okay, so what were they?
I said earlier the thing about men only being attracted to 22. That was way early in the conversation. And then I
That's not
learned
a
that
claim Rollo
it's
makes.
sexual. What are you talking, Kevin? Datacalism. What are you talking about?
Datacalism is a book that Rollo.
Yeah, and there was the
cites.
stats about the 22-year-olds. So
23.
men across.
It's
Sure.
23 in that
Okay.
book, but
You can
basically
be
he said
23.
that's what's universally attracted to men, but he
Yeah.
never made the claim that it's only 23-year-olds. He just says that that's the most. So are you making the
Right, but
claim
I'm
then that you
saying
think
that was
he's
something that I didn't agree with right away. I thought that was false, but until I understood more of the information, I was like, oh, I
yeah?
understand
Okay,
it.
so you agree with it now. We're saying like, what do you disagree with now? So you
Well, I told
successfully
you
changed your
I'm
mind
not
to
sure
agree, which is
yet,
great,
right
but
off
that's
the
not what we're
bat.
talking about. We're talking about what
I
do you
don't know.
currently
Ask me
disagree with him
some
on?
ideas. Throw something out. I don't know.
Okay, the idea.
Ask me.
Oh my God, are we gonna go down this rabbit
No,
hole
let's
again? The
listen.
whole
No,
Star
you
Wars
guys
thing?
I
We
can't
got it.
think
We
of
got to call it.
anything.
We've gone for 4 hours. If
Yeah,
Torsia
okay.
wants to come
Yeah,
on,
like I don't know right off the bat. I'm sorry.
okay, yeah, okay, yeah. If Torsia wants to come on, she's welcome to come on again. I'll hold out that invite.
Fuck yeah, you will. Just kidding.
Now I'm
Yeah,
highly-
Torsia, you can just
highly
come on my
reconsidering-
channel for a
highly
one-on-one as well
reconsidering
if
it,
you
but
want.
okay. Okay, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys for having me on. I'm sorry
Yeah.
I couldn't answer all
Yeah,
your questions.
No, that's fine. Thanks for coming on, Torsia. Appreciate it.
Take care. We respect you doing the debate. I will say that. You
Yeah.
have more balls than Rollo, which
You
is
do.
not that much of a statement, but is a statement
Alex,
a little bit.
okay.
Still, it's respectable.
It's
So,
respectable. Your balls
Thanks,
are bigger than
Torsia.
Rollo's.
Thanks. Okay.
All right.
All right. Head.
Oh
explode.
boy. I don't, bro. Like,
Head explode.
look, Rollo. This is why you need to debate us and not send your minions over to debate us. Okay, that's a perfect example right there. Did Torsia really help your cause in terms of talking about the red pill and red pill topics? No, but instead we have to debate people like her because you don't have the balls to debate us.
Yeah, no, I will say this.
You don't. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, yeah. One more thing, Rollo. You don't have a responsibility to us to debate us. You have a responsibility to your book and your audience based on the things that you said. If we are ever going to take a man's only as good as his word, you talk about how it's important to have debates, and then you refuse to have debates with us, right?
Yeah,
That's all I got to say. Man's only as good as his word. It's really telling that you don't do that. And then also somebody who is, I guess, a former moderator of yours and came on here to defend you, literally cannot disagree with one thing that you say. One of our fundamental claims is that you are basically a cult leader, and Torsha was an exact good example of that right here. It's a damn shame, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll say this, kind of closing it out. I will say I respect her coming on. I did kind of mock her a little bit here and there, but I found it really funny how like the insane amount of projection that was happening. Like she would accuse us of making personal attacks when like literally I didn't make it personal until the very end, and I did it in a joking way to drive the point home. And she just kept playing victim over and over again. Like literally, you can make the argument that the question was a little like personal, fine, but so fucking what? Like it's completely in line with the questions we have. And if she was on Fresh and Fit, then she would know that they ask questions 100 times more personal than that. Now, the reason I asked that question about would she sleep with him is because I wanted to see honestly if she was going to be intellectually honest enough to say, you know what, okay, fine, I don't find him that attractive, but I respect him intellectually, or he's not my type, blah blah blah, and that would have been an honest answer that I would have respected, because we all know the answer is no. Like we all know the answer is no, but she wasn't willing to do that. She just kept like basically playing victim. Like, are you guys gonna let him do that? As if like she's being like abused or berated or something. Like literally, we're respectful the whole time. Yeah. So the victim blaming, the dodging and weaving was insane. Like I don't think she answered a single question, or she answered a few, but most of the questions I asked, she would not answer. She would just dodge and weave, and that was her strategy. I've seen other debaters do this. Is when you ask them a question, they dodge by asking you an unrelated question. So when you were asking her, okay, do you think in that situation Rollo was wrong? She's like, oh well,
someone's getting in her feels in the comments.
Fuckface. Oh, but we're the one that making it personal. Okay.
Yeah,
this is where like a lot of like, okay, no, I'm not gonna make it about like man or woman thing, because I think most women are way more genuine than Torsha. I think she was probably a smart girl, but she's super intellectually disgenuine. At least she was.
I think that she's just ideologically driven. It's really sad to see.
To a really weird point, which I don't understand what he had, like why she's that fangirling so hard for Rollo. Like I just don't understand that.
Yeah, man, it's a damn shame. It really is, because I think she seems like a fairly intelligent girl. I thought she had good intentions, and then like man, when we pressed her on the Rollo stuff, she just did all these monkey double.
She
backflip
really does not like to have her
like,
ideas challenged, and then she accuses you of it. So when you challenge her ideas, she gets really defensive, and then she says, "Why are you getting so defensive?" Like she just basically, her strategy is to accuse you of the stuff that she's doing.
It's a damn shame, man. Any of you guys watching, if you want to clip out parts of that, feel free. You can post it. Anything.
Yeah, someone was saying this in the chat. I didn't want to bring this up out of respect during the thing, but I'll say it now. Her level of gaslighting is insane. Like she is the epitome of gaslighting. Like when you look up gaslighting in a dictionary, Torsha's face comes up. That's all I'll say on that. But I do respect her coming on. I will give her that. I respect her hanging in there. She definitely has more balls than Rollo. That's a fact.
Yeah, I hope any of you guys, I mean, that was a pretty entertaining debate. It's a lot to go through, but if any of you guys make an edit of it and send it to me, I'll repost it on my channel. So
yeah. That was hilarious.
As long as it's good.
I would have her on again. I mean, like, it's like it's extreme. Like my head is close to exploding, but I think it's good entertainment. Yeah, interesting.
Well, I gotta say, man, I mean, she knows, at first we didn't believe her that she was on the debate team, but I think she's good. She knows how to use logical fallacies to deflect arguments. I'll put it that way. I mean, the white pill thing at the very end, that's just the classic, by definition, a red herring.
Yes.
And she knew what that was, and she was like, "Oh no, it's
Yes.
Wait, come on, man." But anyway, Torsha, like, look, hey, maybe you'd be a good politician one day or something. You have the skills of what it takes to be a politician, to just deflect. So
maybe Rollo
kudos
can
to
be,
you from that. Maybe you should
you
become a
can be the
politician
vice
or
president of
something.
the cult. Rollo will be president. You'll be the VP. You can be his
Yeah.
right hand woman. You know, do all
Yeah.
the simpy stuff that he's not.
All
willing to
right.
do.
Well,
What?
hopefully the next time we make a Rollo stream, we'll actually be able to like debate Rollo, or he'll actually go
No,
to the
that's
balls
not.
and
That's
actually
not gonna
debate us. I
happen.
don't think that's gonna happen, man.
No, that's
Especially after he saw you and your discussion with Destiny. He's like, well, he already knew this. He already knew you can. I mean, you already destroyed Donovan. So
The thing is, I don't even think I'm that good of a debater. I think I have such a long way to go when it comes to debating. I just think my arguments are so much better than Donovan's. I think Donovan is as good, if not better than me at articulating things and arguing.
well, that's the difference between a good debater and a good rhetorician. A rhetorician can dive into sophistry, which is basically any and all tactics you use to win a debate, no matter what, or win an argument. A good debater, I think, is somebody who's a good rhetorician and also has logic and reason on his side, which I think you have. So I do think you're a good debater.
I think I'm okay.
I think Donovan's an effective rhetorician. So
Someone said Alex Hughes on the video show what toxic girls look like. I don't think she's like. I don't think it's as black and white. I do think some of her behaviors were toxic, like the gaslighting and the victim playing victim all the time. But you know, I don't think she's a bad girl.
Torsha, Fresh and Fit thought that Alex destroyed Donovan to the point where Fresh and Fit called up Donovan or Myron.
But wait, Kevin,
he called up Donovan.
What is Fresh and Fit? What is destroy? Like that's going to be Torsha's tactic.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean by Fresh and Fit?
What do you mean by
which
destroy?
one, Fresh or Fit? I don't really get it. I mean,
what do you mean by Alex? Are we talking about Alexander the Great or?
So anyway, yeah. So Myron called up Donovan. Donovan said this on stream and said, "Oh, Myron told me to not talk to him anymore." Alex destroyed Donovan. To the point where Donovan was like, "Oh, I'm not a really good debater." So, you know, when somebody says I'm not a really good debater, it's equivalent to when like you're playing one-on-one basketball with someone, you start destroying them, and they're like, "Oh, I don't really like basketball anyway." Like that's just an admission that you suck.
Times that she was on Fresh and Fit. Didn't she say she did a podcast with him?
Oh, I have no idea.
I could have sworn she said that at least twice. If I'm wrong about that, then
I'm pretty sure she's been on it, but
I'm
I don't know.
Sure she said that.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should wrap this up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Especially, I don't want it to hit the 4 hour mark. But yeah,
so
guys, I'm gonna be talking. I'm gonna be going after a lot of the manosphere guys again, especially Rollo, because Rollo literally preaches poison to poison men's minds and apparently women's minds as well. I mean, you just saw that with Torsha, unfortunately. And you want to see the reason that I have such a problem with Rollo? You guys saw it right there. That the cognitive dissonance and the cultish, zealous behavior that his followers have, that they can't even admit that he's wrong about one thing. That's exactly the problem. And it's really dangerous. And, you know, this actually fired me up more to go after Rollo even more after seeing how bad this can actually be with some of his followers. It's really a damn shame, man. It is. But I'm going to be making a lot more content, again, critical of the manosphere, more specifically Rollo for, you know, as MD put it, painting blue pills red and feeding it to his audience. It's it's poison. It's terrible. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
Yeah. I thought this was a very, very interesting discussion. Torsha is just like going crazy in the chat, but we got called, so I can't keep breaking down all her nonsense.
Yeah, Torsha, next time, just don't drink alcohol. Just come in sober.
You can come in. She can come. She's like, it's fucked up, literally. No, she just keep playing victim again. Torsha, you can come on again. You can, I guess, make your arguments again. I'm not opposed to like having another discussion with you. I think, you know, aside from the playing victim and dodging every single question, you're a pretty smart, articulate woman. So I'm not opposed to having another discussion with you. If you
likewise, Torsha.
No. Okay, cool. Awesome, guys. Till next time. Peace.
Later.